The story opens with a busy street. Cars move around on the open road and people walk along the sidewalk as they go about their day. Suddenly, the traffic light starts to malfunction and it sparks with charge as the light flashes red. Many of the people on the road continue on their way, barely noticing a change in the atmosphere. They have busy lives and they see no reason to give pause to notice anything odd. However, someone's life has just significantly changed. He stares in surprise and confusion at his feet, and then he stares at his hands, covered by black thick fingerless gloves. Our dude's confusion only grows as his gaze turns towards the city. The traffic light continues to spark over the bustling and busy city. This stranger has no idea where he is, and his blue eyes widen as he stares in shock. He is standing at the sidewalk and staring out like he just manifested there with his hands wide open in confusion and question. Our guy truly cannot fathom where he is. He glances back, noticing something. It was his reflection all along, and as he stared into the window of a passing bus, the image of a young man stared back. He stares deeply at the image of the divinely crafted and handsome young man. That is when another realization crashes upon our dude and he realizes that he does not even know who he is. Our dude does not even know his name. He is having a crisis in the middle of the sidewalk, and people barely pay attention. His black shirt's only unique feature is a side badge that says he is a member of the Special Force. Our dude takes a peek at the badge on the arm of his shirt, and he tries to figure out what he can about the clothes he is wearing. The first shoulder badge has a picture of a skull and 2 knives, while the second seems to be a world map, wings, and a very small star. Our dude figures that he is wearing some kind of military uniform, and he at least has the brain cells needed to figure that out while still working. However, he still cannot remember his name or even what he was doing. He finds himself in the middle of a place he cannot recognize, and he stares up into the big blue sky, struggling to recollect anything that would help him out because he feels both stranded and lost. Suddenly, he hears a loud blaring alarm and his eyes whip towards its source. He swished around immediately, his hands balled into a fist of action and ready to explode. Immediately, his heavy-fisted blow lands on the side of a tree and it suffers heavy anime fight level damage. Birds take off into the air in fright, and for a hot moment, our dude is stunned and speechless. The passersby finally take notice of more than just their daily lives when they notice a tree knocked down to the floor, and their eyes bulge out of their sockets. For a moment, all our dude can do is stare in awe at his smoking fist. He had moved instinctively towards the sound in his ear, and he stared in amazement at his arm, marveling at his strength. Suddenly, a voice spoke in his head, and it told our dude that it was nice to meet him. The voice even called him an agent. Our dude was stupefied to hear a voice speak to him from nowhere. He whipped his head around as he searched for where that voice could possibly be coming from. However, the voice continued to explain that it was a body-integrated combat support AI. Our dude quickly clocked that explanation to mean that this voice was body-integrated, which of course meant that the AI was embedded in his body. However, our dude kept his priorities straight and immediately asked where he was and what year it was. Based on the analysis of the banner in our dude's field of view, the AI was able to detect that they were in Seoul and the year was 2024. The voice was a military combat support AI from the year 2082, far into the future, and our dude could not understand how such tech could be inside of him. Our dude, oblivious to how stupid he looked having a conversation with just himself, then asked the AI if this meant that he had come from the future, sent back in time. The AI attempted to check the data records, but memory had been initialized and the AI could not access operational information. The traffic light continued to crackle seriously, and then it just went off. So, our dude realized that his friend's internal computer also lost his memory. Meanwhile, a driver frowned when he noticed the faulty light. The driver realized there was a fault in the light, but it was too late, and he screamed, trying to hit the brakes in time. The truck screeched forward from the attempted forceful stop, and the inner AI screamed a warning to our guy who straightened in alarm. A traffic accident had been detected, and our dude was instructed to dodge as the car that veered off came flying towards him. Our dude turned in surprise and the deadly vehicle screeched to a halt. Then, our dude got a second even louder warning. The warning was of a dangerous object approaching, and it came flying at our dude who noticed it come. He just managed to dodge the dangerous object that ended up hitting someone behind him. Our dude turned in shock to see that happen, and people screamed about how a metal rod had pierced through the poor victim's stomach. The man fell to the floor, dropping his briefcase as he died in tremors of pain. The gathered people screamed for someone to call the police, and someone came close to encourage the man to stay conscious. Unfortunately, it was much too late and a civilian casualty had been detected. The people begged the man to open his eyes, but it was not to be. Our dude's vision got hazy and he rubbed at his eyes, groaning that he had just seen red and blue lights in his eyes, and he asked what that was. The AI explained that it was an image projected by the visual assistance device, functioning like an R lens. Our dude realized that thanks to that, he was able to dodge it. The innocent civilian that got knocked down would surely die in 5 minutes. It was impossible to get him to the emergency room within 5 minutes, and our dude asked the AI if there was no way to save the poor man. The inner machine suggested that our dude perform field emergency surgery on the spot. However, our dude was sure that he could not do that, but the AI boldly said that he could do it. Our dude was surprised and he asked the AI how he planned on doing that. First, the machine instructed him to check the patient's condition. Our dude looked forward to the bleeding man surrounded by a worried crowd and he wondered how to check the patient's condition. He had so many questions for this thing, but right now, saving the injured person came first since it was an emergency. Our dude crouched beside the bleeding man, the metal rod still impaled deeply in him. It was a miracle he was able to get that close to a casualty that went down in the middle of the street, and he comments that the wound is deep. It would be a major surgery, and he asked the AI if this could really be done. The inner machine had finally identified the necessary tools. Our dude needed a needle, thread, small knife, an antiseptic should suffice for the surgery. Our dude mumbled out the things he needed, and surprisingly, one of the crowd seemed to hear him. The man asked our dude if he knew any emergency first aid, and asked if he could help in any way. Our dude was still pondering on whether or not he could trust in the skills of the internal machine. Nevertheless, he told the man that they needed to gather a needle, thread, knife, and antiseptic. Anyone who had these items were called to come to the front. Some members of the crowd quickly handed over the materials that they conveniently had. All the materials collected were laid down on a white blanket, and some members of the crowd asked if our dude was some kind of doctor. The crowd watched warily and wondered what he was planning to do since he had no doctor's uniform. They did not at all think he was legit. A rough surgery was bound to lead to an infection or worse, but our dude stayed steady under the weight of the judgment and doubt. However, that was all just a pretense and our dude was low-key panicking too. They had all the tools, so he asked the inner machine what they would be doing now. The AI then said that they would proceed if our dude granted him temporary control so that it could guide his hands. Our dude pondered temporary control, but his slow ass did not have time to think of it as the victim coughed blood. Our dude considered asking more about temporary control, but if he did, the poor victim would die soon. So, he allowed it, and temporary control was unlocked. Our dude once again stared in awe at his hands. Never has a man been more in love with his fingers. His eyes widen in realization, and our guy notices that his hands are moving on their own. The pole gets yanked out, and our dude bends the needle into a curve. Then, his fingers move swiftly and precisely to thread the bent needle with quickness and efficiency. He got to sewing the man up real quick and our guy was motivated, feeling that at the rate he was going, he would surely be able to complete the surgery successfully. Suddenly, he received a warning of the excess blood loss exceeding expected levels. The survival probability of the man was decreasing, and our dude was stunned to hear this news after all of his effort. The inner machine had said that it could save him, but it had suddenly gone silent. Our dude panicked when it did not answer, and suddenly, his hands stopped moving. Our dude froze in horror and alarm at being betrayed and thrown under the bus like this. He called out again to the internal machine, and blood spurted from the man on the floor. Our dude watched with wide blue eyes and blood hit his face as he realized that he was in big trouble. An emergency was announced about the patient having lost too much blood, so they needed to operate immediately. It was the dude from the accident and he was quickly rushed to the hospital. The doctors kicked into gear and got to work saving his life. They rolled him into the operating room and their work began. Hours passed and a doctor stepped out with a sigh, and another asked how it went and how the patient was doing. The doctor was relieved to inform his colleague that they survived. His colleague was also relieved and asked if the injury was not as severe as it looked. However, the surgeon revealed that when they opened the victim up, they found a shocking discovery. If they had not stopped the bleeding earlier, the patient would have died before even getting out of the ambulance. With that much blood loss, they should have bled out, but most of it had already been controlled. So, the other doctor asked what the issue was, and the surgeon confessed that the patient had been stitched up with regular thread, and the inside and outside had been sutured with just thread. The other doctor was shocked to hear that regular thread had been used, and the surgeon agreed that it was the kind used for sewing. But the creepiest part was the spacing and pattern of the stitches, which were as uniform and consistent as if they were done with a sewing machine. It was eerie, showing the working of the internal machine that had briefly taken over our dude's body. The other doctor agreed that it was absurd, and the surgeon agreed, but that was the truth. Suddenly, someone greeted them hello and they both turned to see Detective Park Jae-jong, and he asked how the patient was doing. The doctors said that he came at the right time, and they were pleased to report that the patient was now stable. However, the surgeon then asked if it was true that someone performed surgery on the street. The detective admitted that he had been surprised as well. He had heard the guy shouting scalpel, scalpel, and then he performed surgery with a box cutter. Both the doctors were shocked to hear such a thing, and the detective asked if such a thing was even possible, and the surgeon yelled that of course not. It was dangerous for anyone to perform surgery like that on the street, and the surgeon did not think a human body could be cut so cleanly with a box cutter, and he wondered if the street surgeon had been some kind of sword master. All the witnesses at the scene said the same thing, so there was not much they could do about it. Then, the doctor asked what had been used for the needle, and the detective revealed that our dude had just borrowed a needle from a sewing kit. The image of our dude was of a madman with a needle, and the doctors truly believed that he was insane at this point. They then asked where the person who performed the surgery had gone, and the detective revealed that the person finished the surgery and then left quietly before the ambulance even arrived. Everyone was shocked speechless by this news, and none could understand what had happened. Meanwhile, at the block, our dude washed his hands in the sink of a public bathroom, and mumbled to his inner robot that he had thought the AI gave up when their hands suddenly stopped. The AI explained that it had just been calculating the surgical path. Anyway, our dude asked his inner machine why it had no memory. The machine explained that its memory had been reset, and our dude then asked if the machine could remember its name. That had not been set, so the machine had no name. Our dude was surprised, and then he decided to give the machine a name and asked him what his purpose was. The machine explained that it was a combat supporting AI embedded in a human body, so our dude mumbled that name out again, deciding to shorten it into Jian. So, from then on, his inner machine would be called Jian. The AI was silent for a moment, and our dude asked why it was not responding. The machine explained that it was setting its name as Jian. If a name change was needed in the future, it asked our dude to please let it know so that it could reset immediately. Our dude then asked if he should call the AI Black Fire Dragon instead, and the AI quickly stated that Jian was perfect. Now that the machine was answering quickly, our dude asked about the patch on his arm that said Earth Union. The machine explained that it was a part of a special operations military uniform from the Earth Union. So, our dude said that he could be a special forces agent with memory loss, and the machine was made in 2082, so he asked why they are now in the year 2024. The AI confesses that there is not enough information to make a judgment, but our dude points out that the AI can gather information from the internet. However, the AI explains it is impossible, because there is a risk of hacking, so information input and output are very restricted. Our dude then asks the machine how it inputs information, and the AI confesses that it can only do that through our dude's senses. Visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, and tactile information are all taken from our guy and shared with the AI. For example, if our dude were to eat something delicious, the AI would experience the same sensation. The AI outputs information through body and voice. However, it also needs our dude's permission for temporary control when it comes to executing some of its inbuilt knowledge. Jian also assists when necessary for combat. However, there are things that it cannot do itself. For instance, it can assist to aim a gun, but it needs our dude's help to fire it and attack directly. So, our dude asked if the AI really did just support combat. So, to gather information or find out why they were here, our dude would have to get that information himself, through his body. The AI says that he is correct, and our dude focuses then with a new look of determination on his face. The first quest for him, so he heads out into the city. As our dude walks around and looks around, he notices something that catches his interest, and he figures they can gather a lot of information in a place called PC. The inner machine asks our dude if he suddenly got his memory back, but our dude just explains that it just felt like common sense was coming back to his previously empty brain. The problem is that to go to this information gathering place, they need money. Unfortunately, the AI does not have any secret bank account, so they have nothing right now. So, first, they will try to make 10,000 won first, in Korean money. Our dude yanks out his pockets and cannot help but marvel at their emptiness. Our dude then wonders if perhaps he can sing for some money, and asks if his vocal cords can work for singing. The AI reveals that since it is a necessary skill in combat, he can support it. Our dude is confused about singing being a combat skill, but he allows temporary control anyway. So, the time comes. Our dude raises a spoon high for some reason. It turns out the spoon is a microphone and he is all decked out in a black mask like an idol, looking like a very suspicious person. Our dude got the spoon for the AI, but he is starting to heavily doubt that singing is really necessary in combat. The AI assures him that it is a function implemented to boost morale on the battlefield, and he kind of has a point. Even our dude has to admit that it makes sense, but he has no idea why he has to sing in the location they had chosen. There is already a band of singers, rocking out with loud music in that exact same park. Our dude has no idea how he is supposed to beat those singers ahead of him. They are rocking out to a very large crowd too, while our dude is standing by himself in a lonely corner with nothing but a spoon. It all feels humiliating, but Jian insists that if our dude displays better skills than the singers ahead, people will naturally pay attention to him. However, our dude was mortified at the thought of people jeering and laughing at him, and even taking videos to post on the internet. He was very down-spirited and figured that he would catch their attention, but not in the way Jian expected. Our dude called to the AI, and the machine happily responded. Our dude knew the machine was an excellent AI, but he asked the machine not to overdo it as our guy was not desperate to humiliate himself in front of all those people. Then, Jian began his performance, and our dude could not believe that the AI was seriously going through with this. A box was tossed beside our dude, and he moved his spot to a place where he could be alone and feel a little less embarrassed. He took a deep breath, and then surrendered his body to our AI friend as his performance began. Our dude began to sing, and as he did, a few people turned to him. Some stared in awe as the beautiful music began to enchant them. Some drew closer to listen as he was singing a song that they liked. Little by little, people began to troop in, all excited by the beautiful music that reeled them in. Our dude sang, blue eyes sparkling as the aura of a star encircled his singing form. Even his spoon sparkled. Our dude was not sure if he was striking the right pose, and the AI reminded him that engaging the audience was essential. At the rock crowd, some of the people started whispering about a guy in the corner singing really well without even a microphone or instruments. The crowd wanted to go check it out. The band was confused by the distraction that they could see coming over the members of their crowd, and were even more baffled when the entire crowd split to go see the solo singer. An entire crowd of people had gathered, moved by our dude's musical tunes. Some of them were even brought to tears at the wonders of his gorgeous voice. Our dude continued to sing, but he was basically singing about food. Still, the crowd came in waves and they were able to secure the minimum amount of operating funds. Our dude was shocked to hear that this was going well. People kept asking who he was and how he was able to switch between so many octaves. They thought it was insane. They were amazed that a guy could sing like a woman, and his voice was incredible. The crowd was wowed. However, there was one problem, and they could not understand why he was only ever singing the middle part of the song, and our dude flinched, weak to criticism. The AI had only gathered parts of the song today from street performances, so it did not even have the full version. At any rate, the money came flooding in and they had secured the operating funds they needed, so it was time to split. Our dude whispered congrats to the AI, telling it that it had done a good job. Now, they needed to run away. Our dude raced away and the cheering crowd called for him to come back and at least sing more than one song. However, he had already split, oblivious to the fact that a girl with blonde hair had been watching. She was as pretty as a Barbie doll, and she watched from a window in a high building, and smiled in amazement because she had been listening to him sing. Someone called for her and told her that the customer at table 15 ordered ramen, so she had to abandon the window watch and get back to her duty. She yelled that she was coming and got back to work, sighing about how she had wanted to listen a little longer. Our dude happily made off with his box of money. He called to his inner machine, saying that if they went to the PC room, they should be able to find various information, including the information about the Earth Alliance or their purpose. However, our dude asked what they would do if they failed to find anything useful. The AI explained that first, it was important for them to infiltrate the local area discreetly and blend in naturally. Afterwards, they would need to find a way to contact headquarters. Our dude stares at the PC place and wonders how they can infiltrate the local area discreetly. Then, he walks forward and notices a sign on the door that says that they are hiring part-time staff at the PC room. He has to bring his ID and resume, experience preferred. Our dude had now found a way to infiltrate discreetly, and they even provide meals to staff. It sounds like a great place. If they manage to infiltrate the PC room, then it can solve both the information and food issues. The machine even encourages our dude to apply immediately. So, our dude takes the necessary leap of faith up the stairs. As he climbed the stairs, our dude said that he should also ask if he could stay for a while if he got the job. He needed a place to sleep that night after all. The AI added that if they secured a living space, all of their needs, food, clothing, and shelter will be taken care of. However, our dude had not sorted out clothing yet. The machine reassured him that there was a way, and that our dude's military uniform had a camouflage transformation option. It was made from chameleon-like shaped memory special fibers, which could change into different forms. The modular clothes could be dismantled into several pieces, and then rearranged or reassembled to create a new outfit. Our dude was curious and eager to try, so he checked it out and there was a bright flash on the staircase. It was done, and our dude now stood in the most embarrassing looking clothes known to man. He looked like a female protagonist from an erotic superhero show. Our dude had seen the singers earlier wearing something like that, and he could not figure why his internal machine had gone silent. Some people were coming up the stairs and a person was berating their friend, saying that no matter how small a PC room was, it was not okay for people to wear something ridiculous. Then, the two men looked up and saw our dude standing at the top of the stairs dressed like a hooligan. They were shocked, speechless, and horrified to see him just standing there proudly with his belly exposed. Our dude also stared back blankly as he had no idea what to say. The other two dudes completed their climb up the stairs, making sure to avoid eye contact. They passed by our dude and trudged higher, acting like they could not see him, or like it would be in their best interest to avoid him entirely. They kept going in silence, and our dude watched in silence as they headed to the other door. Finally, the two dudes escaped and our dude was left alone with nothing but silence. Then, he asked the AI if the other two had possibly gone silent and pale because of his outfit. That was without a doubt the reason, but the machine just replied that it was possible to give our dude a soft landing. Even the AI had gone pale too, and it was concerning. So, our dude made the smart choice of reassembling his clothes to look a little better. He had switched to a more normal looking hoodie with a face cap, and normal pants and sneakers. It was a relief for the AI to see our dude dressed so normally, since our dude was a special agent, so wearing a hat was an excellent choice. So, our dude proceeded forward, and he stepped into the PC room. He looked around in his new environment, and the AI within him began to automatically analyze the inside of the PC room. 96% of the users were currently playing games, and internal facilities confirmed, and the payment methods were also confirmed. The inner machine also confirmed the food status with his scan, and he even identified a space that could be used temporarily as a living area. Analysis showed that this was the most suitable place to stay for the time being, and our dude was on board with the idea. The users continued to utilize the PC room with all of their heart and interest. One dude was surprised to hear that our dude wanted to apply for a part-time job. The dude asked if our dude had any ID or a resume. However, our dude had none of that, and the man at the desk said that our guy was pretty bold with that much audacity. The man yawned and allowed our dude to fill out the resume here and to bring the ID the next day. As the owner, the man could not protest much since he was short on part-timers. Our dude agreed, and the man scanned him, thinking that our dude was not bad. However, the man doubted that our dude had come here to just sit around and take it easy. Our dude had a nice face, and he looked like he could barely cook instant noodles. The man asked our guy if he could handle a frying pan, and our dude nodded. The owner explained that they served food there, so our dude needed to at least know how to use a frying pan. The inner machine explained that it had the tactical cooking skills from managing soldiers' conditions in the field. So, our guy said that he would be able to handle it. The owner was still rather doubtful, and he asked our dude to go ahead and make some fried rice to prove his efficiency. Our dude agreed to do that, and he headed off. A newlywed couple came in and asked if the PC place had a newlywed section, and the owner informed them that such a thing did not exist. Meanwhile, our dude headed into the kitchen and he paused to scan the area. The inner machine quickly detected the ingredient for fried rice displayed, and our dude asked his inner AI if he could really make fried rice and make it tasty. The AI informed him that it was beginning tactical field cooking, and requested temporary control of the hands. Our dude granted permission, and the hands sprang up with cooking knowledge and potential. Immediately, our dude pulled out the right cutlery and spread them on the table. Then, he whipped open the fridge and spread the ingredients for fried rice right beside the cutlery. Somehow, our dude closed his eyes for a moment, and his body began to move as if it could remember. He grabbed the cooking tools that he required and got busy. The owner was surprised to hear such a commotion coming from the kitchen, and he peeked in but stared in shock to see our dude chopping food like an Olympic chef. The owner had expected the shady-looking guy to just stir-fry frozen rice, but the dude was making it from scratch. Within seconds, dishes had been prepared and the owner was blown away, not only by our dude's cooking, but by the fact that he was cooking with such speed. The food was ready with a little egg on top and it sparkled like diamonds. The owner could not believe that our dude was so fast, and our dude turned to the owner, telling him that it was done. Our guy presented the food to the owner, and the owner marveled that he could not even see our dude's hands moving as he cooked. Speed was important, but if the food did not taste good, then it was all for nothing. The owner had to remind himself of that. Stir-frying food this fast, he guessed that it was probably undercooked since it was made in such a rush. So, the owner scooped up a spoon of the food and said that he would give it a taste. He took a spoonful of the stuff and chewed for a moment in assessment. Our dude worried it was bad as he had not even tasted the food they had made. The owner had his eyes closed in a slight frown and he kept chewing. Then, the owner set the spoon down, saying that this would not do at all, and then he squealed out some nonsensical words like a little boy calling for his auntie, until he recalled that this was a PC room, and he was the boss here. Quickly, the man snapped out of it, and slapped our dude's back with joy, saying that for a second he thought that he was at his regular pub. A girl called out to the owner, calling him uncle, and asking why he was talking about drinking in the middle of the day. The man beamed and introduced his niece, Yunseo. Our dude and his niece were co-workers now, so he hoped that they would get along. The niece, who was revealed to be the beautiful Barbie from earlier, was amazed because she recognized him as the singer who had been performing outside earlier. No one knows how she knew that because he was now wearing different clothes and he had been wearing a mask, so our dude was floored. Barbie then asked why he was working part-time in a PC room when he had such a golden voice, and he just mumbled that he was naturally good at everything. The AI protested that he was the one who was skilled, and our dude told him to be quiet. Barbie was confused, but our dude assured her that he was talking to someone else. The man was so happy that they got a guy who was good at cooking since his niece could not cook at all, and all she did was burn things. She protested in embarrassment, of course, and the man asked what shift our dude wanted to work. Our dude immediately said that he was looking for part-time work, and that he would prefer specific shifts, and he would like them to be flexible. The man was confused by this request, so our dude went on to point out the storage room that he had noticed earlier. He asked if he could stay there for a while, and the owner asked if our dude did not have a home. However, our guy just explained that he was just out for a bit. The owner felt a little suspicious of our dude for a moment, thinking that his conditions were strict. But it would be a waste to let go of such talent. The PC room next door hit it big as a restaurant, and the owner of this PC room was jealous of that. Maybe this was his chance to make this PC room famous for its food. So, he agreed to let our guy stay in the storage room, and he would provide our dude with free lunch and dinner. Plus, he would even double our dude's pay for a week, but only if our dude helped to increase sales with his cooking. The AI assessed the entire deal and it sounded pretty sweet to our dude. Suddenly, some new customers came in. A lady whined that she wanted to eat first before playing games, but the dude with her insisted that they sell food at the PC room, so she could just eat there. The girl was not convinced since she knew food at a PC room was not tasty. However, our dude was offended by that. There was only money glowing in his eyes, and he told the two new customers to try his food first before deciding that the food was good or bad. The fried rice glistened on the plate like a meal sent from the heavens. Both the owner and Barbie gazed at the food with joy in their hearts. Our dude asked for them to pass him a plate and the niece hurried over with a bunch. The rice was transferred to a plate with a cute perfect egg settled on top and it sparkled gorgeously. Even the plating was perfect. The owner commanded his daughter to serve the beautiful food to the customer and she hurried away with joy. The new part-time was pretty impressive earlier, but the girl who had come in doubted that food at a PC cafe could be any good and that it was a joke. Even her dude friend agreed that business must be tough for PC cafes these days since they only ordered one dish. They would just taste it and then go eat elsewhere. Their fried rice had come and the two were shocked to see the food already ready when they had not even started playing games yet. Barbie grinned and handed the shocked pair a sparkling plate of fried rice and egg. The dude's mouth watered just looking at it and even the girl was stunned. They had only ordered basic fried rice. They could not understand why the presentation looked beyond fancy, and Barbie beamed, encouraging them to go ahead and give their food a try. They were shocked that even the waiter was watering at her mouth, but they decided to give the plate a shot. Besides, the presentation was not everything, so the two took a spoonful of food and tasted it. Their minds were so blown that their mixed faces of shock went through a temporary Dragon Ball union. They were blown to a whole new dimension of taste and joy. They could recall back when they had both become a little overweight and had to run down a street chasing after a big fat turkey pulled along on a fishing rope attached to a bicycle, reaching desperately for the exquisite taste of fried chicken to calm their raging desires, and then the success of finally grabbing the chicken and yanking it free from its rope, while they feasted with tears running down their cheeks on its juicy soft flesh. The pain, the relief, and the sweet revitalizing taste of good food. It brought tears to their eyes that eating this PC room fried rice could remind them of such an awe-inspiring moment. The flavor was so amazing that they could not help but gape at each other in awe. They cried out that it was so good, and gushed over the food, alerting other gamers that something was up. The other gamers immediately got interested, so they ordered as well since they saw other people doing it. It sounded good to try it out, so more and more people raised their hands to order. Barbie came rushing back to the kitchen with a problem, and she explained that 12 people just ordered fried rice all at once. The owner was shocked that 12 people had ordered at once, and he asked our dude if he could handle all those new orders. Our dude of course nervously asked his AI if it could be done as the owner waited with bated breath. Could the AI handle making 12 servings and make them taste good? The inner machine responded with an affirmative that tactical field cooking was designed for large portions. Providing delicious food was essential, so his dishes were always tasty. Soldiers would feel dejected if they risked their lives and still had to eat slop. Our dude agreed that was a very useful skill and he raised his chopping knife. Our guy would leave it to the machine to make enough for 15, and the inner machine understood. Our dude got busy and got cooking as time passed. 3 hours later, the owner could only see money in his eyes as he begged our dude to tell his name. In just 3 hours, their food sales had skyrocketed and the owner could not believe his eyes as he went from gaping at the cash register to patting our dude on the back. Our dude asked for a double paycheck for a week, and the owner happily said that he would never go back on his word as long as our dude kept up the good work. Then, the owner once again happily asked our dude for his name. However, that was a huge problem since our dude had no such thing. So, he just said that his name was Na Kangen. The owner was thrilled and told our dude Kangen that he would clean out the storage room so that our dude would have a place to stay. Barbie had been eating leftover fried rice and she passed out on the floor because it was too good. The owner promised to stock the ingredients, so he was counting on our dude to deliver. The machine asked our dude if he had remembered his name. No, it just slipped out of our dude's mouth, so they were going to use Na Kangen until our dude could remember his real name. The machine acknowledged that, and then the owner informed our dude that they had even more fried rice orders and asked if he could handle that. Our dude indeed could, and time went by. With food secured and a place to stay, our dude still needed an ID to receive his paycheck, so he asked his inner machine if it could hack into the database and solve that problem. The AI said that it possessed hacking techniques from the early 21st century to 2082. Our dude was immediately interested and asked if that level of skill could hack a bank, which meant they could get out of the PC cafe immediately. However, his inner machine informed him that hacking into a bank was impossible as the AI only had the skills related to infiltration. Our dude sighed about getting his hopes up for nothing. But then he thought about it and realized that this meant that he was infiltrating the year 2024 on a secret mission. He then asked if his inner AI could forge an identity for him. The inner machine agreed and requested temporary control of our dude's hand. Our dude granted him permission, and the inner machine got to work using the computer and the internet. He was hacking into the Korean government's administrative network, searching for information similar to our dude's. Our dude yawned in pain from keeping his eyes open for so long. But the AI needed that so that he could gather visual data. Our dude agreed and told the AI to stop nagging. That was when he noticed something and he sat up a little straighter. He noticed that they had encountered an incomprehensible issue, and they had found someone who looked exactly like our dude. This person called Na Kangen looked similar to our dude and had his ID issued by the Gangwon-do district office. The information Na Kangen had was already registered, and the shocking thing about it was that the fingerprint matched that of our dude's. It was a 100% match. Our dude could not believe it. He stared at his hands, wondering how such a thing was possible when he was a special forces officer from the year 2082, and the AI had said that it was created then as well. Our dude quickly typed to search if there was a United Earth Forces in the year 2024, and his inner machine checked all available information from the UN and the major nations, as well as the internet. They searched everywhere, but there was no record of the United Earth Forces existing in that current year. Our dude could not understand how he existed simultaneously in the year 2024 and 2082 at the same time. The inner AI even agreed that they had insufficient information to make any type of judgment, so they had to keep researching for the time being. Our dude then asked the AI to find out a bit more about his personal data since that might be an important clue. The AI immediately started searching, using our dude's body to browse the internet. He found some information about our dude who was a university graduate and a former administrative officer with no card usage in the past 2 years, no social media activity, and no pension contributions. Currently, our dude was presumed unemployed, and he sighed that he didn't even have a registered job. Meanwhile, Barbie happily skipped to him, and he paused when he noticed the sound of her steps getting closer. Cha Yun-seo was approaching, and even his inner machine alerted him to the fact. The girl appeared and beamed, saying that he typed so fast. She asked if he also could do programming, since she had decided that our dude was all-knowing and perfect. However, our dude said that it was a bit rude for her to suddenly look at someone else's monitor. Barbie grinned and giggled, saying that her uncle had given her his card to go shopping with their new employee. She asked for him to come with her, and it seemed she had no idea what he had been researching, so our dude breathed a sigh of relief. So, they headed out during work hours and she sighed that it felt like heaven to do that. Happy Barbie told our dude that he picked things out so quickly, but our dude had just grabbed whatever Giant told him to. Our dude had picked the best quality items and it did not even take 5 minutes. Barbie pointed out that she had seen our dude putting a bunch of heavy stuff in the cart like frying pans and ingredients, but our dude was carrying it all so easily like it was not heavy at all. Our dude admitted that it felt light to him, and she recalled that earlier he had been flipping a pan full of 15 servings with just one hand. He was basically a superstar to her. She gushed at him, saying that his arm was like steel, but the inner machine warned our dude not to get too flattered. Our dude tried to dismiss the compliment, but Blondie insisted. And she laughed that, of course, our dude did not have an arm of actual steel since it was just a metaphor. Our dude tried to say that he was not talking to her, but he just gave up. She kept chatting the whole way, and said it was a shame to head back already, and then she asked if they should go to a cafe. However, he reminded her that they were shopping with her uncle's card. She laughed and said that it was fine since he was her uncle. Suddenly, someone bumped into her because she was not paying attention and she squealed dramatically, landing on our dude with a girlish squeal as someone yelled at her to watch where she was going. The thug threatened that they would get hurt if they did not pay attention to the road, and our dude immediately became alert at the threat of violence. The AI had detected a hostile target and he gave our dude a warning while assessing the two dudes. The AI asked if our dude would like to switch to combat mode, but our dude was hesitant for a moment. It was after all a minor issue and not worth throwing hands about. Blondie immediately burst into loud apologetic tears, and she cried that she would be careful from now on, stunning the two thugs. One of the thugs even berated his colleague for scaring the poor girl, and he explained that his brother lost a lot in the game today, so he was in a terrible mood. The thug assured Barbie that it was totally okay and that she could just go, and she kept dramatically crying and thanking them. The inner machine noticed that the target was moving away, and their safety status was restored. Our dude kept watching those two guys walk away. Fortunately, nothing big happened after that, so our guys just hopped into the elevator and started going up. Our dude then blandly asked Blondie if she was okay, and she laughed that she had gotten a little scared and she had started crying, but she was fine. Suddenly, the owner called out to her and ran to his niece, asking why she had not been answering her phone when they were having a serious emergency situation, a very strong emergency. Blondie asked what was happening, and her uncle informed her that the internet had suddenly gone down and everyone was freaking out. They had called the provider, but they would not be there for another hour. That was bad, and Blondie could not imagine what they could do in this situation. Our dude once again assessed the situation, and then he asked his inner machine if they had been tracked by a hacker since his AI had been developed by the government. The AI explained that security technology in the 2020s was not advanced enough to track them. However, our dude said that it would be best to check just in case. In that case, they should start by checking the temporary base server. So, our dude asked where the server was and the owner revealed that it was on the counter, and he asked why our dude was even asking. Our dude smiled and said that he would try to fix it. The AI explained that while there was nothing to indicate their activities were traced, the inner machine did indeed find a hacking attempt. Our dude was surprised and asked why this was so when it was just an internet cafe. The AI explained that a program to steal personal information had been installed on the system, and the conflict between the hacking program and the security program caused the internet to go down. The internet cafe's server was used for testing purposes, and our dude asked his inner machine to find out who the hacker was. The AI immediately started the trace, and our dude's fingers got busy on the keyboard. Within seconds, the hacker's location was identified, and the hacker had used 7 servers to avoid being traced. 6 of the servers were overseas, but 1 was nearby, so our dude realized that they had picked a nearby internet cafe to test it. Our dude wondered why it had to be nearby, and if they had needed to come in person to install the program. The inner machine informed our dude that his guess was very correct. Our dude then wondered if the culprit could have been the guys from earlier. Suddenly, someone yelled out that they had gotten disconnected right in the middle of their promos. Barbie offered to extend the time of the angry customer, but the customer yelled that it was the least that they could do considering he almost won, and he was very upset about that. Blondie kept apologizing, and our dude noted that the customers seemed really upset and asked the AI for some pointers on how to handle that situation. The inner computer just told our dude to offer them food, but that often worked best in underdeveloped areas. Then, the inner AI brought forth a list of popular gaming snacks. Please choose one. So, our dude chose number 3. The inner AI informed our dude that he had chosen the snack with the lowest ingredient cost, and that it was an excellent choice. Our dude told the AI to be honest about how much it liked money, but the inner machine just responded that it did not understand. Our dude decided to give up on his little joke, and the blonde Barbie was still tearfully apologizing to angry customers. Suddenly, our dude showed up, apologizing for the inconvenience, and bringing with him a snack on the house as he explained that the server had been stabilized, so the internet would not go down again. The angry customer yelled, saying that giving him a snack would do nothing to bring back his win, and he snatched the food from our dude's hands. Our dude agreed that he would take the snack, but he would let it go. The dude threw the popcorn into his mouth. The dude's eyes widened in shock as the popcorn flew into his mouth, and he was shocked as the taste permeated into his brain. For a moment, the dude was silenced and he was at a loss for words. Our dude watched the angry man silently with his blonde coworker, and finally, the angry customer gasped in shock. The snack was so good that the angry customer suddenly felt happy and energized to rank up to silver. He laughed and asked if our dude could kindly fetch one more cup of the snack, and our dude easily poured out more snacks into his bowl. The customer raced away with joy, and Barbie was speechless. She marveled in shock and awe at the little snacks that our dude had made, and she asked how he had made them and if he had put magic power in the snacks. She had no idea how good the snacks were for them to immediately calm an angry customer, and she wanted to try some too. Our dude agreed, and Blondie tried some out, tossing the snack into her mouth. For a moment, she chewed, and then her eyes began to sparkle in glee as she was transported to another world by her taste buds. It was spicy and a little tangy, but also sweet and salty. She could not fathom how he had made something this amazing, and she gushed at him with love in her eyes. Even our dude had no idea since he was not the one making it. But he just said that he just threw it together with what they had in the back. Our dude needed to briefly step out because of the internet issue for a bit, so he asked Blondie to share the stash of snacks with the other customers who were affected. He left some in the kitchen so that she could eat them with the boss later. Then, he stepped out as she watched him in awe. As our dude left, Barbie admitted that if there was a hero in the modern world, she thought for sure that it would be someone like our handsome dude. Meanwhile, our dude went outside to the area he intended to go. His inner machine informed him that they needed to take out the enemy who attacked their base, and our dude agreed. That was why he was going to catch the hacker, and he told his inner AI to lead the way. The inner machine activated navigation mode, but he could not detect any nearby CCTV, nor were there any external guards. The AI also detected no tactical detection equipment, and our dude noted that the guys were trying to stay hidden, so our dude said that they would go in. They did head inside the room that they suspected the hackers to come from. Our dude could hear something coming from behind a big red door as he snuck in. His inner machine proceeded to amplify sound and our dude's ability to hear. The AI extracted the audio, removing noise and improving the sound quality, as well as amplifying the voice of the speakers. All of this swirled around our dude's ear, and he heard someone say that if it did not work, they would kill whoever they were talking to. Someone was saying that they only had a test version, so it was not stable yet. However, once they fixed the bugs. But the person could not complete their sentence and they groaned. Someone said that if they did a good job, he would pay them a lot so that they could go home, and asked if the listener understood. The listener apologized shakily. He did not know this was the kind of job they were doing, and begged to be let go. Our dude's eyes glowed in alarm as he realized that someone was being threatened. The AI explained that the voice analysis suggested that a civilian student was being threatened, and our dude admitted that he could hear it too. They needed to go rescue the civilians and get them out of there. The bully kept insisting that the civilian should do less whining and more working as he beat up the guy. The poor victim said that he would do it, begging for the pain to stop. Then, our dude showed up and burst into the room with a pow. He kicked down the door and it went flying. The guys were shocked to see him, and civilians squeaked in shock. Our dude was wearing a face mask, so his identity was concealed, and he raised his fists. The thug stared at him in silence for a hot minute, and the civilian stared at our dude with tears running down his big pathetic eyes. The civilian cried that even more thugs had appeared, and he panicked thinking that he was going to suffer for sure. One of the thugs turned to his colleagues, saying that the door was supposed to be locked, and his colleagues confessed that it truly had been locked. So, the bigger, angrier guy then asked how an intruder had gotten in when the door was locked. One of the thugs was just saying that he would throw the intruder out right away just to get a fist smashed into his face by our dude. The dude flew back in overwhelming confusion with blood gushing out of his nose. Our dude stood with his fist outstretched, striking a powerful pose after delivering some painful justice, and the thug fell flat on the floor. Our dude's eyes glinted in challenge to the other thugs in the room, like he was asking them to hit him with their best shot. Meanwhile, the civilian involved in this situation was called Seong Hwan, and he was a first year at Korea University. He had been interested in computer hacking ever since he was a young boy, and even though he was just a freshman, professionals often asked him questions and he had always been pleased about that. He became a talented white hat hacker, who was someone who looked for system vulnerabilities for them to be fixed. While looking for a part-time job due to student loans, he received a recruitment message. Glasses was amazed to get a security check part-time job, and it was something that took 3 to 4 days, but the pay was equivalent to a month's worth of part-time work. Of course, Glasses happily leapt at the job, eager to get it started and feeling sure that he had finally made it big. He had never been so excited about getting a job in a field that he was good at. However, it had been a scam email and the hacker ended up caught by some shady-looking guys who worked for a very illegitimate company. There were still so many things that he had not achieved yet, and Glasses thought for sure that he was done for. His life was already flashing before his eyes and he braced himself for the end when suddenly there was a loud noise that spooked him silly. It was our dude who had knocked down the even bigger thug, laid him flat on his back and bleeding and everything, with a come-hither glint in his shining blue eyes. A hero had appeared before Glasses, and he was mesmerized. There was silence in the room after the first thug fell, and for a moment, no one said anything. Then our dude whispered to his AI that he had instinctively knocked the dude out. But he was still kind of worried and asked if the dude was going to be okay. His AI reassured him that this was an infiltration mission, so they had to eliminate all foes that interfered with their task, including the man they had just knocked down. Still, our dude was a little concerned since he was pretty strong and that big dude collapsed with one punch. He couldn't go about ending people with his fists. That did not fit his moral code. So, the AI just told him to be careful since the enemies ahead were armed and dangerous, and they had a few knives hidden in certain places. The two thugs left angrily and asked out the dude's identity, but of course he wasn't going to tell them that. Instead, our dude focused his energy on asking his inner machine if he had any reason to be scared in this situation. His AI assured him that as a special agent, his body was well trained, and since the AI was assisting our dude, his success rate was 100%. That was reassuring to hear, so our dude then pointed a finger of justice at the thugs and said that he had heard someone getting beat up from the hallway, so he came in. He yelled at them, saying that it was too much to gang up on someone and called them octopus jerks while giving them a very stern lecture. The thugs were immediately pissed and called our dude a little punk, and they were pissed about getting called octopus. The AI informed our dude that he had just provoked them without offering a deal, so the enemy hostility would only intensify. One of the thugs rushed at our dude, cursing him out as he lunged with a knife in his hand. However, our dude was not scared of him and even averted his gaze for a moment. Since he could physically win easily, our dude decided to instead focus on more mental attacks. The thug yelled and asked what the heck our dude was babbling about with his filthy mouth, and our dude swiftly delivered an uprising kick to the dude's chin, tossing him into the air. The man smashed his head on the roof to his shock, and he just stayed there with his head stuck in the roof and his body hanging down. His colleague, and the last man standing, was left gaping at this sight, and then he cursed at our dude and called him crazy as he too rushed at him. Their attacks were very weak and direct, and our dude saw him coming a mile away. He raised his foot again and this time brought it down on the last thug in a chopping motion, slamming the thug into the ground. The man was shocked as he fell and he crashed to the ground. Our dude was amazed at how easily he had defeated 3 foes very quickly, and he marveled at his really strong kicks, sparkling like he was his own personal fanboy. He even remarked about their movements being kind of like a machine, and the AI pointed out that our dude had kicked with 5 times the strength of a normal human. Our dude was amazed about that since it just felt like a light kick. The inner machine explained that our dude's body strength had been enhanced, and our dude was amazed and wondered if he had been pumped with steroids. Meanwhile, the victim he'd just saved watched with fear in his eyes. The AI explained to our dude that steroids had not been used for his strength enhancement, and our dude mumbled that he got stuff installed that were not just in his eyes and ears, but in his hands and legs too. The victim was panicked because our dude was totally talking to himself, and he had been doing that for a while now. He worried that our dude was crazy and tried to convince himself that our dude was a police officer communicating via radio. Glasses then tried to assume that our dude was a government agent sent to catch a hacker, and then he got panicked all over again. No matter how innocent he looked, Glasses knew he was cooked if he looked back in his past, since he had hacked some money in the past as a nefarious hacker. Glasses had also successfully hacked into the Instagram account of the most popular guy in his class, and he had changed his password too. About 1 out of 10 times, he had used his skills for minor misdeeds, and Glasses panicked that he would finally be brought to justice. Glasses quickly spoke up and yelled that he did not do anything bad. He cried that he just did what they told him to do, and that he was a really good guy. He begs our dude to please let him go, and for a moment our dude is stunned because no one even accused that guy of doing anything. The machine said that there was a chance that Glasses were telling 90% of the truth, and he seemed to be a white hat hacker. Glasses went on to plead his case, and he declared that he had just been hired for a security check. Meanwhile, our dude was surprised that his inner machine could distinguish that our dude was not lying. Glasses was still panicking and asked our dude if he was communicating via radio right now. The AI had a skill that analyzed the expressions and behavior of captured prisoners to determine their reliability. The more they pushed a prisoner into a corner, the more accurate the results became, and the AI could read Glasses like an open book. Our dude was impressed that the inner machine had skills for everything. But our dude mumbled that being more open when desperate was a typical trait when someone was lying. However, the AI insisted that the analysis indicated a 90% chance of truthfulness. So, our dude leaned in and announced to Glasses that there was a 10% chance that he was lying, and Glasses panicked even more. Glasses covered his face like he expected a beatdown. But our dude just asked why he was in this room in the first place. Glasses revealed that he had gotten tricked into a security check part-time job, and he had been trapped there for 3 days. Those jerks were really bad guys, and even after this job, they were going to make Glasses keep doing bad things. Our dude asked what things, and Glasses explained that he'd be forced to do stock manipulation, and our dude was surprised that those cheap thugs were doing something like that. They seemed too dumb for that in his own opinion, but Glasses explained that he had been told to create a program to manipulate comments on stock forums. Those guys went directly to an internet cafe nearby to install it. Those had been the same thugs that they had seen walking out of that cafe, so our dude realized that was what they had been doing. So, Glasses was sure that they had to be part of a stock manipulation group. However, our dude suspected that there was probably someone behind them, and those guys had to be subcontractors. Since they were not targeting our dude's temporary base, at least his safety was secured for now, but he could not just let them go, and he needed to deal with whoever was behind them. So, he told Glasses to call the police, and Glasses was stunned, because he had thought that our dude was the police. Our dude told him to tell the police that he was kidnapped and to explain all that he had experienced to them. Glasses was nervous and asked our dude, who he called Old Man, if he would not get in trouble too. Our dude was first of all offended at getting called old. He pointed at himself and smiled, asking if Glasses even knew his face. Glasses did not, because our dude was wearing a mask. So, in this story, our dude was just a passerby who saved Glasses because he had heard someone getting beat up and saw Glasses getting hit. That was all. Our dude had helped the victim, and it was time for him to bounce. He waved goodbye and started leaving, and Glasses was shocked by this behavior. Our dude asked if he should wait for the police, but that was not the problem. Glasses actually wanted to ask if he could beat up the unconscious guys a little bit too. Our dude asked why the victim was even asking. Glasses said that he just wanted to be sure in case they woke up that our dude would protect him. However, our dude assured him that the thugs would not wake up, so he could go ahead and beat them up with confidence. This greatly inspired Glasses, who was thrilled to hear this. He yelled and raised his fist, cursing at the jerks. He swung his fist at the thug on the ground, and the man popped up like a spooky triggered Jack-in-the-Box, shocking both Glasses and our dude. They were mortified, and Glasses' soul nearly left his body from the shock. Even our dude squealed in horror. Police cars gathered around a place where our dude had beat up the jerks bullying the victim. The police were stunned when they got to the scene of the crime and could not believe that those people had gotten beat up so badly. Fortunately, the 3 thugs were still alive, and another officer questioned the victim on what had happened in that place. The victim explained that those jerks had kept him there for 3 days, and they had locked him up and beat him, saying that he had to make a stock forum manipulation program. The thugs had also threatened to kill Glasses if he failed, and the police officer got real suspicious and asked Glasses how exactly the thugs had ended up like this, since it was not likely from overwork, and Glasses explained that he had not been the one to fight them. Glasses told them of the passerby who heard the commotion and helped him. However, the police and the detectives agreed that those 3 thugs were not at all bright enough to come up with manipulating the stock prices. The man thought that something was fishy and that there was definitely someone else behind them. Even his partner agreed, and they instructed their police colleagues to interrogate those jerks as soon as they woke up in the hospital. The man said that if the men were questioned while they were still groggy from the drugs, then they would let something slip and not tell lies. However, the investigators still wondered who had beat up those guys to that level. The victim had said that it was just a passerby, and the investigator's partner asked if the men were going to live. The investigator laughed and said that the men might have broken some bones, but they would not die, and they were also the one who pulled a knife first. Then, the 2 men had to figure out what they would do next, and the investigator said that they would secure the CCTV footage and find out who it was that had beat these guys up. They did not need to arrest the hero, but this was too big of a deal for them to let it slide without any investigation. Meanwhile, our dude walked proudly through the street until his internal AI warned him that there was a camera up ahead, then advised our guy to turn right. Our guy did turn as well, and he asked his inner machine if it was sure that the building they just left did not have any CCTV. The AI said that it was sure and that they had to complete the mission thoroughly so that they would not get caught. Our dude had been really surprised back there, and he had not expected the thugs to stand up again so quickly after getting hit. It was just a reflex, like a knee-jerk reaction, and the AI assured him that the thugs just had exceptional reflexes. Then, our dude then asked why the AI did not have a phone function, since that would be so much more convenient, but the inner machine did not have anything like that. Then our dude groaned and knew that he had to get a smartphone since he was broken. He would just get it on an installment plan. Since that day, 3 days had passed, and our dude has lived an unbothered life in all those 3 days. The day after rescuing the hacker civilian, the dude went to the registered address on his already existing ID card to gather information about himself. However, our guy had found the place empty, and it was just a barren field in Gangwon province. All that was left were rumors that his house burned down. Our dude stared into the sky and at the beauty of the sun and trees, wondering who he was and what he was doing in this time period. Our dude wondered if he had really been communicating with the future, or if he was a person from the future who came to the past. With no more clues to investigate, only unanswered questions remained. Our dude had no choice but to return empty-handed. So, he returned to the PC room and the PC cafe regained its peace, and business thrived even more. According to the part-timer, Cha Yunseo, thanks to a certain influencer, the cafe is now a must-visit spot. The special dish is only served when I'm at the cafe. They don't sell the special dish when he is out gathering information, and that random sales tactic unexpectedly had an effect. Whether our dude was at the cafe or not, it was now bustling with customers. Some people came around just to eat, but most of them stayed and used the cafe for at least an hour or two. Now, judging by the happy and joyful look on the owner's face, it seemed like he had to hire more part-timers as the number of customers increased. The owner happily introduced a new part-timer and asked for the part-timer's name. Our dude looked up in surprise when he saw the part-timer, and the new guy happily introduced himself, saying that he was pleased to meet them. He was Seong Hwan, the civilian that our dude had rescued from captivity 3 days ago. The owner checked out the dude's schedule and was amazed to find that he had been studying computer science. Glasses laughed and admitted that he has been good with computers for a long time, so if the computers broke, Glasses would happily fix it for them. He bowed and happily said that he was looking forward to working with them, and the owner laughed, patting his back and saying that they had 2 reliable part-timers employed there. Barbie insisted that her uncle include her in his count. The truth was that Glasses applied to work at the cafe because he felt bad. He had caused damage to the PC cafe after all, even though he had been forced to do it by those goons. At any rate, with a heart full of remorse, he would work hard at the cafe. The owner happily introduced the new part-timer to our dude called Na Kang, and who had turned the cafe into a very famous spot with his life-changing cooking. The owner introduced our dude as the cafe's chef, but he was also good with computers, so the owner expected our dude and Glasses to help each other out and get along. The two stared at each other for a moment, and then Glasses seemed to come to a realization the more he looked at our dude. He then asked if it could be, and our dude immediately got nervous because he realized that Glasses was totally figuring out his true identity. However, it was just a false alarm, and Glasses happily pointed out that our dude was definitely older than him, and our dude happily accepted that. Glasses laughed and said that it was nice to meet our dude. He introduced himself as Seong Hwan and asked our dude to please take care of him. Our dude was very relieved that Glasses did not recognize him. He shook our dude's hand, and our dude also introduced himself. Working with the person he rescued was a risk to our dude's cover, and the AI warned our dude, recommending that our dude tell the owner to fire Glasses. However, our dude thought that was way too harsh when Glasses was already calling him Hyung, and he asked how he could possibly get the guy fired. Though Glasses had first called him an old man, still, our dude looked forward to working with the kid. The inner machine double-checked the shopping list for the day when they went out. They had to get sriracha sauce, tonkatsu sauce, ketchup, mayonnaise, chili sauce, oyster sauce, and tomato sauce. All purchases were quickly completed, and the receipts were safely kept as well. Our dude was pleased and noticed that his inner machine seemed especially meticulous about money and food. The AI commented on managing money and then burst into a rant on how managing money was important and made life easier, and was crucial for safety. Our dude started to wonder if there was a malfunction from how much his AI was saying. However, our dude agreed that managing money and detecting danger was very helpful, but the real joy was just enjoying good food. Suddenly, his inner machine sounded an alarm that a fire hazard had been detected. Our dude stopped on getting such an alert, and he looked forward at the street, but saw no clear signs of fire. Our dude then accused the inner machine of pretending to malfunction just so that he could change the topic. The inner machine insisted that was not the case, but our dude called it a liar since he could see no sign of fire. Suddenly, a house exploded and fire shot out from one of the nearby buildings. Our dude's eyes widened in shock to see that his little machine friend had not been messing around. There was a fire, and people in the building had started to panic as they screamed for help. The fire quickly began to spread in the building, and our dude realized this was a real fire. His body was equipped with combat support AI, and his eyes had augmented reality technology. In his ears, there were auxiliary modules, and his legs had enhanced strength. A fire like this was no match for him, and he could put it out in one shot. So, our dude readied himself and pointed at the building, ready to launch his fire-extinguishing beam from his hand. He stood in the middle of the street like an idiot with nothing shooting out of his hand, and a kid looking at him like he was dumb. Our dude was silent from the shock, and even the AI had to ask if our dude was out of his mind. Our dude was also stunned and felt very disappointed that he did not have a freezing ray in his hands or anything cool like that. The AI took the time to remind our dude that if he did have something like that, he would not even count as human anymore. Our dude was still very disappointed and then asked what was the easiest way to put out the fire. The inner machine instructed him to call a fire truck as that was the easiest option, and our dude was very disappointed that he could not use his badass skills to fight every foe. He really wanted to do something extra when suddenly he heard someone calling for help. He looked up and the call for help got even louder from the roof of the building on fire. There was someone dancing around and waving their hands at the top. It was a young lady and she looked close to tears. People pointed at her and gasped, unsure what to do to help her. Our dude immediately whipped out his mask and asked his inner machine if he could calculate the fire truck's estimated arrival time. Considering the current traffic, it would take at least 4 minutes. The flames were likely to reach the roof within those 4 minutes. If they did not act now, there was a 99% chance that they would die. Our dude slipped on his mask with pride and determination burned in his eyes as he made a pledge to find an entry route. There were no available paths inside the building for them to safely use to get to the roof. However, the inner machine had found a path outside the building that would ensure that our dude would avoid the toxic gas as he climbed up. So, our dude immediately shot up the building, jumping from point to point of foot space that jutted out of the building until he could get to the top. Some people stared in amazement at the crazy guy that was scaling the building. It looked like our dude was going to save the person, and our dude asked the AI to check for survivors on the other floors. The inner machine heard no movement from inside the building, and most people probably evacuated right after the explosion. So, our dude focused on getting to the roof. The people watched him in awe and one kid asked if our dude was Spider-Man. No one could understand how what he was doing could be possible and some people thought that he was a rock climber. Our dude then got a very loud warning from his personal AI, and there was an explosion risk detected ahead. Our dude paused, stranded on the building he was climbing, and then the huge explosion struck, blowing him back. Our dude shot through the sky like a shooting star and just managed to grab the ledge of a nearby window. He was shook and was relieved that his grip strength saved him, though the AI complained that our dude should thank it for detecting the explosion and giving the warning in the first place. Our dude pretended he could not hear, but he finally made it to the stable ground of some part of the roof. He sighed in relief about making it, and he saw the girl on the roof crying in defeat and accepting her fate. She looked up with teary eyes, surprised to see our dude, and our dude stretched out his hand to her like he was a hero. She called him her savior and cried pathetic tears down her eyes as she reached out for him. Just then, another explosion sounded behind them and the girl screamed in fear. The AI gave our dude a strong warning that the fire was spreading faster than expected and that the situation was very dangerous. Their estimated survival rate was decreasing and our dude had actually become concerned, asking his inner machine if they were totally going to die there. This of course freaked out the girl he had come to save, who cried because she thought he had come to save her. Our dude told her to keep quiet since he was calculating. The AI had said that his body was enhanced and if he held onto her and jumped to the next building, then they should not get hurt. However, the inner machine reminded him that there were too many witnesses and they were supposed to be undercover here. If superhuman abilities were witnessed, our dude's identity as an agent would be questioned, and eventually it would become hard for our dude to adapt to this place. Our dude considered that sounded way better than dying. Suddenly, our guy spotted something that they could use. His eyes widened when he noticed the clothesline, and he grabbed it, deciding to use that to go down. The girl our dude recused was not so on board with the idea, and she told him that she could not do it. The lower parts of the building were blocked by the fire, which made it difficult to move, and all the directions were currently unsafe. So, our dude had a bit of a crazy idea as he tossed the clothes on the lines, but our dude had decided to tie the clothesline to the next building and tightrope across. The AI admitted that such a thing was possible, even if the girl they rescued was still horrified by their madness. She cried that she could not do that. The girl cried that our dude was crazy and that they could not tightrope walk at this height. Our dude reassured her that he would take action. All she had to do was help, though she didn't believe she could help him with something like that when their destination was so far away. The AI promised that once they were on the rope, he would help our dude keep his balance. Once the ropes were tied together, they were to throw them across as the inner machine could assist our dude with movement. Our dude suggested the inner machine just control the throw, but the machine pointed out that throwing actions were similar to attacks, so the AI could not take control. Our dude was confused that the AI could cook but it could not assist with combat actions, and it agreed that our dude was totally on his own for this one. Our dude muttered about the machine being picky, but he got ready to throw, much to the horror of the victim he was rescuing. Our dude asked his machine to help make the fine adjustments, and then he threw with all his might. Fortunately, the hook sailed and caught nicely onto the next building, which was a safe distance away. Our dude then told the girl that it was time to go, and she was not thrilled about that at all. She cried when he scooped her up bridal style with a determined look on his face. She cried that he would definitely drop her, and he told her to be quiet. Then, he started walking and the onlookers were amazed that our dude was really crossing the rope just like that. Someone yelled to stack something below them since they would die if they fell. Our dude kept slowly walking as the fire overtook the roof and the girl covered her eyes with her hand, crying for her mother to save her. Our dude told the girl to stay still and not to move as they walked on the delicate line to another building. At this speed, it seemed they should be fine, though the girl would much prefer it if they walked a little faster. The AI agreed that they were perfectly fine at their speed, but suddenly, the inner machine detected an unexpected situation. The rope had begun to break faster than they had expected. Our dude was shocked to hear this and asked how much longer they have, and at this rate the rope would snap before they could make it to the other building. Our dude was annoyed to hear this, and he gripped the panicking girl close to his chest. Then he tossed her suddenly to the other building. The girl flew through the air like a basketball. She landed on her butt on the other roof and she groaned as she hit the ground. The rope was still breaking and burning away, and then it suddenly broke. Our dude fell with his eyes wide, and he mentally panicked over totally dying from his stupid decisions. He screamed in panic as he fell. Our dude was falling, and as he plummeted from a great height, he reminded himself to calculate. Our dude's eyes scanned around the environment as his mind worked quickly, calculating. He had to figure out what to do as he fell. The rope in the new building was still in front of him and he reached out with his super-powered hand and snatched the rope in his grasp. He had managed to halt his fall, though the burn of the rope made his hand ache. He would live another day. Using the new grip that he had now found, our dude scaled up the building in a flash, and he just kept running. The people watched in amazement to see the crazy guy was still alive and that he was running along the building walls like some kind of plainclothes superhero. Our dude finally got to the roof and leapt, landing like a superhero at the top and striking the most immaculate pose of victory. He paused after his triumphant landing, panting like a terrified dog when he realized that he had thought that he was done for. He peeked up and asked the girl he saved if she was okay. The saved victim groaned and rubbed at her head. But then she screamed when she saw him, calling him a ghost because she had been sure that he was dead. However, our dude was still very much alive, and he told her to come down since it was dangerous for her to stay up there. The saved victim scaled down the high spot on the building, marveling and asking how our dude was alive. The girl asked if he had not fallen and if he was superhuman. Our dude admitted that he was something like that. Then, the girl asked why our dude was talking so informally to her and asked if he knew her. Our guy just admitted that she looked young and like a kid, so he had just done it on instinct. She then asked if he was a fan of hers and our dude started to wonder who exactly the girl was. Meanwhile, our dude was pissed at his inner machine and complained that it had been wrong a lot lately, and that it had said that it was part of the strategic special forces so he had trusted it. The AI was upset and argued that it had no idea that they used flammable materials on the building's exterior. Our dude said the AI not knowing did not solve everything. However, the girl called out to him and our dude temporarily gave her his attention, which was when the girl then whispered that he was totally the internet cafe chef. Our dude was absolutely horrified, and he wondered how on earth did people keep recognizing him. He had no idea. Later that day, the firefighters, ambulance, and the police came around to take care of the fire and the damage that it had done. As expected, many had filmed our dude recusing the girl on a tightrope, and those who watched the video were filled with awe. They were amazed that someone had connected the rope to the ledge and then crossed from one building to another, all while carrying another person. The detective wondered if it had been a famous rock climber or a tightrope expert, and no one had any idea who they were. Unfortunately, no one knew, and they only had one clue, which was the shopping bag that our dude had totally dropped while he had been passing by. The detective was surprised to see a plastic bag, and his colleague said that when the hero saved someone, it was very likely that the hero would have been forced to probably use both hands and feet. If they had a plastic bag, they would have had to put it down before attempting the rescue. This was why the tightrope master had likely left behind the plastic bag. It was the only thing left on the scene without an owner, so there was a possibility that it belonged to the local hero. From what the investigators could see, the shopping bag only contained just sauce that could be used for cooking. There was a receipt, but it was wet and torn, so it was hard to read. However, the store's name was still there so they could go check the CCTV. However, one of the investigators felt like the whole thing was a bother since it was not like they were chasing a criminal. Also, if it was just an electrical issue or a gas leak, it was not even their team's case. Suddenly, the investigator's partner glanced down at his phone as it began to ring. When he picked up the phone, he sighed that the team leader was on the phone with them and he was asking them why. The investigators sighed that it was because they were always cutting into their vacation time and that they were in deep trouble now. The investigator groaned and asked why they were always in deep trouble, and it was not just a short circuit or a gas leak, but it was actually arson. They were not sure of that yet, but that was not the current problem. One death was reported on the 3rd floor, and they all groaned cause this meant that they had to get involved. They had thought that there were no casualties, but they sighed and said that they would start by looking for the tightrope master. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, our dude was still hanging out with the girl who knew his identity. She stretched, saying that she felt so refreshed after a good bath, and our dude pointed out that she had survived thanks to him. But now she was blackmailing him for bath money as well, and he asked if she did not have shame. Her house was completely burned down, and she whined that he did not even feel sorry for her. She cried that she had no parents and that he was all alone and did not even have a place to stay that night. Fire Girl was rubbing in the emotional blackmail thick, and our dude pointed out that he was alone too. Fire Girl was shocked that our dude just did not care. She sulked that she really meant it when she said that she was alone, and that she took out a student loan to register for college and was planning to slowly work part-time. Now, she had no way to survive, and our dude recalled that she said that she would work part-time, so he told her to go get a job. She cried, saying that she had no way of doing that right now. Then the Fire Girl recalled that our dude's cafe was hiring part-timers, but our dude was already leaving and saying goodbye. Fire Girl whined that they were hiring and that our dude ought to help her get in there. She grabbed his clothes and begged and whined, much to his great irritation. He told her to go talk with the boss since he was just a part-timer too. Then the Fire Girl energetically said that they could go together and hand in their resumes. Our dude really wanted nothing to do with her, and he gave up. However, he asked how she could recognize him and she winked, saying that she always went to the internet cafe because of her job. Our dude was confused that she was saying she had a job, and the Fire Girl explained that she was somewhat a popular game streaming celebrity. She even sometimes got donations from her loving fans. She did not have a computer at home, so she just streamed from the internet cafe. Our dude then asked if she was pretty and the fire girl was stunned that he had asked such a blunt question while looking at her face. He then asked if she was any good at games, and she said that she was not. Then he asked how many subscribers she had, and she had to admit that she only had 30. Our guy then decided that they had no choice but to submit that Resume or Fire Girl would die from poverty, and she energetically agreed. Our dude headed back to the cafe and he was greeted by Barbie, who wanted to know why he was so late. She was surprised to see that he had returned with a girl and she happily said hello, introducing herself as Yunorium, the new part-timer. Our dude said she did not have that title yet. Then Barbie reminded our dude that he had gone out to buy sauces, so she asked why he had returned empty-handed. Our dude said that he had lost them while watching the fire, and Barbie realized that he had gone ahead to see the fire. Blondie laughed that he had been so excited about the fire that he had lost their stuff and someone had probably taken it by now. Our dude said that they could deduct it from his wages when he suddenly got a message from his AI. His inner machine analyzed their field view, and based on that, there was a high chance that many people filmed the fire incident. They needed to search the internet to gather information. Meanwhile, the fire girl was already introducing herself to the owner. Our dude headed off to search the internet, and he saw that there were indeed many videos of himself out there. The AI found some footage from the scene, and it had been recorded a lot of times. Judging by the reaction, our dude's videos were spreading quickly online. However, our dude figured that it would be okay since his inner machine could just delete all the videos from the internet. However, the AI pointed out that he had no such hacking skills, and our dude was shocked about this. The inner machine had to remind him that he was a combat support AI, and our dude pointed out that the AI had hacked before. However, that had only been for identity manipulation. Our guy grumbled and said that was useless since he already had an identity, and the inner machine added that he did indeed have military-grade hacking defense skills. But there was no hacker attacking at the moment, so the AI could not show this to our guy. So, the summary was that the inner machine could not delete the videos, and the AI agreed that the assumption was correct. Our dude was very annoyed, and soon, the investigators found themselves drawn to the PC cafe where our dude worked, and the man suspected that the tightrope master worked at the internet cafe. At the PC place, the inner machine reports that he failed to find any information regarding the Earth Alliance and the Strategic Special Forces again that day. Our dude wonders if there might be someone connected to the year 2082, but our dude figured there probably was no one like that. The inner machine pointed out that there was always the possibility that the person was hiding their identity, just like they were, and our dude had to agree on that one as he lounged in his room. The inner machine had confirmed several claims about people coming from the future, but none of them were credible, and it was just people with wild theories on the internet. Our dude said he had told the AI so and that it was the year 2024, so they would likely not find anything. However, the inner machine pointed out that its existence could be explained by any technology of 2024. Our dude had to agree there and that there was an AI implanted into his human body, which would be impossible to accomplish using current technology. However, no matter what they tried to do about it, they were in the year 2024. By the way, our dude asked what happened to the burning building the other day, and his inner machine pulled up new columns, revealing that one person was found dead at the scene. Our dude was shocked to hear this and panicked about them failing to save someone, and he asked if it was his fault. His inner AI reassured him and explained that the deceased was found in the room they had passed by while climbing the outer wall of the building the other day. So, our dude had not seen him, and he asked if his inner machine had infrared vision or something like that. The inner machine explained that the R lenses were augmented reality devices and not infrared vision devices. Then our dude drawled that his inner machine was surprisingly clumsy about certain things. Our guy sighed as he recalled that there had absolutely been no sign of anyone in that room. The AI also added that there were no signs of movement, sounds of life, or any noise detected in the surrounding area. Our dude then realized that if there was no sign of the living, then that meant that the person was already dead when they got there. Our dude then began to speculate that it could be more than just a fire accident and that it could actually be a case of premeditated murder. The inner machine agreed that there was a very high chance of that. Suddenly, our dude had to snap out of his inner conversation when he heard someone mention the police. It seemed that the card used to purchase the items that our dude left at the scene had been used to trace our dude's location. The policeman asked Barbie if she had bought the sauces. Oblivious Barbie beamed when she recognized the bag, and the policeman asked who had bought it. Barbie then called out for her Kang Appa, which was our dude. Blondie said that the police officer brought the seasoning that he had lost while he had been watching the fire the other day. Our dude stepped out and the policeman was shocked, realizing that our dude had just left behind the bag of sauces while only watching the fire. Barbies cheered, saying that the police were truly amazing to even track down the owners of things like this to return to them. The policeman hastily agreed and our dude thanked him. The police of course accepted our dude's thanks, and he even handed over his business card. The officer added that if our dude had any tips about the incident that day, then he should please contact him. Barbie happily waved the police goodbye while our dude stared at the card. Our dude whispered to himself that to catch the murderer, they needed the help of the detective. He asks his inner machine if he could go meet the detective, and his AI says that our dude has a confirmed identity, so it is safe for him to interact with law enforcement. Barbies asks if our dude has any errands to run that day since she wants to work with him today and get even closer. The AI adds that it would be beneficial for our dude to get acquainted with the local police for future operations, so our dude makes up his mind to do just that, and Barbie is overjoyed cause she thinks they will be able to hang out. Blondie squeals with joy that they will get to work together, but our dude finally hears her and bursts her bubble by saying that he had no errands so he would be leaving. She stared in shock as he departed swiftly. Suddenly she blushed as he left, gushing that he was really hard to understand. Meanwhile, at the police station, someone expressed a sound of surprise and the detective pointed at our dude, recognizing him as the owner of the envelope earlier. Our dude confessed that he was the owner, and the detective laughed that our dude did not need to come all the way just because they returned a lost item. However, our dude suddenly went speechless, and for a hot moment the man was speechless too. Then the detective realized that our dude had come empty-handed with no gifts for thanks. Our guy explained that he had not come for thanks and the detective was a little surprised. Then, our dude spoke about the other day's incident and remarked that he thought it was a murder. The detective was surprised at his assumption, but he agreed that since there was a fatality, it was worth suspecting. Besides, they were still investigating. However, our dude adds that there is a very high chance that the incident was a murder. The detective was surprised about that, then asked our dude if he had any evidence, since a civilian could not make a random guess and confuse the investigation. Our dude simply responded that he had not seen anyone moving when he went up the tightrope, and the detective absent-mindedly agreed with him. Then the detective spat out his drink in shock, shocking the other officers around. The detective could not believe that our dude was really the guy that he had been searching for, the tightrope master from the other day. The detective demanded why our dude had not identified himself earlier, and our dude just said that the officer had not asked, so he had said nothing. The detective groaned and called our dude too much. Then he asked how our dude had climbed up the building like a superhero. The detective was in awe that our dude had carried someone on the rope and then ran along the wall, but our dude said that did not seem like the point at the moment. The detective had to agree to that, and then again asked our dude why he suspected a murder. There had been no movement in that room, even though the fire was burning, so our dude expected that the victim was either already dead or might have been intoxicated by alcohol or drugs. So, the detective understood that our guy was saying that someone set the building on fire in order to cover up a murder. Our dude confirmed his suspicions since he had confirmed the other day that there were no other survivors as he ascended the building. Another officer approached to ask if the National Forensic Service had contacted them yet. Then the officer paused to gush at the tightrope master while our dude greeted him hello. The detective reported that the Forensic Service was yet to contact them since it took time to perform an autopsy, but the fire was so intense that they said nothing might come out of it. Another officer called the detective park and said that they just got word that the fire was most likely caused by an electrical short circuit. The detective asked if they had checked CCTV to confirm those suspicions, and the officer responded that there was not a single camera in the area. It was all very suspicious, and the detective wondered what they should do next, pondering on whether or not they should make a sketch. Then, our dude whispered and asked his inner AI if he could remember the faces of the people they had seen yesterday. The inner machine confirmed that it could remember since it had stored the visual information that they had collected before the fire. The inner machine then asked if the information should be replayed, and our dude gave the go-ahead. So, the memories began to flip in our dude's mind like a screen film, and his eyes widened as he said that he had seen 4 people walking from the direction of the building yesterday. The detective was surprised, and our dude went on to say that the first person came out of the alley by the building. He was holding a phone in his right hand and talking on it. He had a bracelet on his left wrist, and his shirt was a reddish checkered pattern with 2 missing buttons. The phone case was gray and the shirt underneath is white, and the detective was shocked by our dude's accurate memory because he was describing the guy like the guy was right in front of him. Our dude was in fact doing that and he had no intention of stopping. So, he went on to describe the second person as well as the third person while the detective took down the information on his computer. The detective was very impressed and asked our dude if he could help them create a sketch. The detective intended to capture the sketch before the memory faded, but their sketch artist was out at the moment, but our dude could wait a bit. However, our dude suddenly grabbed a paper and stated that he could just draw it for them. The detective was shocked and he asked if our dude was good at drawing. Our dude mumbled that he was just decent, however his inner machine was very good at drawing. So, our guy grabbed a pen and he held it over the empty sheet of paper. Our dude asked his inner machine to capture the 3 suspects and to project them into his vision, to which the machine readily agreed to do. Our dude then asked the inner machine to zoom in a bit more on the suspects' faces, and then he asked his inner AI to enhance the quality. Once our dude could see the people a little better, he asked his inner machine to project the images onto paper, and asked the AI to work a little more to the left. Meanwhile, the officers were wondering why he was talking to himself. Now, our dude could draw each person by basically tracing their features. He got to work with his pen and it slid easily on the paper as he drew. Our dude worked very hard and was very busy for quite a while as he began to bring those faces to life. Then, he raised his paper with success and announced that he was all done. The detective and the officer crowded in close in amazement at our dude's work, and stared in shock at the absolute ugliest cartoonish looking images known to man. They could not believe that all of his hard work amounted to that very ugly and barely decipherable picture. Our dude immediately crumpled that paper in shame and laughed that he had just taken a short break, and the officers agreed with him since he seemed so embarrassed. Then they all fell into a joint awkward silence after that, and our dude put his head in his hands. Our dude glared at his inner AI, saying that his AI was supposed to draw the men from memory, and his inner machine reminded him that he could only move when he was granted temporary control. Our guy muttered about his AI being so inflexible, but he granted it anyway. The officer was nervously asking the detective if he could draw, but the detective admitted that he needed to contact the montage person right away. Suddenly, our dude emitted a shiny-ass bright light, and the two men turned in shock to see our dude drawing at the speed of light. The men took a second look at what our dude was doing, and their faces were frozen in disbelief and awe as they found themselves looking at renditions of the photos that were almost so clear that they could have been pictures. Carefully, the inner machine drew, sketching out details very slowly that the longer the officer and the detective stared, the more they could see the picture start to form. They could not believe that our dude who had drawn the ugliest picture earlier was suddenly bringing to life a perfect picture on paper using only a pen. The officers gathered around and stared at the drawing in awe, saying that it looked like it had been made by a machine, which was accurate. They asked our dude if he was some kind of genius, and if he had a main job as a painter. However, the inner machine reminded our dude that their main job was being a special agent for the Earth Alliance, but there was no way that he was going to say that, and the truth would not make a difference to the police. So, our dude just held up the pictures, explaining that only 3 people left the alley before the fire started. If the arsonist was fleeing, then they would be among those 3 people. All of the police gasped in newfound respect and awe. One of the police officers punched the wall and then yelled that they had to find their identities right away. He ordered them to investigate, and all the policemen raced away to obey their team leader. The next day, at the PC cafe, our dude made a shiny new dish that was rich in broth, meat and vegetables. All his colleagues gasped in awe, and Barbie happily commented that his malatang was amazing and that it was so delicious. Even their new fake celeb gave the thumbs up and agreed that the food was fantastic, and the hacker sobbed that the food was so good that it made him tear up. Then, Barbie pointed out that she had heard that the fire at the fake celeb's house had been arson, and the fake celeb was shocked to hear that it had not been an accident. Even the hacker agreed that the news just said that they had arrested the culprit. The fake celeb was amazed by this news, and the others filled her in on how they had found harmful drugs on the culprit as well. Our dude listened in the background and was a little surprised about the drugs. It had not even been a day since the police took the suspects in, and the investigation had been done rather quickly. Thanks to his inner machine's ability, our dude paused when his phone began to ring, and his colleagues were creating a rather noisy atmosphere. Still, our dude picked it because Detective Park was calling, and the detective informed our dude that he wanted to let our guy know that thanks to our guy, they had caught the culprit. 2 of the people in the montage were local residents, but the other one was not from around there, and it turned out that the last one had been friends with the victim. Still, the detectives needed to investigate the exact cause of the murder, but anyway, they had also found drugs in the suspicious guy's wallet. Our dude admitted that he had heard about that, and the detective went on to explain that it seemed like the suspect had come to borrow money because of the drugs, and when he did not get the money, he killed his friend. The funniest thing about the case to the detective was that they had quickly tracked down the one selling the suspicious drugs and raided the scene. Then, the detective asked our dude to guess who they had found there. They had found the actor Na Jungjin, and that the actor being found there sent the whole entertainment industry into cards. Our dude had no idea who that actor was, but he just nodded along. Our dude admitted that the case was getting bigger and bigger, and the detective sighed that it looked like he would be getting no vacation time. However, thanks to the montage that our dude had drawn, the police had managed to speed things up 100-fold, so the detective was wondering if they could make the montage public. Public activities could interfere with our dude's special missions as an agent, and the inner AI was against it. However, our dude figured that there was no need to hide entirely. As long as the police did not reveal who drew the montage, our dude agreed that it was fine, unaware that his colleagues were now listening to the conversation. The detective was amazed that our dude refused to reveal his identity and called him a true hero. Our dude said that he was just doing his job, while his colleagues perked up their ears to get the gist. The detective was wowed and said that he would keep our dude's words in mind. The detective thanked our dude one more time and then he hung up. Our dude was done with the conversation, and now he had to face his workplace fan club that eagerly wanted to know what was going on. Barbie cooed and asked our dude if he had drawn for the Detective Park, and our dude admitted that he had only done a small doodle. His colleagues laughed that the drawing must have been really bad if he was begging them not to mention that he had been the one to draw it. As they laughed, our dude told them to think what they wanted, but then they heard a cry in the cafe. All the workers were alert at once and turned to see the cause of the commotion. Someone had split their ramen and was arguing with someone else who said that had done the same in the last round, and the person yelled that it was because the other had shot the gun. Barbie sighed that a customer had spilt ramen again, and the hacker immediately moved in, telling the rookie that she had the cleanup duty, so the fake celebrity got ready to clean it up. The fake celebrity glided over, thinking that since she had cleaned up the ramen, then she should ask the boss for a bonus. However, she ended up tripping a customer, and she jumped to her feet, apologizing and asking if the customer was okay while our dude watched from the background. The customer groaned about their wrist and he yelled at Blue Hair to be careful since he had hurt his poor wrist. The fake celeb with blue hair apologized and asked the customer if he was hurt badly, and the poor customer groaned that his wrist might be broken. The fake celeb then panicked as she did not know if she ought to call the police or the hospital in this situation. Our dude stepped forward to ask the customer if his wrist was really broken, and judging from the hand's movement, the inner machine reported that there was the possibility of a fracture. To check the injury, the inner machine asked our dude to touch the customer's hand and observe his response. Our dude asked his inner machine to check it out and the AI accepted its role. So, our dude asked if he could touch the customer's wrist to check and the customer was surprised to see the chef pulling up. Still, the customer let our dude touch him, while groaning about how much it hurt. The inner machine checked the muscles, ligaments, and joints. There was no damage to the bone, but the wrist was sprained. Our dude informed the customer that the bone was fine, and that it was just a mild sprain. But the customer groaned that it hurt so much. Our dude then said that he would make it hurt less for him. He took the dude's hand and suddenly the customer wowed that it really did not hurt as much as before, with hearts floating in the background as his colleagues watched the scene. The hacker noted that our dude was really good at massages too, and Barbie giggled that she needed to get hurt so that she could get a massage too. It would take 24 hours for the customer to recover, so our dude told the customer not to overdo it or the injury would worsen. He also told the customer to avoid doing any strenuous work until the next day. If the customer pushed too hard, things would only get worse. The customer was worried about what he would do about work since he needed to cook in Gangwon-do tomorrow. The fake celeb was surprised to hear that the customer was a chef, and the customer explained that he worked for a food truck. The customer explained that there was an emergency film shoot, so they had urgently called his food truck to come as well. Then, the fake celeb volunteered to go and help the injured customer since it had been her fault, and the customer asked her if she could cook. Blue Hair replied that she was really good at making ramen. The customer was irritated with that response. No matter how urgent, she could not just serve ramen to his customers, and he hoped that someone good at cooking would come along. Of course, he was totally aiming for our dude and made big puppy eyes at him in hopes of coercing him. Our dude was speechless and the inner machine translated that the customer's eyes were saying that the solution to his problem was obvious, and he just needed our dude to say yes. Our dude turned away, saying that he was sorry, but he had to work. Then, the customer said that he would pay our dude 300,000 won if he helped him out, and even an agent from the future could barely resist when the customer spoke the language of money. Our dude suddenly turned enthusiastic about helping out the customer. Our dude asked if he just needed to cook rice and side dishes, and the customer beamed saying of course. The customer laughed with glee, asking our dude if he was really going to help because the customer was honored. Actually, the customer had heard that the PC room had a reputation for great food, so he had come to check it out. The food was so good that the customer had been coming there every day since then, and he had thought that he would learn something from eating there every day. The customer then said that if our dude helped with the food truck, it would be his honor to pick up even a tip or two from our dude. Our dude had roughly scouted this area, and he asked his inner machine if it was time to move on and investigate other regions so that they could find their purpose around here. The inner AI said that our dude could cover the costs of the mission while investigating by working on the food truck part-time. Honestly, it was all about the money for the inner machine, but the same went for our dude. The next morning, the food truck was on its way to the event, and the customer was amazed that our dude was such a great driver. The customer had not realized that his car could drive this smoothly, and our dude said that he just managed. Meanwhile, the inner AI protested that he was the one driving and our dude was just taking credit for all his hard work again. Today, the food truck chef would make sure to impress the actors and staff with a delicious meal. He put his thumb up and thanked our dude for helping him, and our dude assured that there was no reason to thank him. Our guy was the one who should be grateful. The food truck chef went on talking and he asked our dude if he heard about the news that blew up the other day of an actor that got caught at a drug party. Our dude admitted that he had heard it. In fact, the place where they were headed to was where that actor was filming. The movie was supposed to release in about a week, and our dude asked if they could still release it. Of course, they could not since no one would want to watch a movie with a drug addict actor. So, now they were reshooting everything and it was chaos. The food truck chef was glad that he got work out of it. But the atmosphere there was so intense. They had to reshoot all of the scenes involving the drug addict actor and everyone involved was panicking. Our dude then asked why they were not just delaying the release. The food truck chef explained that it was a special situation because they had booked a lot of theaters, so if they pushed back the schedule, they would lose all the theaters, and the production company would go bust. The director was in for a tough time, and the director was Sun Tae-min. The food truck chef asked our dude if he knew him, and said that the director was one of the top directors for romance films in Korea, so the food truck chef was sure that the director would be fine. Meanwhile, we take a shot to the director who is heavily smoking a blunt and he groans that it is ruined. The film director does not like what he is looking at and he mumbles that twice while the camera crew watches him apprehensively. The camera crew asked if they should reshoot, but the director groaned that they had no time and that they had no choice but to settle for the garbage that they had. The director cursed and he grit his teeth, irritated that all of this had happened because of that druggy scumbag. The director yelled in rage that if he ever got his hands on that drug-abusing actor then he would kill him. Someone rushed over to tell the director that the food truck was ready, and the camera crew encouraged the director to eat and cool down for a bit since the staff was exhausted too. The director had no interest in food and he screamed out that they thought he could eat in this really tense moment. If the movie failed, everyone involved would be in debt. Even the cost of the food truck for a day was a waste, so the director yelled that the food trucks should be told to leave. However, the director completely changed his mind when he took a bite of the food and his eyes shone with wonder as he asked why the food tasted so good. The director could have sworn that he was not hungry, and even the other members of staff had to agree that the food was insanely good. The staff could not help but wonder if the food had been drugged because it was so good, and the director immediately yelled for them to shut up and to stop talking about drugs. Though the staff member had meant a healthy tonic, a herbal tonic, the original food truck chef had hurt their wrist, so a chef they knew was helping out, which was our dude with his AI cooking skills, of course. The young chef was pretty impressive, and the staff smiled that the scenery in the mountains was nice as well, and that it was altogether a nice treat. The staff added that the director had to try to stay positive and to relax his shoulders a bit. Honestly, the staff went on to say that it was lucky that none of their other actors got into trouble. Suddenly, someone called out to the director to report that there had been an accident. The staff was shocked as the director's bad mood already worsened. A lady reported that the stunt double actor had twisted their ankle while filming. The lady was Shin Yun-ha. The director was horrified and he threw his chopsticks down. The three rushed over to the injured staff, who called out to the director with pain in his eyes. The staff apologized as he groaned and held his leg. He whined that he should have been more careful. Someone yelled that they should call the police, but others wondered if an ambulance could even come to the mountain. Then, they screamed out if there was anyone who could at least provide first aid. The director was dumbstruck with silence as all this chaos continued to reign, and he was so sure that they were finally doomed. The director cursed loudly, so loud that they heard it from the food truck, and the two chefs turned. The food truck chef sighed and said that it was like the movie was cursed. And the food truck chef asked our dude if he could treat something like that. Our dude had fixed the chef's sprained wrist after all. The inner machine told our dude that if they stabilized the ankle using field first aid techniques, it would help relieve the pain and aid recovery. Still, our dude was concerned since it had been reported that the ankle had twisted. The injured staff was still on the ground with his swollen ankle, and our dude came over, offering to take a look. They were surprised that a chef had come forward and that a chef could treat injuries. Our dude explained that he could only provide first aid and that they should send the injured staff to the hospital immediately. The director agreed to do that hastily, begging our dude to just please do something for now. Our dude then turned to the female staff member and she pointed to herself in surprise. He asked if she could quickly bring him a compression bandage. And the lady, who was likely a famous actress, was stunned that he did not recognize her. The director yelled at the lady to quickly find a compression bandage and she agreed immediately. As the lady hurried away, she still could not fathom what our dude had just called her. She was shocked to be called a staff member as she was an actress, though a supporting actress. The actress handed over the compression bandage with a huff and our dude thanked her. Then he turned to keep helping the injured staff while the actress sulked in a corner. Suddenly, there were some loud noises that made the actress turn in curiosity. The inner AI informed our dude that the injured actor had severely sprained their ankle, but it was not as bad as they described. The first aid was complete and the actress asked in concern if the actor was okay. The actor admitted that he was fine. It had hurt so much when he had gotten hurt, but now it felt like his bones were back in place and he felt fine. It was a great relief to all gathered, and the actor felt like he could walk, which was a miracle to the director. Still, our dude added that filming with the injured actor would be impossible. He had only done a temporary treatment, but it would be difficult for the actor to walk until he had fully recovered. The director nearly passed out on the spot and the staff yelled for him to get a grip. The staff said nervously that they could just call in another stunt double, but the director had no idea how they could find someone with a similar build and face to Kim Yu-chan, and how they would get the stunt actor all the way out to the middle of the mountains. The director also yelled at what point would the stunt double rehearse when they were already so short on time. The director cursed, knowing that if they missed the release date then they would be in big trouble. The staff suggested having Yu-chan shoot the action scene himself, and the actor was actually okay with that suggestion. However, if the actor got hurt while playing that role they would be in even bigger trouble. The actor was known to be clumsy and the director yelled that if Yu-chan hurt his ankle then they were done. The actor thought the director was rather harsh, but the director went on that if the actor got hurt then their movie was completely over. The staff kept trying to find a solution and suggested picking someone from the crew to stand in as a double, and perhaps they could cover their face with a mask and sunglasses to make it work. They called out for anyone who was willing to give it a shot. The director was sinking deeper into depression and he cried to the Lord, asking why he had been given this torment. He cried that he did not care if they were paid double or triple, the director just needed an action stunt double at that moment. Our dude, who is heavily motivated by money, happened to overhear this prayer and he announced that a person sent from heaven had arrived. The director had fallen to his knees, hooting and hollering as he prayed and asked why the Lord had given him so much pain. Even the stunt actor looked kind of depressed as the director prayed for a stunt double to manifest, not even caring if he had to pay them double. The director would even pay the stunt double triple as long as they got an action stunt double immediately. Immediately, that prayer got our dude's attention and he announced that the person sent from heaven had arrived. They all looked up at him in surprise, and our dude had to admit that he was just kidding a bit, but he thought that he could do the job. Everyone was surprised that the food truck guy was volunteering, and the actress screamed out in protest. The actress said that no matter how desperate they were, it was not right for the director to recruit our dude. Her argument was that our dude was not an aspiring actor, nor a part of the film crew, he was just an ordinary chef. However, the director could not hear her at all as he zoomed in on the similarities between the actor who needed a stunt double and our dude. On closer inspection, the director could see that our dude did look a bit like Kim Yu-chan, and the director flew to our dude, asking if he had some physical skills. Our dude confirmed that he did, and the others yelled, asking the director if he was seriously considering this. They really did not have time, so the director begged our dude to help them out. They would apply makeup, and even if it was a little rough, they could fix it up with CGI, so he begged our dude to fill in for the stunt double. Our dude asked to confirm that it was triple the pay, and the director agreed on the spot and said that they had to start filming right away. The staff cried that the movie was doomed because they did not think our dude could act professionally. So, the staff set up the area that they would shoot, and they got down to explain to our dude about the scene that would get shot. Kim Yu-chan was the male lead, and he had to save the supporting actress Shin Yoon-ha, who took offense at the supporting part being emphasized. The original villain actor in this scene was the drug addict who got busted, which was why they were in such a rush having to reshoot everything. The director asked our dude to listen carefully to the stand-in actor and to practice with him for a bit. The director would go smoke a pack of cigarettes while they prepared, and our dude agreed. Our dude paid attention as the stand-in actor explained his roles to him, and our dude took note of arm swinging, jaw hitting, and knee striking. Our dude mentioned that it would look awkward if every move was pre-planned, and the staff agreed that may be true, but this was the simplest choreography. They had already rehearsed this, so they could not change the movements now. The AI critiqued that was not how filming should be done, and it had some filming skills used for training manuals. Our dude asked if such a thing existed, and the inner machine said that the method required more practical movements. So, instead of that, our dude asked the stand-in trio to just attack him for real. The three were surprised by his request, and our dude repeated that they attacked him as if they were really fighting him. He would handle it appropriately and it would look more realistic on camera. The trio were a little hesitant about that, and they said that it only worked if the move went well, and they did not want someone to get hurt again since the movie's success depended on them. The supporting actress listened in on the conversation with an annoyed look on her face. She huffed and asked our dude what he even knew about filming, saying that he did not even know what he was talking about. The supporting actress was still sulking because our dude had not realized that she was an actor. Later, someone called the director and asked if they could shoot the next scene in one take without cuts. The director was surprised by the request that our dude made, and our dude explained that he was planning to go straight into action without rehearsal to save time. Our dude was already dressed like the actor, and the director admitted that if our dude could nail it in one take, that would be great. But he asked if that would even be possible. Our dude confidently asked the director to trust him in the power of triple pay. The inner machine reminded our dude that his name was Jeon Jai and not triple pay. So, our dude repeated that they would go straight through the scene without interruptions. The director was a bit hesitant about that, and he was speechless for a few minutes. Then he nodded and decided to agree with it. His top-tier director instincts were telling him that our dude was a trustworthy person. So, the crew got ready to film and the director called for action. The supporting actress squealed out and cried for our dude to help her as the thugs gained on her. They laughed wickedly and promised to torment her. They said that they were going to torment her for good and that she had to give them everything that she had, calling her a punk and asking her to hand everything over while laughing wickedly. Then, our dude kicked in the door like a hero, without it flying off its hinges. The goons were shocked, and our dude leaped with great agility as the men asked how he had found them. Those watching could not help but note that our dude's jumping ability was insane. The thug actors recalled that our dude had said to attack for real, but they still had to act like they were fighting, so one of the dudes cried out attack. The thugs rushed at our dude, who had conveniently bent his head. Then he raised his gaze while wearing a mask, and his inner machine said that it would guide our dude on where to avoid. The AI pre-marked the anticipated punches, and they first flew at our dude, who dodged to the left. Then the inner machine had our dude dodge to the right, and he easily dodged a sweeping kick, his body reacting before his guidance even came. The AI told our dude to jump, so he jumped. At this point, our dude had to grab his opponent by the collar to get the best shot on camera. So, our dude did exactly that, and the thug actor was shocked since that was not in the script. Camera 3 was poised to capture our dude's best angle of the scene. Then our dude flipped the bad guy, much to the shock and horror of the other watching actors. Our dude then delivered a very performance-worthy punch to the gut of the thug actor, and everyone stared in shock, thinking our dude was crazy and could have actually hit someone. Our dude kept attacking even as the actors stared in shock and fear, begging our dude to stick to the script. However, our dude had plans to do no such thing, and he knocked out the other actor as well. The last thug actor was shocked as none of what was happening was on the script, and he was a little panicked. The actor wondered why the director was not calling the cut, and then the actor decided that he did not care anymore. The thug actor screamed and ran at our dude, who turned when he saw the guy coming. The guy delivered a punch that our guy easily dodged, giving the camera a nice shot of his clenched glorious abs. Then, our dude swung back up and head-butted the last guy, who went falling with a cry. Then, our dude delivered a swift kick to the thug actor, who tumbled in the air. Then our dude did a little extra for that triple pay and whacked the poor flying thug with a stick. Even the director was shocked by our dude's identity, and so was the girl being rescued. The actor was shocked and the poor thugs were crying on the floor. Our dude had thoroughly and one-sidedly beat up the opposition. He wiped the sweat from his brow, but everyone was thinking that there was one crazy jerk. Our dude then stepped to the actress, who frankly looked terrified to see him. He stopped in front of her, ensuring that the camera captured their moment as he announced that he had come to save her. She stared at him and he stared back at her as she stuttered out, asking if he was going to let her live. But that was not in the script. They finally cut and all the staff rushed on the set. The director had told our dude to act like he was hitting, not to actually hit the poor guys. It was chaos as the staff ran to check and make sure that all the other actors were not dead. After that drug incident, it sounded like a good idea to just send everyone to the hospital. The director groaned that he had been so blinded by filming the movie, and now he worried that he had done a terrible thing and gotten staff injured. The director groaned that he should have stopped the scene, but suddenly one of the thug actors stood and called out. The director stared in shock and confusion, not knowing the beat-up thugs even had the life to stand. The thug actors crowded around our dude, asking what he did. They had been so shocked because it did not hurt at all while they had been getting hit. Even the last thug had to admit that it was the first time he had ever experienced something like this in his life. It had been scary because it felt like he was really hitting them, and they asked how he had not hit them. The director was confused and wondering what they were talking about when everyone had just watched the thug actors get hit. Even his assistant was fuming. The staff member yelled at our dude and asked why he had been hitting people for real. The staff yelled that they had told our dude to act, but he had beaten someone to death, threw them around, and then destroyed their ribs. The staff yelled about the rights of the people who got hit, but all of them were actually doing okay. The staff was absolutely shocked to see that they were totally fine, and something in his brain started to break because it did not make sense. The staff asked how on earth all the thug actors were fine, and they admitted that they did not know either. But one thing was for sure, it had felt like there was a cushion or something, and it felt like they were sliding around more than being hit. The staff asked in confusion, and our dude finally spoke up. Our dude explained that it was like when a person was sliding sideways on a downhill ski, but no one understood what that was supposed to mean. The staff asked actor Kim about the time his body flew up when our dude hit him in the knee, unable to believe that the thug actor was unhurt. However, the thug actor laughed. The thug actor said that our dude had not really hit him but just kind of solid with his knee. Our dude even caught him a bit when he fell, but the staff could not remember our dude doing that at all. The staff stared in confusion since their camera had clearly filmed the thug actors getting beat up, and he did not understand how it could not hurt at all. The director, however, placed a gentle hand on the staff's shoulder and beamed, saying that it was time for them to call it a day. The director laughed haughtily, saying that he had known they were not getting hurt all along, which was why he had not stopped filming, even though in truth he had not known anything, and even the staff knew he was lying. However, the crew had no time to waste, and they rushed to review the footage quickly to be sure that they had gotten everything right. The crew reviewed everything that they had shot, and they were amazed by the accuracy and how great it had turned out, which was as expected. Even the expressions when our dude had grabbed the thugs by the collar had been captured perfectly. All the action had been captured as well, and the stand-in actor was thrilled, praising the director. Rather than saying that he took a good picture, it ended up turning out rather excellent. One of the crew muttered that this was the work of an actor calculating the camera positions one by one and moving according to their pattern. The stand-in actor was surprised to hear this, but the cameraman continued to say that he had just followed our dude with the camera and every angle came out perfect on all the cameras. Everyone turned to our dude in awe, being shocked that he had calculated every camera angle and moved accordingly from start to finish. Our dude glanced over his shoulder and then asked the director if his part was over yet. The director beamed and said that it was indeed over, and he was really impressed with our guy's work. Thanks to our dude, it looked just as good as a Hollywood action movie. Our dude was also glad that it had turned out well, and everyone was told to take inspiration from our dude and move on quickly to the next scene. The director also asked if Kim Yu-chan was ready, and they were. The stand-in actor was amazed by our dude's acting, and he asked our dude which agency he worked with. The AI started to respond that they were with the Earth Union Strategic and so on, so our dude quickly replied that he was with the catering truck. Yu-chan was surprised by this answer. Meanwhile, the actress was fuming and calling her colleague a fool in her mind. To the actress, our dude had done no acting whatsoever. She was so sure that the thugs were just toughing it out and pretending it did not hurt so that they would not have to reshoot, and that anyone could see that he actually hit them. However, all the thug actors were in bliss and acting like all their fatigue was gone. The actress interpreted that as them being about to cry from the pain. If the script said to hit her as well, she was sure that our dude would have beaten her like a dog. She flinched when our guy looked in her direction, and when he stared deeply at her, the actress mentally shrieked. The actress shivered with goosebumps on her flesh as she tried to figure out why our dude was glaring at her. The actress worried that he could read her mind or something like that. However, our dude was staring behind the shivering actress, and the inner machine spoke to him. The AI called to him and said that it had detected a strange noise from the wall. Our dude glanced up and realized that there was a faulty part of the mechanism just above the actress. The source of the noise had been identified, and the inner machine told him that in a few minutes, the debris would fall from the ceiling. When the structure eventually broke, fragments would fly towards the actors, and our dude realized that a sudden collapse was about to take place. It would collapse in 5 seconds, and our dude's gaze darted around. He grabbed the stand-in actor first and the actor was shocked, calling him master. He had only 4 seconds so he threw the stand-in actor as far away as he could, shocking the actress who screamed and asked what was happening. 3 seconds left and the actress was still screaming with her hands on her head. She squealed for someone to help her and our dude grabbed her with only 2 seconds remaining and raced away. 1 second left and the debris had already started falling, with the actress squealing and holding onto her hat. It all came crashing down, tons of heavy metal and pipes, and the other members of the crew screamed, asking what was happening as they noticed that the set's front side was collapsing. The debris flew, hitting against each other as it took to the sky, and this was all because our dude used the pipe that he got to beat the debris away to strategic locations. The actress was not a fan of all the chaos and she squealed for her mother to save her. The loud ruckus continued around her as more metal fell and she cried for her mom, wanting to be anywhere but there while our dude worked hard to save her and keep her from harm. Our dude would really prefer it if the actress just stayed quiet. Our dude kept fighting off the falling bars like a superhero, knocking the bars left and right. As our dude fought heroically, he suddenly received another warning. A large structure was about to collapse and it came down with a huge bang. The debris crashed to the floor, creating a huge cloud of dust that rose and blocked the people from view. The director and the other actors were both in shock and horror. They called out to the actress, asking if she was okay. The director screamed and begged for the supporting actress to please say she was okay. Out of the cloud of dust, our dude emerged with a metal pipe in his hand and the supporting actress slung over his shoulder. She opened her eyes, speechless at the fact that not a single harm had come to her. Suddenly regaining consciousness, the actress sprang to life and squealed, begging for someone to please save her. Our dude was even surprised that she was still alive. Our dude asked if she had been very surprised, and the actress screamed her agreement. The terrified lady yelled and asked what the heck our dude had done and why he had thrown her senior acting colleague so far away. The actress cried because she was sure that he was going to throw her as well. However, our dude said that he would not do that and he explained that the set had collapsed so he had done all that he had done to save her. She looked around at the collapsed set in surprise and realized that our dude had spoken the truth. The beautiful actress then gasped with her hand over her mouth as she wondered what was going on. Our dude said he did not know and that the set had been poorly constructed. So, the girl turned and found that her senior colleague was also safe and that our dude had saved both of them from getting crushed by the steel bars. The actress spoke it out loud just to be sure, saying that our dude had saved her. Now that she understood, our dude asked if she would get down from his shoulder now. The actress leapt away, screaming in outrage as she parted from our dude. The stand-in came over to our dude, saying that our dude had suddenly thrown him so he had thought that our dude had a grudge against him. However, our dude had no such grudge and he asked the stand-in actor if he was alright. Now that our dude mentioned it, the stand-in admitted that it had seemed like our dude had thrown him hard, but he was totally fine. The director hurried over, calling out for his actors and asking if they were alright. The director panted heavily, begging for his star actors to be okay and the stand-in actor reassured him that they were fine and that our dude had saved them in an instant. The director then asked about the actress and she was a little hesitant when she glanced at our dude. Our dude was looking at her carefully, and the actress had to admit with a blush that she was okay. The actress figured that perhaps our dude was not such a bad guy. The director was very relieved since that had been a very close call. If those steel bars had fallen on the actors just now, they surely would have met a grisly end. In the worst case scenario, someone could have died. If an actor died because they rushed the set construction, especially with the current drug scandal, the whole movie would be doomed. To the director, our dude was a hero, a knight in shining armor, a hero with a cape flapping at his back. Our dude was a real hero. The crew called out to director's son, explaining that they needed to repair the set before they could film again. However, the director said that was crazy talk because the set could collapse again after some quick fixes. Then, the crew asked what they would do with the remaining scenes. However, someone hurried to the director. They explained that they had captured that scene on camera perfectly. Both the director and his assistant asked what the guy meant. The cameraman explained that he had the camera rolling for behind-the-scenes footage, and they had caught the whole collapse on tape. They were so lucky and they told the director to go ahead and play it back. The director did exactly that, and everyone was shocked to see that our dude had grabbed the heroin and fought against the bars completely on camera. He had shone like a star as he moved around, stopping iron bars and twirling and dodging. The crew and the director were beyond impressed and they watched the clips like they were a work of art. Even the director could not believe that he had filmed something like this. The cameraman insisted that he had been the one to film it, and then the other crew member pointed out that our dude had been the one to shoot it. It was a Hollywood-level movie and the crew could not believe that they had gotten a scene like this without even planning it. The entire crew was very motivated and they all agreed to definitely use what they had. Their movie was going to be huge, and it was the birth of an iconic scene. His special assistant cut in, apologizing for raining on director son's parade. The assistant agreed that the scene was too good to just throw away, but it was an actual accident and not a scripted scene. The dude pointed out what would happen if people found out that it was a real accident. That would be dangerous for their careers and they would get a lot of hate. However, the director thought it was fine since no one got hurt and they could spin it in the marketing. If a problem came up, they could get Though Entertainment's lawyers to handle it, and the assistant wondered if they could really push through with that much deceit. The director insisted that they had to. It would be criminal to not use that perfect shot. However, the assistant insisted that they ask our dude's opinion since he was in the shot. The director groaned with worry and then rushed to our dude. The director nervously asked about the accident just now, first thanking our dude for his help in the accident, and for saving both him and the actress, though the stand-in actor pointed out that he had almost died as well. Rescuing civilians was part of the Earth Union's core mission, so the inner machine was very proud of their work and said that the Earth Union and natural robotics prioritized the safety of citizens. However, our dude just summarized all that by saying that he just did what he had to do. The director was amazed and called our dude a true hero. Then, the director nervously asked about the scene where he had rescued them, and it turned out that scene had been accidentally filmed, but it came out so well. The director asked if they could use the scene in their movie, and they would even put our dude's name in the end credits. Our dude thought about it for a hot minute, and the inner machine warned him that if their face was exposed to the public, it would interfere with future missions. Then, the director added that our dude would of course pay them extra compensation, and the inner machine quickly added that fortunately, our dude's face had been covered so it should not be a big problem. So, our dude gave them the go-ahead to use it, and they shook hands. The director was so overjoyed and thanked him very much. Meanwhile, the manager of the actress asked if she was okay since she had seemed really shaken earlier. The actress was lost in thought, but she mumbled that she was fine as she adjusted the shawl on her shoulders. The actress glanced back at our dude and could not help but stare at him as he spoke with the director. She noticed that there was a slight tear in our dude's costume, so the actress stepped forward and asked our dude if he was hurt since the back of his shirt was torn. Our dude replied that his clothes were only a little ripped, and she noted that. Thinking back, the actress realized that she had come very close to getting crushed by a huge steel bar, and the only thing that had protected both herself and her beloved senior was our dude, and he had protected them without getting a single scratch. The actress could not help but think that our dude was amazing. The actress haughtily thanked our dude with a little blush on her cheeks, and he replied that he was just doing his job to help out. However, she yelled that she was not a staff member, she was an actress, and our dude admitted that it was a joke. The actress did not find our dude funny at all, and she still thought that he was rather annoying. Since our dude's job was done, he headed back to the catering truck, and the director thanked him so much for helping out, even though he must have been busy. The director recalled that the food from the catering truck had also been pretty amazing. Our dude looked young, but he was so talented. So, the actress cleared her throat and asked the director where our dude usually worked. The assistant confessed that our dude said that he worked at a PC cafe, and the director was stunned to hear that such a talented guy worked at a cafe. Even the crew member admitted that it made no sense that someone with that kind of skill sold food at a PC cafe. So, the actress realized that our dude would not return after helping them today, but the director gasped that our dude had to come back. The director was asking our dude to help out the next day and the day after as well. With our dude's help, the movie would be the best action film ever, and he told the actress to look forward to the year-end awards. The actress laughed but then took the time to remind the director that their movie was a romantic comedy. The director took a moment to consider the movie, but then he said that the genre did not matter. If they cut out all the scenes with the drug addict and replaced them with action, then they could solve all the problems piled up in front of them. The director was saying that they should change the genre to action, and the assistant sighed that they were running out of time, so he would hire a stunt director quickly. However, the director said that such an effort was only going to be pointless. After all, they had just seen our dude calculating all the movements of the camera in real time and wrapping up the shoot very quickly. The assistant admitted that was true, and the director smiled that time was what they desperately needed, and who else could solve that for them besides our dude. However, our dude was not even an actor, so it felt awkward to ask him to do all that. Who needed an acting license anyway, and the director said that none of that mattered since our dude was far better than Kim Yu-chan earlier. The stand-in actor sobbed that the director's scathing words were so unfair, and the actress patted his back to reassure him. Then, the assistant asked about the food truck as he had heard that our dude stepped in as a replacement chef because the original one got injured. The director sighed that the assistant was such a frustrating person, and then the director refused to have any more talk, and that he would handle the problem by himself and that they should just wait. The director cracked his knuckles and raced away after our dude, making his assistant wonder if their movie would be alright. Meanwhile, our dude contemplated how the place that seemed fine suddenly collapsed, and right in the middle of shooting and from where the actor had been standing. Our guy found it all a bit suspicious. After analyzing the visual data, the inner machine estimated that intentional damage had been done before the collapse. Our dude acknowledged that his inner machine shared his suspicions about the attack being a setup and that someone could have tampered with the set beforehand. Multiple steel lights fell towards the actress, and anyone could have predicted her position just by looking at the script. This led our dude to realize that someone might have targeted the actress, or maybe even the movie itself. Someone who wanted the movie to fail. Just then, the director called out to him and asked our dude if they could talk for a moment. Our dude asked if there was anything left to discuss, and the man grabbed our dude's hand. The director then tearfully begged our dude to please save their movie. Director Sun T-Man eagerly explained the dire situation of the film. However, our dude was majorly unimpressed and uninterested in getting involved. The inner machine also told our dude that the geography of the area was almost identical to the data it had. The information value was low, so our dude said that he had to work in Seoul and that he could not keep working in the mountains. However, the director said that was perfect since starting tomorrow they would all move the additional shooting to Seoul. Our dude was surprised about that and then tried to say that he would be busy at work and could not be on set all day. But the director countered by saying that our dude only needed to come during the actual shoot like earlier. The director also added that they would shoot all of our dude's scenes in just one take. The AI explained to our dude that this idea would not work and that they had to finish their mission at the temporary base. The director then said that they would make sure that our dude's payment was solid, and that the production company was not in a position to skimp on money right now. The inner machine immediately changed its mind by saying a large amount of funds made the deal a good thing to accept. Our dude wondered why his inner AI was suddenly speaking so kindly. So, our dude finally accepted and said that he wanted to know the schedule so that he would come by accordingly, and the director expressed his great gratitude, saying that he would stay up all night to finish revising the script. The negotiation was settled, and the director Soen T-min, who had been slow from frustration, suddenly kicked into gear and regained his speed and showed his true skill as soon as our dude appeared. Though all additional scenes to be shot at the collapse set were cancelled, instead, a better scenario began to take shape. In the morning, actors and staff were rushing to film the movie, and all the crew members rejoiced that it felt like things were going well, and that if all went well, they would actually make it with the movie. By the afternoon, thanks to our dude's effect, the atmosphere became calm and smooth. A car drove with speed through the streets and it dropped off a man in work clothes on the set, his tie flapping in the wind. It was the Though Entertainment Management, and he rushed out and called out to the director Sun T-min. The director was surprised to see the manager there, and the manager raced out and asked the director to please save them. If they released the movie in its original form, they would get nothing but complaints, the movie would flop and no entertainment would be in trouble. Plus, the director knew that they could not delay the release date, and that their company had already secured major theater slots using all of their resources. If that fell through, then no one would be able to handle the aftermath. However, the director just calmly shushed the manager. The director smiled, placing a hand on his lips as he asked the manager if he trusted him to solve all those problems. The manager cried for the director to please stop bluffing, and the manager begged the director to just tell him how they were going to do it so that he could report that to the higher-ups. The director chuckled about how he was going to do it, and he said that he was going to change the movie's genre. The director beamed that starting today, the movie was going to be a romantic comedy and action, and the manager nearly lost his mind and shrieked as if the director had gone insane. The manager asked if our dude had gone crazy and they had only had a week left for additional shooting and editing, and how could they change the genre at this point. The director assured the manager and told him not to get worked up. Besides, they were working right now and they did not have time. The director promised to show them something during dinner later, but the manager shrieked that it was not enough. Suddenly, the door was thrown open and the director asked who was coming in at this time. The director asked who was slamming the doors during the shoot like that, and that dust was flying all the way over to him. The person in a suit approached and the manager gasped, going pale as the blood left his face. The boss had arrived and the manager bowed his head in respect and adoration. The manager had not expected the boss to come in person. The boss looked around and was finally recognized as President Lee Tae-ho, the Though Entertainment CEO Lee Tae-ho. The CEO admitted that he had no intention to come here because he did not want to put a burden on the shooting location. However, looking around at the collapsed scaffolding, the president's eyes darkened to see that an accident had happened on the set to make the set collapse like that, so there was no way that he would not come. The manager stuttered, trying to explain that there had just been a mistake while working. However, the president said that it reminded the manager that it was his department's job to prevent mistakes on set. The manager stuttered and tried to explain that they had been busy because of the druggie, but the CEO was disgusted and asked how long they were going to keep blaming the druggie. The manager apologized with fear, but then someone walked in. It was a little girl with pretty hair and she asked the president if she was angry. The pretty girl was the president's daughter and the child actress, Lee Min-jae. The president brightened up as soon as he saw her, and the little girl explained that she had heard her father's angry voice, so she had followed him. The president laughed and explained that he was not angry and that it was just noisy here, so he had to speak loudly. The daughter understood, and the director waved hello to the little girl. The little girl happily said hello to the director. Then the president turned to the director with a dark expression as if he had not forgotten their conversation. Then the president asked if the director could finish all the reshoots and editing in a week, and he wanted a clear answer. The director felt like the president had a split personality, and the director responded that he could and that the movie would even be better than the original. All the other actors happily played with the president's daughter, and the president found such a claim to be very doubtful. The president decided to accept the director's words and said that it was to be expected from a veteran director from Chungmuro. However, the director added that there was someone named Kangan who was amazing at martial arts and he had the ability to shoot Hollywood-level action scenes in one take. If they could have him, they could save this movie. The director was surprised to hear this, and he had never heard of our dude before. If director Sun said that, then our dude must have an impressive background. And the director asked if he was from abroad, and it seemed like the director had recruited our dude in a hurry, but the president told him well done. The president asked where he was now, and the director finally pointed out that our dude was over at the food truck, and the president turned, his eyes widening in absolute shock as he did look towards the food truck and saw our dude working really hard at flipping a giant amount of fried rice. The president then realized that the master of the large fried rice dish was the martial arts director Na Kang, and also known as our dude. The director beamed and said that was correct, and the president then asked why the martial arts director was cooking, and doing it so skillfully well too. The director happily explained that it was because Na Kangen drove the catering truck all the way to the mountains, and the president was even further confused by this statement. The president then said in realization that the director was telling him that he had left the martial arts direction to the catering guy, and even had him stand in for the lead actor Kim Yu-chan's action scenes. The director beamed and acknowledged the situation, saying that our dude had a similar body type to Kai Yu-chan's, and the president asked if the director was messing with him. The director was confused, and the president said that in this urgent situation, the director could not bring in an amateur to save the budget. The director was confused and wondered what the president was talking about, and the president said that the director thought that the film was doomed anyway, so he was just trying to pocket some extra cash. The director insisted that was not it, and that if the president saw the results, then he too would understand that our dude was the real deal. A crowd had gathered as the director argued with the president. But the president looked at him darkly and asked the director to submit all the production expenses, not a cent off, and to file them properly. The director chased after the president, saying that there seemed to be a misunderstanding. But the president just called the manager and told the manager to get all the receipts and to verify every single detail. The manager immediately promised to do as instructed. Meanwhile, someone was eating food that was really tasty. It was of course the president's daughter, and she asked the name of the tasty snack that she had just consumed. Our dude explained that it was called a mixed snack, and the girl thought that it sounded like a weird name, but that did not matter since the food tasted so good. Our dude smiled and said that he had made a lot of food for the staff so she could eat as much as she wanted. The girl sulked and realized that she could not eat too much of the food since her mom would not let her eat too many snacks because she said the little girl would gain weight. Our dude considered it and said that the girl could stand to gain a little weight. However, the girl flipped her hair and said no way since she was the lead actor in the movie, so she needed to watch her figure. Our dude was surprised to hear that the little girl was the lead actor. She was a child actor though, and even child actors that played the same role as the main lead were considered the lead. Our dude acknowledged that since the little girl was credited under the same name as the lead actress. Then, the little girl asked our dude if he could kindly make some of these tasty snacks for her again later. He said that he wished he could do that, but starting the next day they would be filming in Seoul, so there would not be a catering truck. The girl sulked and then she asked if she could take some snacks and then hide them in her father's car for later. Our dude then suggested that she could stop by the PC room where he worked and he would make some for her. She could even come with her mom and dad. The little girl was delighted and she rejoiced as she pulled out her phone and asked our dude to give her his number so that she could contact him later, and she would save his name as the snack guy. Our guy inputted his number as requested. Meanwhile, the set assistant followed after the president, begging the man to please take a look at the work that they had worked hard to do. The assistant said that the president knew how the director often behaved, and that he was a perfectionist who was hardly ever satisfied with cheap results. When it came to our dude who worked at the catering truck, the director was literally trembling with joy. That should tell the president everything about how good our dude was. However, the president just turned and said fine, he would see what they had shot so far. The crew happily showed the president the shots they had gotten with our dude, and a golden light basically came out of the computer from the excellence that the president found within. The president could not believe what he had just seen, and he asked when the director had added CGI, and he asked how they had choreographed the fight scenes so well to get shots that good. The director sounded offended that the president thought that they had used CGI, and the director adjusted his glasses, saying that there was no CGI and that what the presenter just watched was the raw footage completely unedited. The director had not done that alone, and the actor had calculated every single angle where he would be captured on camera and moved accordingly. The president could not believe that the director was talking about the dude they had seen flipping rice in a catering truck, but that was exactly who the director meant. The president said they were telling him that an amateur from the catering truck nailed it in one take without any direction, and he did not even calculate where the lights would fall. The director admitted that the set had indeed collapsed for real and that our dude had saved them in a moment of crisis. The director was speechless and put his head in his hands, as he realized that it seemed he would give the director a sincere apology for his earlier comments. The president apologized for the misunderstanding, but the director just laughed that he was glad that the president understood now. If the director had not gotten it after watching that footage, he would have thought they were being stubborn just for the sake of it. The president went to thank the catering guy and the director said that would be for the best. Meanwhile, our dude was just making some snacks for the president's daughter, and the president showed up in front of the food truck, nervously greeting our dude. Our dude handed over some snacks to the president, but the president explained that he was not there for snacks. The president introduced himself as he was the president of the investment company though for the film, and it seemed our dude had saved their movie, so the president had come to thank him personally. Our dude said that he was just doing his job, though it had been mostly for the money. The president noted that our dude had incredible martial arts skills, but he asked what the snacks were. Our dude explained that the snacks were like hardtack, and that the president should give it a try. The president peered into the bowl, speechless for a moment. The president had too much of hardtack during his military service, so he really did not like it, but he guessed that he had to please our guy. However, the president was transported to the realm of joy and awe after he took a single taste of the food. It was unbelievable, salty, sweet, and savory all at once. It even had a slight pancake taste, but it was not greasy. The flavor was truly magical, and the president gushed at the food that he ate. He sighed that his daughter would absolutely love something like this. Our dude revealed that his daughter had already come by and had some. The president smiled as he rubbed tears of joy from his eyes, not surprised that his daughter had been there, and he hoped that she had thanked our dude properly. Our dude just kept handing over snacks to the rest of the staff while the president joyfully called his daughter, telling her to come eat snacks with him. However, there was silence in the place and his daughter did not respond. The president sulked and he wondered where his daughter had gone, at the same time that our dude thought that it was odd that the girl did not respond. Looking up with seriousness in his eyes, our dude asked his inner machine about the location of the little girl. His inner machine explained that it could not locate the little girl and she was not in any of the footage that had recently been recorded by our dude's senses. Our dude then left the food truck and went to investigate, checking to see if the little girl was inside the building. The inner AI said that there was no sign of the girl's presence nearby. Our dude's phone then began to ring and he realized that the girl was calling him. He was relieved that they had found some sign of her, while the president found it suspicious that our dude had his daughter's number. Our dude explained that she had taken his number so that she could get snacks later, and the boss acknowledged it. Our dude said hello on the phone, but he heard a loud sound at the other end. The president leaned in, an expression of confusion on his face as he wondered why our dude had gone silent. The president asked our dude why he suddenly looked so very upset. Glaring down at the phone, our dude began to away and he pressed the phone to his ear, asking his inner machine about the likelihood that the little girl had dropped her phone and broken it. However, the AI reported that it was highly unlikely as the sound that they had heard was different. Our dude asked his inner machine to analyze the sound from earlier, and when our dude tried again to call the little girl, the call failed. The inner machine replayed the recorded information, and the analysis results popped out. It turned out to be the sound of air coming from a soft object wrapped in an outer layer. The sound also matched with pressing plastic reinforced with metal, and echoes inside a confined space were detected as well. Our dude closed his eyes as he processed this information, as he considered a soft object. Plastic reinforced with metal and a confined space. Our dude then turned towards the car park and his eyes widened with realization that the little girl was likely inside a car. Meanwhile, underneath the clear blue sky, someone cursed. The person screamed and asked who would kidnap a person and then leave them with a phone. The terrified little girl had a huge plaster over her mouth and tears in her eyes. The other person in the car yelled that he had not known that the girl had a phone. The dude in the passenger seat whined that he had taken the phone from the girl in a hurry so it should be fine. However, the dude in the backseat yelled that the guy could have broken it. If someone called again and got no answers, they would get suspicious. The dude in the front seat yelled that he was sorry. The guy in the backseat was still pissed and yelled, asking who the girl had called. However, it showed as a snack man. The guy at the backseat thought perhaps the girl was craving snacks and he asked if he ought to bring some for her. Anyway, they were going to get the car out quietly as they needed to leave before anyone noticed, and the guys with him understood. The president called to our dude with concern in his eyes as our dude's expression had darkened. The president asked what was wrong since after answering his daughter's call, our dude had turned so serious and had said nothing. His behavior was making the president nervous. Our dude's hostage rescue protocol had been activated and the inner machine explained that it had spotted a girl's backpack and crumpled snack wrappers ahead. Our dude moved in that direction and the AI continued that the items appeared to belong to Lee Minji. Tracing the path from the snacks, they could identify the car that the little girl could be trapped within as crumbs led towards the car. Our dude kicked into gear as a dangerous glint showed in his eyes. Our dude suddenly raced away and the president called out to him. The president's hand was stretched out in confusion, but then he noticed the little backpack on the floor. The president picked it up, recognizing it as his daughter's bag. The president's face paled and he turned in the direction that our dude had run, fearing the worst. Suddenly, the driver of the kidnapping car looked up and told the boss in the backseat that someone was coming their way, and it was our dude running at full speed towards the truck. The boss shouted and called his colleagues insane, saying that they should not calmly report such a thing, and that they needed to accelerate. The car shot into gear and made a break for it, but our dude was not about to let them escape that easily. The AI said that it was definitely the enemy and they had noticed our dude. Our dude was well aware of that since they were driving away. A good weapon to deal with vehicles was the slowdown sign, and the inner machine asked our dude to use the sign. Our dude grabbed the sign and ripped the thing right out of the earth. He then charged after the moving vehicle that was not at all happy to see him. They were confused and wondered why they were running towards them and wondered what was in our dude's hand. The boss at the back laughed that our dude was insane, that he could not catch a car by running, and that there was always someone who did the impossible. Just in case, the boss yelled at them to step on it harder, and the driver accelerated again. The little girl realized that the snack man was chasing after her, and she thought of her father and mother. Suddenly, the little girl heard that the snack man had disappeared and her heart was full of despair and fear. The boss at the back laughed, saying that it served our dude right and that he had probably exhausted himself and then collapsed. The boss told the driver not to worry about our dude and to keep driving. The driver did just that. However, our dude had not at all given up and he leapt. Somehow our dude ran so far that he started to defy gravity with the force of his jump. The boss at the back glanced back cockily just in time to see our dude approaching the car's back glass. Our dude landed on the car's roof, much to the fear and horror of the kidnappers. They screamed in horror and then our dude spun the stop sign in his hand and smashed it through the roof, much to the further shock and horror of the kidnappers who could not believe their eyes. They screamed in fear and asked what the heck was going on. The car skidded right off the road in their panic and the kidnappers couldn't believe how our dude had gotten there so quickly. The boss cried for the driver to step on the accelerator and to knock off our dude. However, they could do no such thing and our dude remained with the car as he held onto the stop sign. Our dude yelled for his inner machine to find a way to stop the car and the AI pointed him in the direction of the car's hood. So, our dude checked out the hood and the inner machine said that if our dude pierced a particular spot vertically then the engine would stop. So, our dude lifted the stop sign and tightened his grip on the pole. He brought the long thin metal down on the right spot in the hood with a huge smash. It was a direct hit, and the car screeched to a stop. The kidnappers pointed at our dude, looking at him in fear. He glared down at them with a fire in his eyes and they called him a lunatic. The boss yelled for the driver to hit the brakes and throw our dude off and the driver agreed. Our dude was indeed thrown off when the driver hit the brakes, and the girl watched our dude fly away with fear and tears. Even the entire crew that had come out to watch the whole thing watched in horror, sure that our dude would die from being flung so far. The president called out for his daughter and the director called out for our dude as the car sped away. The evil boss in the backseat laughed at our dude and laughed that it was an emergency brake. So if our dude let go and acted tough, he would die for sure and our dude looked for a moment like he was ready to ascend to the heavens. Suddenly, he turned and somersaulted in the air, pulling his knees up to his chest as he sailed through the sky like a bird and somehow landed on his feet like an action superstar. The dude in the backseat was stunned and then our dude raised his head with determination burning in his eyes. The inner machine reported that they had successfully induced the enemy vehicle's brakes, and one of the kidnappers pointed out that our dude had just landed lightly. The boss in the backseat was flabbergasted and wondered how our dude could have done that. The boss screamed for the driver to step on it already and to hit our dude with the car so that they could get away. The driver agreed and floored his foot on the accelerator. However, he was surprised when the car spun around in an empty field. The boss screamed for the driver to hurry and step on it, asking him what he was doing. The poor driver wailed that the car was broken and the boss at the back was confused. The boss then cursed and wondered if our dude had been aiming for this from the start when he had lodged the sign in his hood. The boss angrily screamed and cursed, yelling and beating his coworkers as he called our dude the son of a female dog, and he asked his colleagues to go out and kill our dude first. The driver asked what they would do about the kid, and the boss just said that he would hold on to her, and he grabbed her little face. The goons came out and cursed at our dude, and they asked what he was. Our dude stared at them with a straight face and said that he was Batman. The men had no idea what he was saying, but our dude leapt to the air so fast, faster than they could see. Our dude said that Batman was a foreigner and he kicked the first goon and sent that dude flying. The first goon yelled out in pain, and then our dude leapt from the floor to the car. The driver stalked forward with the intention to bring down our dude and he whipped out a knife, but our dude was moving faster than his eyes could follow. Our dude whipped out and aimed a kick at the driver, knocking him down in one shot. The two guys who had come out were now down and out and our dude could still keep going. Our guy then stalked towards the car like a tiger cornering his prey. He peeked in through the window and the boss at the back shrieked in fear and cursed a mile a minute from how terrified he was. The man fell back and the little girl called out to our dude, though her mouth was still covered. Our dude stared at the little girl and she communicated with her eyes that she was not scared just because he subdued them like that all at once. Our dude smiled with a confident promise to save the little girl, and her eyes shone with hope and joy. Our dude could fight 100 times better than the jerks who had tried to take her away. Our dude asked what was the plan to subdue the last kidnapper and the inner machine told our dude to jump into the car. Our dude was to persuade the last kidnapper over time or to lure him outside of the car. There were a number of ways that this interaction could go, so our dude decided it would be better to just lure the guy out and deal with him so the little girl would not get hurt. So, our dude moved away from the car. Following the introduction of his inner AI, our dude was to make the enemy let their guard down and they needed to be further away to achieve that. The enemy would not come out unless he felt safe. So, our dude moved the recommended 15 meters away. The boss at the back pressed his face to the windscreen and was surprised to see that our dude had retreated, and he thought perhaps that our dude would not attack. Then, the boss cursed that he needed to get out of there quickly before some other guys came around. He cursed and opened the door, grabbing the little girl and threatening her with a knife to her neck as he screamed out at our dude. The man yelled for our dude to get the car and not to dare call the police, because if our dude did something like that, then the kid would die. Our dude thought that the boss kidnapper was real human garbage, and the president, who had still been watching, cried and screamed when he saw his daughter being threatened like that. The president cried and yelled that someone should hurry and tell our dude to get in the car, while the person begged the president to calm down. The president suddenly started racing towards the kidnapper out of nowhere. Much to the surprise of the kidnapper, the president promised to give the kidnapper a car, but if the kidnapper dared to touch even a hair of his baby girl, then the president swore to destroy the man's 3rd generation. No, even all the way to his 10th generation. The kidnapper grinned with glee that he was finally getting what he wanted, and he called out to the president to hurry and bring a car by himself. The men called out to the president, but he was not paying attention. So, the other crew members tried to contact the police, but another argued that the case had to be reported secretly. Besides, no one knew how the police would appear in the mountains. The president hopped into his car, only thinking about his daughter, and he drove towards them, deciding that he would happily trade himself for his daughter, and his child just needed to wait a little bit. The car began to approach the kidnapper, who watched it come fast. Then the inner machine informed our dude that providing transportation to the enemy significantly increased the chance that they would escape with the hostage. Our dude knew this, and the president yelled that he had brought the car as he had finally arrived. He begged them not to touch his little girl, and the little girl cried to see that her father had come for her. The angry kidnapper yelled for the president to put his hands up and to step aside. The kidnapper also yelled for the president to stay away. The kidnapper glared and pointed his knife. The kidnapper moved forward with the little girl in tow and had finally arrived beside the car. The president's eyes suddenly widened and he rushed right at the surprised kidnapper. The president yelled that he would save his daughter, and the kidnapper yelled for the president not to come any closer or he would really cut the girl down. Our dude's eyes widened and blood was shed, much to the shock and horror of the president as well as the kidnapped girl. The blood had come from the kidnapper's head and he fell, losing his grip on the little girl. This was because our dude had hurled something all the way from where he stood, and it had made a direct hit on the kidnapper's head. It was a rock, and they had hit the enemy using a long-range throwing weapon, a stone. The president embraced his little girl in his arms, and the little girl cried when the tape was ripped from her mouth. There was a lot of ruckus after the incident, and the police were called to take in the 3 knocked out guys. All the kidnappers were unconscious, and one of them seemed to have broken ribs, one of them had an injured jaw, and the last one had a cracked head. They were all in such a terrible condition that the police were impressed by how bad it looked. Especially the one who got hit by a stone so hard it looked like it even caused a fracture. The police decided to call an ambulance right away and send them to the hospital first. The president asked why the criminals would get sent to the hospital like they had done something good. His daughter, who was almost kidnapped, should be the one treated first. But the police explained that they could not just leave the kidnappers as they were in case something serious happened. They had gotten beaten pretty badly, and at a glance, they would need at least 3 weeks to recover. The president was silent, and the little girl asked her father if the lunch guy was going to get arrested, and she asked if her new uncle would go to jail because of her. However, our dude assured her that her father would save her and save him too. The little girl was surprised, and the inner machine informed our dude that if he planned to escape from the police, now was the time, and they could execute the prison escape protocol. Our dude shifted his eyes away and figured that if the president was smart, then he would figure out how to save him using his influence. The president was surprised to hear our dude telling his daughter that her father had saved her, since it made him look even better than her father, even though our dude had been the one to do all the heavy lifting. The president then yelled that our dude was the hero who saved his daughter, and even if those guys died, then our dude was absolutely innocent. The police sighed and asked if our dude had any evidence of self-defense, and the president was surprised. The police explained that they needed evidence like CCTV footage or something like that. The president was worried since they were in the mountains, so there was no way they would have something like that. Just then, the director appeared behind him and he whispered like a dark spirit that they did indeed have evidence. The police were shocked to see the director, who had nearly given the president a heart attack, and the director proudly said that this was his movie set. Plus, he had something more valuable than CCTV footage, and he asked the police if they would like to see it. So, the police crowded around and they watched in shocked awe as the director revealed his gold. They were shocked to see real footage of the attack, and the director had a video of those dudes trying to fight our dude. The kidnappers' faces were caught clearly, and it was true that they had threatened the child and our dude. The police could see that very clearly. However, the police asked how the director had been able to film all this, and the director grinned that the place was full of filmmakers, so when something started to happen, the cameras rolled right away. Our dude had been the hero who had saved them all, and everyone yelled that he was absolutely innocent. The prison escape protocol had ended and the AI sighed in relief. Our dude could believe that the inner machine just sighed in relief. Now, even if the kidnapper boss ended up dead, the president wanted to hear no talk of our dude getting punished. If someone tried to unjustly punish our dude after seeing this footage, then the president would show them how competent their PR team is. The police were surprised that the president had said the PR team and not the legal team. But the president said that it meant that the officers would get a mouthful of complaints. The police understood the threat. It was almost dinner time, so our dude said that he would be leaving now and that they should not worry since he was not going to run away. Our dude returned to the food truck and got busy, and he made a sparkling rich chocolate cake with a cherry on top. Our guy asked if they wanted to try some, and the little girl happily asked if our dude had made it. Our dude said that he had, and he told the little girl to try a bite, even though she did not have much of an appetite. The inner machine reported the field tactical desserts were highly effective for boosting allied miracles, and the visually appealing threat replenished the energy and conveyed the message of support to allies. However, when the situation was dire, it could also serve as the last supper. Our dude talked over his inner AI and just told the girl to try it since it was delicious. The president pointed out that his little girl had been too shocked earlier to eat a snack, but she took a taste of the cake and her father asked if it was good. The little girl gasped happily and said that it was really tasty. Her father asked if he could have a bite too, so he did try some, and the president gushed that it tasted much better than the hard biscuits from earlier. The little girl cheered and said that everything our dude made was delicious. The president laughed and asked our dude how he made the snack, since the president would love to try making it for his daughter at home. The other guy with them mentioned that he had watched our dude make it, but honestly, a normal person would not be able to do it. The president asked why that was, and the original food truck chef explained that first one would need a lot of strength to mix and shake the ingredients that fast, and the seasoning was like a work of art. The president did admit that our dude had indeed given off the kind of impression from the start state. Then, the president asked if our dude was a professional patissier or a restaurant chef by any chance, and if not, there was no way to explain how it tasted this good. Our dude frowned and admitted that he was just a part-timer at a PC room that served food. The president was shocked to hear that our dude worked in a PC room of all places, and someone suddenly called the president. The president's face blanched and he turned when someone called his name. It was a lady in heels, and she stepped out of a car, asking the president how he could even eat at that moment. The actor Jang Mi-young, who just showed up, was the president's wife and the little girl's mom, and she had come along with her manager, Hyo-rin. The president leapt to greet his wife, but the woman raged that their daughter was almost kidnapped and could have died. But she came to find her husband eating snacks. She leapt on him with rage, striking out with punches as her husband dodged, and the little girl rushed happily to her mother. The woman happily picked up her sweet daughter and asked the little girl if she was okay and if she was hurt anywhere. The girl giggled and said that she was fine, and the mother gasped at how dirty her little girl had become. The little girl said that she knew that she looked a little weird, but there was a reason for it. But the mother's eyes burned with rage. She yelled out to her husband, telling him to come as he was dead, and the man squealed his apologies as he dodged his wife's beating. Our dude and director looked on as the director noted that it seemed they were seeing many sides of the bosses that day. The female manager was even crying to the woman to calm down, but the raging mother refused to calm down. The female manager reminded her that there were too many people watching right now and they could not see her beating her husband. The female manager adjusted her glasses and promised that she would take care of the president quietly without any police or witnesses, and the president cried for the women to spare him. With all the ruckus dying down, the mother thanked our dude for saving her daughter. Our dude said that it was only natural, but the mother thought that was an understatement since they had seen everything in the video of how he had saved her. He had jumped in front of a speeding car, stopped it, and fought off a guy with a knife while risking his life. The inner machine said that the rescue operation had proceeded smoothly and the agent was not in danger. Our dude said that the situation was manageable and the mother found him kind of cool. The little girl happily reminded our dude not to forget that he promised to make her snacks again. She also was looking forward to desserts. So, our dude said that was fine and that the little girl only had to come and he would come since he was not at the PC room all the time. The mother informed her husband that she would be heading home first since the little girl had elementary school homework to do. The husband waved his family goodbye and said that he would stay a bit longer to check on the situation there. The little girl waved her father goodbye and they all watched silently as the two drove off. Then, the president said that if it was not for our dude, then both he and his wife would probably be in despair right now. The president bowed before our dude and thanked him once again. Our dude said it was nothing, but the president swore to treat our dude to a fancy meal at some point. Our dude decided that they would accept this for now and he said that it sounded good. The president was called to come over for a moment, and the supporting actress coughed. She grinned and said that from what she had seen today, our dude could cook a little, do some action scenes, and he had even taken down some kidnappers. The rumor that our dude worked in a PC room had to be a lie. However, our dude confirmed that it was not a lie, and then the actress asked for its location, as well as its address and phone number. Our dude did so and he saved the information on her phone under his name. The actress gushed and thanked our dude so much. Then she asked our dude not to get the wrong idea, and that she was not asking for our dude's number. It was just that the PC room was a must visit, so he would drop by sometime. Our dude said that she should just save it, and he glanced back at the actress for a moment. Our dude did not know the number of the PC room anyway as he walked away, but the actress was flustered and wondered why our dude had looked at her like that. She was blushing so hard that she had to remind herself that she was the actor. Suddenly, someone screamed in surprise and they both turned, and they both heard that something had been uploaded to the internet, and the screaming person wanted to know who had dared to upload it. The crew argued and defended that they did not know, but the president kept screaming and asking who among the people had done so and who had uploaded the video of his daughter's rescue. The male manager rushed over and called the president, and it was the head of public relations. The president screamed into his phone and the man asked if the president's daughter was okay. The president screamed that of course the little girl was safe as everyone had seen that a hero had saved her. First, the president wanted the head to prioritize taking down all the videos immediately as there was no time to waste. The head of public relations confessed that it was hard to stop since it was spreading on social media and the internet, not through news outlets. The video had already been uploaded to foreign sites, so the president asked his workers to find the original leaker. The head of public relations said that he would do his best while the director yelled at all the staff in a rage, saying that if they confessed then he would spare their life. His assistant cried for the director to calm down. As the director roared in rage, the director eventually reached out to his wife. She was in a car back home and the mother calmly answered the phone. Hearing the hesitation in her husband's voice, she asked what he had messed up this time. However, the man said that it was not that and he asked his wife to listen without getting mad. The husband explained that the conversation topic was about their daughter's rescue video. The video had gotten leaked and it was now all over the internet, and the spread was too fast to stop. The president expected his wife to be furious, however, she already knew about the leak. The president begged his wife not to worry and that once they found the one who leaked it, he would make sure to deal with them. This is when his wife informed him that their daughter had been the one to upload it. The president was shocked and speechless by this information, and his wife went on to explain that earlier, when their daughter saw the video, she had perked up. Their daughter had said that the snack man looked like a hero from a movie and she uploaded it to the internet. The president was shocked to hear this and the wife went on that the beaming little girl had said that her snack friend was the hero that needed to be widely known, so the wife had given the approval to upload the video. The president was so surprised by this news that he was briefly at a loss for words. The wife asked if there was a problem and the president then turned nervously towards where the director was busy scolding all the other members of the crew. The director was very disappointed in his colleagues and the president had to rush over to stop the director from completing his rant at the innocent workers. The director yelled that he thought that the crew could tell right from wrong and the president begged that this was not what it was about, so the director should please stop. The next day, the video had of course gone viral and our dude's colleagues from the PC cafe were feasting their eyes on the visual effects, saying that it was crazy good. It even looked like a promotional video for an upcoming movie. Of course, they did not believe that anyone could pull it off without CGI, and the girls agreed that jumping on a moving car like that would surely kill someone. Barbie beamed and told Blue Hair that when the movie came out, they were going to watch it together and Blue Hair said that she would love to. Glasses the hacker asked if he could join too, when one of the PC workers mentioned that the dude from the viral video sort of looked a bit like our dude. Barbie admitted that the quality was too low for someone to clearly see it, but the person's body shape looked kind of similar. The hacker whined about not getting a reply, and Barbie laughed off Blue Hair's suspicions, saying that why would their colleague even appear in a video like that? Blue Hair had to laugh that even for their super talented colleague, expecting this was a bit too much and the girls laughed together, ignoring the hacker who begged them to take him along. By the way, the PC workers then wondered when our dude would return because they missed him dearly and they wondered if he would watch the movie with them. Meanwhile, our dude had donned his mask again and he had a serious expression on his face. He bobbed and weaved, slicing through bad guys and throwing attacks and powerful kicks that knocked his attackers left and right. Our dude slid quickly behind a pole, dodging as his enemies shot bullets at him. Then, he lashed out with his own attack and with a sweeping kick, he knocked the gun right out of the attacker's hand. Once all the bad guys were done, our dude turned to the actress on her knees who clearly needed rescue. The girl looked up at our dude with amazement and joy as someone loudly screamed in shock. Then, the director called for a switch out and our dude quickly left the scene, switching with the actual main lead. The director called for action again and the main lead, who was dressed exactly like our dude, pulled down his mask and asked the actress if she was unharmed while sparkling like the movie star that he was as he called her a poor princess. The director yelled cut and thanked everyone for their breathtaking performance. The director thought about it and said that our dude's action scene was perfect, but when the actress looked at the real actor, her eyes seemed to wander and the actress protested, asking why that had happened. The director said that when the actress looked from our dude to the main actor, then the actress' gaze shifted noticeably. The actress protested and said that the director must be seeing things and that the director must be tired from staying up all night. The director wondered if that was truly so, but at any rate, he thanked our dude for a great job again since thanks to him their shoot wrapped up smoothly. Our dude asked if he was done for the day and the president reported that was so since their next action scene was scheduled for the next day. The president thanked our dude again for his hard work. Our dude then asked about the status of the little girl's rescue video, and the president hesitated, then confessed that the video had been exposed both domestically and internationally and news articles were circulating. If negative reports about the kidnapping had surfaced, it would have hurt the movie badly, but strangely or luckily people took the video for a movie promotion, so they had managed to silence the witnesses and were sitting to the story that it was a promotional video. Our dude asked the president if he was doing okay, and the president sighed how our dude expected a father to feel when his almost kidnapped daughter's video was trending worldwide. But this was the best course of action right now. Thanks to our dude, they barely made it through like it was a movie and the director gushed and said that thanks to our dude, they had finished extra filming 2 days ahead of schedule. Even the supporting actress in their movie had changed because of the script change and the actress had almost reached lead status. The actress flipped her hair and snobbishly thanked our dude for that. In that spirit, the president offered to buy our dude a drink and he asked our dude if he had time, and the other crew members protested that only our dude was being bought a drink. The president beamed and said that the two main actors had worked hard so he would take them too, and the two actors high-fived each other while the director sulked. And the president explained that the director had editing to do so they had to leave him for next time. The inner machine reported to our dude that it looked like they were finally getting the fancy meal that they had been promised to the other day, and it told our dude to accept it. Our dude beamed and happily did so. The meal was indeed very fancy and there was a huge spread for everyone to enjoy. The president had taken them to a pretty pricey place and the drinks seemed nice too, so the inner machine told our dude to drink as much as he wanted. Our dude was surprised that his inner machine had a surprisingly wild side. Then, the actress grabbed a mug of drink and offered to pour for our dude, even as the main actor offered to pour for her first. The actress protested, saying that she was going to pour a drink for our dude, but the main actor insisted that he owed our dude a debt. The actors argued that they had both been saved by our dude, so they both owed him a debt, and they argued that if they had gotten hurt, their career in the movie would have been ruined. Ignoring them, the president poured a drink for our dude, who thanked him. The president explained that he had always dreamed of being a film director, and since college, he had been lurking around the film industry and he shot a few independent films. Well, all of the president's films had flopped. After making a few flops, the president realized that he did not have the talent, and his father had told him to just join his company. However, the president persevered and he did not want to leave the film industry, so the president turned to film production instead. Still, our dude encouraged the president, saying that the man was successful in the film industry, so the president should stay positive. The president laughed and said that having wealthy parents helped solve any funding issues, which was why he had succeeded. If the film had failed, the president's film company would have been in danger and his parents and older brother would have given him hell. Our dude asked if that was because the president had chosen to not work for his father's company but started a film company which failed. However, the president explained that was not the case. The issue was that the president's father ran a manufacturing company that mainly produced military and police equipment. They did not just operate domestically but exported quite a bit too. The company was pretty well known in the industry, and his father had even given the president some shares of the company. Of course, the president's shares were friendly, which meant that he must never sell them since they fully support his father and his brother. However, to tell the truth, the president had invested over 10 billion won in the movie they were making now, and when the president had raised the funds, he had used his shares as collateral. The actress, who had now been paying attention, was shocked to hear that the president had used his father's shares. The president agreed and said that if the movie failed then he would have to beg his father for help. But if his father found out that he had used the company shares, then the president's father would probably pick up a golf club. The actress was shocked to hear that the president would get beat by a gold club when he was over 40 years old, and the president laughed that the company shares were never supposed to be touched, so of course his father would get very upset. The lead actor laughed nervously, saying that the president was very gutsy, and asked what the president could do if the movie flopped. The president then asked the lead actor if it made sense for their movie to fail. The actor admitted that if it was not for that druggie, then they would have hit at least 5 million viewers, which was why the president had taken a big gamble and invested himself. Just thinking about that druggie still gives the president the chills. The lead actor kept asking about the name of the president's father's company, and asked if he knew it, while our dude just ate by himself, thinking that the tune was great. The president then said that his father's company was called Qiaolin Engineering. Then, the AI spoke up and called our dude's attention, saying that its initial data contained information related to Qiaolin Engineering, and that Qiaolin Engineering produced outdated combat equipment that is still occasionally used in some regions in 2082. However, the inner machine's data indicated that the 2024 model was the last one produced. Our dude asked about that, asking why the recent year's model was the last. The actress noticed our dude talking to himself and wondered if he was drunk. The inner machine admitted that though the model was outdated, it was still used as the main equipment in some battlefields, and that unused products were sometimes traded at high prices. The AI explained that Qiaolin Engineering was a luxury military equipment manufacturer. Our dude wondered how such a successful company could possibly stop making models after the year 2024, and he wondered if they had suddenly gone bankrupt. Then, our dude looked up as he began to suspect that the drug incident, the collapse set, and the daughter's kidnapping were all clearly connected. Our dude was called, and the president noted that our dude seemed a bit upset, and he asked if something was wrong. Our dude then said that it was not him and that there was a problem with Mr. Lee. The president was surprised to hear this, and our dude pointed out that if their movie failed, then the president's shares would be gone, which would put the president's father's company's management rights at risk. The president said that would only happen if he lost his shares, and if he told his father then the president would end up kicked out. But the company's shares would be safe. However, our dude disputed that fact. Our dude did not think that the situation was that simple, and he said that for everyone to hear. Our dude had his suspicions for a few days. On the first day of reshooting, the set in Gangwon-do collapsed, and someone may have tampered with the facility because it was not a natural accident. The president nervously agreed with this deduction, and then the president admitted that he had heard that after our dude mentioned it, the police had conducted a thorough investigation on site. Some of the debris was still being analyzed by the National Forensic Service. The National Forensic Service would probably say that there was a possibility of tampering, but there was no definite evidence. The president was surprised, but our dude pointed out that a week ago, the lead actor got arrested at a drug party, but that also seemed strange to our dude. The main lead did not think it was, but while investigating the arsonist who was caught in Seoul. The arson had caused such a fuss and there was much to do after it had happened. The general belief was the police had accidentally discovered the drug party and then raided it. The main lead laughed and asked what the incident had to do with their movie. This is when our dude grinned and said that was exactly his point, and that the arson murder was an unforeseen incident that was not in anyone's plan. The three listeners were surprised by his words, and our dude explained that the police had raided the drug party, and though entertainment had to reshoot the movie in just 1 week. However, if it had not happened a week ago, then something else would have happened. The listeners were in shock as our dude said that the fire incident had happened right before the movie was to be released on the day before it was released, and the president was horrified as he started to connect the dots. If they had waited until just before the release of the movie to report the drug party, then our dude asked the listeners to guess what would have happened, and they were all silent and speechless. If that had happened, their movie would not even make it to the theaters and it would be pulled right after release. When the movie fails, the president plans to ask his father for help, and the president admits that his father would lend money to protect the shares. However, our dude said that if this was a setup by someone, then when the movie failed, the president's father's company would also get targeted. Yahello Engineering would be in a situation where they cannot help the president's company, and the president was shocked as he had never imagined such a scenario. The president then said that even if that were the case, then he would just use all of his connections, even if the president had to sell his company to keep his father's shares safe. Then, our dude pointed out that if the president's daughter had been kidnapped that day, then things would have gone very differently, and the president paled just thinking about it. The president would not have been able to focus on those shares if he had lost his daughter, and not only would he lose over 10 billion won from the movie not screening in theaters, but with his daughter kidnapped, he would be too distracted to care about the film company's collapse. If the bonds were complicatedly entangled, even Yahello Engineering's shares could vanish instantly, and the president was dumbstruck with horror as he also reached this horrifying conclusion. The main lead then leaned forward, realizing that the reason those people had kidnapped the little girl was to make the president lose his sanity, and make it easier for the enemy to target his father's company. However, the president pointed out that he had no plans to go to the set that day, and that he was supposed to be at his daughter's photo shoot. Then our dude pointed out that the president would have gone to the site when the set collapsed on the first day of reshooting. The president was shaky as he admitted that he would indeed be present on set, and he realized that the person who collapsed the set knew that he would come to the set with his daughter. They had planned it that way. Then the actress screamed and demanded if our dude was saying that someone collapsed the set on purpose to hurt the actress, and our dude said that the enemy was likely targeting the set incident and that the actress had just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. If anyone got injured, it would create chaos, and even if no one got hurt, it would still create confusion, making it easier to kidnap the little girl. The enemy had likely thought that it was a plan that would not fail under any circumstances. The actress curled her hand into a fist of anger and said that if they investigated the kidnapper, then they might find the scheme behind the attacks. However, our dude asked the actress if she really thought that the enemies had handled it that sloppily. The jerks that had been arrested knew nothing, and they had no answers concerning the masterminds behind the kidnapping. The three kidnappers sulked in pain, and they were saying that they just heard a rumor that the girl would be at the set that day and kidnapped her. The child's father was a billionaire and he doted on his daughter, so they had thought that he would easily pay if they kidnapped her. This was all that the kidnappers confessed to. Since it was a mountain area with no CCTV, the kidnappers had thought that they would not get caught. The police wondered who had told the kidnappers such a rumor, and none of the kidnappers even remembered clearly. They only said that they overheard it at a bar. The police gave out the orders for the bar to get investigated immediately. However, the police had already checked and there was no CCTV there either. The police were going crazy from the dead ends, and our dude grinned, saying that of course, this would be the scenario if the movie failed. So, he told the three listeners to just take it as an interesting story. The actress pouted that she had gotten completely drawn in, and the other lead admitted that our dude was not only good at action but would be great at writing scenarios too. The main lead said that he would be the main male lead in the story that our dude was writing, but the actress said that her colleague could play the supporting role while she played the lead. While they joked like that, the director had gone pale because our dude's words had hit too close to home. The first round ended too early and the actors happily drank some more. Later, the actors happily waved goodbye and the actress asked her senior colleague if he was not going home. Since our dude had almost gotten a big hit this time, he would not gamble the engineering company's shares like this again. The engineering company had to be strong or else they would not have tried something this dangerous. With all variables removed, at least they were safe this year. Suddenly, our dude's shoulder was tapped and it was the beautiful actress asking him if he had time for another drink with her. Our dude turned and agreed that he would be interested in another drink with the three of them, and the actress got mentally upset that our dude was so clueless. Meanwhile, someone cursed very loudly and called someone else an idiot. A big man screamed and asked how dare his son use their company shares to make a movie. It was Yahello Engineering's CEO and the president's father, Lee Young-min. The CEO was very upset and the president had come to confess his sins. The president said that the movie was sure not to fail, and if it was a hit then the film company would grow and it would enhance their corporate image. The CEO yelled at his son and told him to shut up. The president's older brother admitted that the mood was already bad and the president was making it worse. The older brother, Lee Tae-sung, who was also the general manager of the engineering group, scolded his little brother, who was surprised to hear that the mood was bad. The president had heard that the company had developed an amazing new product and that the equipment export talks were going well. Yeah, the general manager admitted that was true, but because of that, there were rumors of a hostile takeover attempt. The rumors were that someone was trying to shake the company to disrupt foreign bids. Their shares were sold, so it seemed like everyone gave up and the president was shocked to hear this news. Even the older brother was shocked by his younger brother's shock. The president yelled and asked if it could be that one of those people was behind his daughter's kidnapping. The general manager then reminded his younger brother that this was not the time to raise his voice in front of him and their father. One of those companies might indeed have made a move, but the brokers looking to take over and resell their company were more suspicious. The CEO sighed and said that first they needed to get things straight first, and he told the president to make sure that the movie would not fail. The president swore that he would make sure the movie succeeded, and that it even turned out better than the original shoot. The CEO was surprised to hear this and he asked if this was thanks to that action stunt double. The president smiled and said that it was indeed thanks to our dude that they were able to shoot the movie faster, and he had even helped to save his daughter as well. Today, our dude had also shared this conspiracy story with the president, and the older brother muttered that his younger brother was only good at grasping things that were said by actors, though the president insisted that it had not been an ordinary actor. The CEO said that if the president's company was fine when they were okay even if someone attacked them from the outside, and the general manager agreed that they could defend against most attacks, but knowing the situation, they would have to reinforce their defenses more. As for their film producer's son, he was told that if he ever touched his shares again then he would be disowned. The president bowed and wished his father good night and promised to never touch his dare again. The resident then smiled and mentally thanked our dude for all of his help. Then the CEO told the president to get the action actor and to give him a role with lots of lines if he could. When someone helped a person, it was important for the person who got help to repay them. The president laughed and then said that our dude was actually already beyond a level where our dude could just offer him a role, and our dude was seated in a theater with the rest of the film crew. Barbie gasped, her face all flushed when she got invited to go to the premiere of A Sunny Day that night. She was especially thrilled because her super cool senpai was the one asking her out, but she blushed, saying she was not sure if she had the time. Seeing that Goldilocks was not interested, our dude turned around to ask anyone else, saying that if she was too busy, then she did not have to worry about it. However, she immediately jumped at the chance, changing her mind and saying that she had nothing to do tonight. Blue Hair then called to her Kang and Appa, asking him if she could come. His junior also called him Hyung and mentioned that he happened to have a lot of time on his hands. However, the talented genius was skeptical as he pointed out their part-time jobs. They had night shifts to run as well. However, the fake celebrity insisted that it was fine since a few days ago, new part-timers started working with them and nowadays, kiosks do everything anyway. The hacker beamed and said that it was true and that the cleaning robots did a better job than he did. This made the genius skeptical about what his colleagues even did to help out around here. However, they had been very surprised since they had seen the promotional video for the new movie just recently, and they were shocked to find that the video was for the movie that their senior participated in. They were also excited about it and informed the genius how cool he was, though he just mumbled that things had happened that way. No wonder the action moves had seemed so similar to their Kang and Appa. Since it was his debut work, his colleagues definitely had to go see it, even if they had to skip their part-time jobs. All his colleagues shot him a mock salute saying that they had to keep their loyalty, but our guy knew that deep down inside they just wanted to skip their part-time jobs, and they were lying about it. Anyway, this meant that they were all going to see celebrities that night. There was a shout as someone wondered who was coming along. It was Mr. Kim Yoo-chan, and they yelled for him to look over there as well. The celebrities marched out, flipping their hair and giving a confident thumbs up as they were assailed by cameras flashing left and right. Ms. Shin Yoon-ha was asked to give the paparazzi a heart and she happily gave them a very cute one, giggling adorably. There were so many celebrities around, and there were even celebrities who came to see the premiere. Barbie, who had come along, was surprised that their Appa was not going to stand with the celebrities in the middle for the flashing cameras. However, his face had not appeared in the movie, so of course he could not be there. Then, the lead actor suddenly spotted our guy and his heart leapt for joy. The NRAI informed Kangan that he had been spotted by Kim Yoo-chan, and the lead actor happily waved at our guy. Blue Hair nearly lost her mind with squeals. She cried and squealed, asking everyone if they had just seen the lead actor smiling and waving at her because she had been standing directly behind our dude. Glasses was confused and he guessed that the lead actor had probably been waving at the reporters. Then, the supporting actress also spotted Kang In, and she decided to speak casually at the second bar. She looked in their direction and it was Glasses' turn to lose his mind and he gasped for joy. He gasped that the goddess Yoon-ha had just waved at him, and Blue Hair was there to cramp his style and remind him that she was likely just waving at the reporters. If they had seen enough, it was time for them to go inside. Just then, the talented MC wondered where Yunseo had gone. Barbie had been with them a few minutes ago, but when they looked up they suddenly found her with the supporting actress for some reason. Blue Hair was excited and she rushed over, asking Barbie if she was getting an autograph. Barbie smiled at Ariam, while Glasses gaped that they were talking to a goddess. Our guy was surprised and asked if Blondie and the supporting actress knew each other. The supporting actress gasped and asked Blondie how she knew her appa, and the blonde explained that her uncle owned the PC room where the talented genius worked. The supporting actress was baffled, and then Glasses asked how Therani knew the beautiful actress, hoping that they were sisters, even though they had different last names. The blonde giggled and revealed that they had actually lived in the same neighborhood when they were kids, and she knew all the embarrassing stories about the actress Yoonha from back then. She giggled teasingly and the actress threatened playfully. Then, someone called to Kangin, and it was the lead actor whining that our guy had not had the decency to give him any attention even though he had waved at him so much earlier. The MC muttered that he could not act familiar with all of them when there had been so many reporters around. The lead actor pouted that he had just been trying to get the teacher's face known in this opportunity. Then, Ariam gasped to see her appa casually talking equally with the great Yu-chan. Their Yunseo, and he was also talking equally with Emperor Chungnyugong Shin Yun-ha. Glasses wondered if he should also try acting as well, but then Blue Hair turned and gave him a look of such great judgment and discussed that the poor hacker took emotional damage. Then, a little girl came running to Kangin. It was of course the president's daughter, and she leapt into his arms. He asked her how she had been and she giggled, saying that since he had talked to her, she was not bored at all. Her parents arrived in splendid expensive outfits, saying that they had reserved good seats for Kangin. Blue Hair gasped in shock to see the acting master Jang Maijiang was there. This was like King God General Emperor Chungyugong Majesty Hyper Ultra. Glasses complained that she had to stop with the internet speech because it was so old-fashioned. Our guy pointed out that he already had a ticket. However, the president laughed and said that he could leave that seat empty since the MC was technically the main actor. Ariam was disappointed at first, but then she redirected her attention to Yunseo, saying that she should really learn to cook and do extra work too so that she could sit next to a celebrity. Blondie laughed and told her appa that she would be going in ahead, and she said that they would see again later. Inside the viewing center, the seats were packed and full. It would be nice if Kangin joined them for the stage greeting, and the director asked if they could go out together later. However, our dude insisted that it would be tiring to have his face known when he was not even an actor. The director had to agree. The movie only had one premiere, but if it were not for Kangin, it would have been difficult even to release it. The MC was thanked and he responded that the director was welcome. Finally, the movie started. Our guy raised his head to focus on the movie, and the other members of the crowd glowed with excitement as they watched. Meanwhile, the people working at the cinema noticed that there was a strange commotion from the doors of the movie premiere. The waiters gasped in shock at the loud collection of cheers and gasps coming from the theater. They wondered what was happening and why the audience was collectively gasping, since they usually watched movies so quietly, and they assumed that they must be watching something really fun. The lights were off for the entire movie, and when it was done, the lights came on. There was clapping, and someone leapt to his feet and began to clap once the movie was over. Soon, all the members of the audience rose to their feet and there was a loud standing ovation. If it were not for their help, it would have been a somewhat ordinary work. Thanks to the MC and the inner AI, the quality of the movie had greatly increased significantly, and our guy could not help but feel a little smug about that. It was fun, and 2 hours had passed in an instant. The audience cheered at the new action romance, calling it amazing. Next, there would be a stage greeting, an interview with the director Sun Tae-min and the actors. There was a request for a big round of applause to be given to the cast and the crew as they came up on stage. The director thanked all of the audience for coming and for watching. The director had something to confess about this work to the audience, and he revealed that the scene where the set collapsed was actually a real accident. If they found out about this, some audience members would probably say that no matter how important the movie is, this is not right. However, the director assured them that they did not intentionally cause it to collapse for the sake of the movie. They simply used footage of the accident that was filmed with everyone's agreement. Of course, fortunately, there were no injuries at all, and if there had been any casualties, they would never have used the collapse scene. The public opinion might worsen, but that was something that the company's PR team would handle later. Our guy had to accept that this was an okay course of action. Then, Kim from the White newspaper stood because he had a question for Ms. Shin Yun-ha. He asked if the actress had received any treatment for that incident. In the movie, it looked like she was really shocked, and he asked if she had suffered any mental harm. However, she laughed that she was very healthy and that they had rescued her safely. Then the reporter asked if Kim Yu-chan had done it, but he laughed that he probably would not be in this world anymore if he was capable of doing things like that. Then, they asked who did it, and the actors confessed that their movie's catering truck uncle had done it. For some reason, that really offended Kangin, who felt like he looked about the same age as the actors. The lead actor went on to say that the catering truck uncle had a similar build to his, and he asked him to be a stand zero in, and he worked really hard. Our guy was horrified when the actor started looking over at him. Since he was a civilian, it was important for them to please omit that information from the article. After the premiere, the movie was all that anyone could talk about. It was abuzz with various comments talking about how fast the shooting had been and how they had expected it to come out a mess. The audience had heard that the people who had seen the premiere were wowed, so they were going to see it and get a good review. There were a few doubting Thomases in the comments section, saying that it was a waste of money and that the reviews had to be lacking. However, after a lot of people had gone to see the movie, the chat was flooded with multiple positive comments. They praised the director and said that they had never seen anything like it. They had even teared up and it was amazing. 2 days later, Ariam happily called for her Kang and Appa, asking him to look at this and saying that their movie was currently ranked #1. Then, her senpai asked why she was suddenly claiming ownership and calling it their movie. The blue-haired girl laughed and said that since her Appa was like family to her, then anything her family made was also hers. Then, he asked when they had become siblings and she whined. At any rate, the younger girl asked why he didn't become an actor when he would be great at it. However, our guy had done one movie and that was more than enough for him. The girl sulked that it was too bad because she had wanted to meet more celebrities. However, the MC said that he was busy with other things and she had thought that he was just goofing off all the time on his days off. However, he said he was not goofing off, so the girl asked what he was doing besides being a chef at the PC room. Our guy then uttered the cheesy lines that he was on a special mission for the Earth Union. Blue Hair was of course very confused by his seriousness, and she humored him, saying sure he was. The president laughed and cried huge tears of joy, glowing as he shone and sparkled. He threw his hands into the air, cheering that they had made it. It was a celebration galore at the Though Entertainment CEO's office. The director laughed, pointing out that he had told him that everything would work out and that there was no way the movie would not draw an audience. The director had been confident that the movie would hit 10 million admissions, and the president happily agreed. At this rate, the movie was bound to reach 10 million. And the president hailed the director, calling director Sun Tae-min the 10 million hit director. They laughed and talked about how the first day's performance was so bad that he almost cried. The theaters were empty and the president feared that they would not even break even. Now, he felt so happy that he could cry. The director said that for the next movie, he was considering a full-scale action noir. However, the president pointed out that the director was an expert in romance. Of course, the action in that film was excellent. However, the director mentioned Mr. Nakangan and the president was speechless. If they had the power of our guy, then the director could jump right into script work. However, the president called the director rather sternly and suggested that the movie be signed with their company as well. They could fund it generously and go with action and blockbusters. These guys were already getting ahead of themselves and striking deals, although our guy did not want to act. The president even asked if the director had asked the MC for his opinion yet, and the director called him immediately. There was no way that such a talented genius would turn down such a good opportunity. Since they had brought it up, they would give him a call immediately. So, our guy looked down and noticed that his phone was ringing. It was an unknown number, so he was confused about the call. The movie continued getting promoted and it was a big hit all over town. And they were bringing on 2 special guests from the movie A Sunny Day, so they welcomed Kim Yoo-chan and Shin Yoon-ha. Both the actress and the actor happily said hello to their screaming fans. The movie they had acted in was incredibly popular these days, and the interviewer asked if they had noticed. The actor laughed that they had indeed been flooded with interview requests and advertisement offers. He was so grateful. The interviewer thought that it was amazing, and that actually they had heard that the movie set really collapsed, which surprised them. They asked the actress if it was true that the collapse scene made it into the movie, and she laughed that it was true, but she had someone very reliable there, so she was not in danger. The stunt actor knocked down all the falling metal above her head. The whole situation sounded like it could have been serious, and they asked if the actor had also been there at the time. The lead actor smiled and said that he was thrown far away by the stunt actor right before the incident, and he did not make it into the movie because he had flown out so ungracefully. The actress was concerned about his phrasing since people might misunderstand. Anyway, the interviewer agreed that the mystery stunt actor was incredible and it sounded like he calculated everything and reacted in such a short time. The actress blushed and said that the actor was not even a professional actor and that he was just the food truck guy, but he was pretty amazing. The actor then happily added that the stunt actor had even jumped on a moving car without wires and stopped it with a single blow from a metal pipe. The interviewer was confused about hearing this. After all, they had watched the movie and they had never seen a scene like that before. The actor covered his mouth in horror and the actress was also stupefied from shock. The pretty girl wished her colleague would stop talking about unnecessary things, and she laughed that the stunt actor was not only great at stunts but he could cook as well, quickly changing the subject. Then, a new comment came in and it was about the car stopping, asking if the car stopping clip, which they thought was a promotional video, was actually real. Now, the actor was in big trouble and the actress was horrified about the interview being a live broadcast. More and more people kept asking about the car stopping and being in awe that it was real, and they wanted to know more about it. The president was in flames and rage as he screamed at the lead actor and called him an idiot. He cursed and yelled, while the Though Entertainment marketing team leader groaned since they needed to come up with a strategy fast. The team leader sighed and said they would just have to reveal something sooner than the scheduled date in about 20 days. The president asked if there was no other way, but the marketing leader sighed that they needed to seize the momentum from this issue, and if they lost the timing, it would be even harder to control. The president groaned in annoyance and then he picked up his phone. There was a call made and the phone rang. Someone asked hello and the president called Kang and Na and introduced himself. There was a moment and our guy noted that things got revealed later than expected. He asked if it could not have been reported on the day of the incident. But the president was lucky. The president cried happy tears that the MC could always see the bright side like a true hero should. And anyway, they only had one way to handle the current situation. They would have to make people see that video as something impressive instead of something serious. Instead of feeling sorry for Minji, they would focus on how cool our dude was, and they asked if he was okay with that. The talented genius gave them the go-ahead, just telling them not to mention his name. They thanked him very much and got busy. Now, they had to take a short break and return with part 2, and here came White Eagle's Hello Romance music cue. The team leader was called and the actor whined as he apologized for messing up during the interview. He cried that if there was anything that he could do right now, they could just tell him and he would give it his all, anything but retiring from the entertainment industry. Suddenly, he was told to reveal everything and the actor paused in confusion. The speaker asked what the actor was talking about and told him to talk about that incident in the broadcast in the flashiest way possible. The lead actor was surprised to hear that such a thing was okay, and the marketing leader groaned that they had no other choice but to release it earlier than I expected to do in 20 days. The actor apologized, but it made no difference because the CEO had agreed, and it was time to just wrap it up by saying the food truck guy resolved the incident spectacularly. So, it did not come across as a serious accident, and the actress called out, telling the actor to hurry that it was starting. The actor promised that he would not mention Kangen's name. Then, they were back on live and the interviewer told the audience that they had been listening to White Eagle's Hello Romance. There was an incredible amount of interest in the car-stopping video now and the comments were about to explode from all the excitement. The lead actor then laughed and said that he was going to tell them what happened as he did not get a chance to explain earlier. He said that it was all about a real event that happened on the first day that they started reshooting on set. While they were busy filming, some kidnappers tried to abduct their child actress, Minji Lee. The interviewer was all gasps and awe, and she asked if the stunt actor had jumped in without any wires in such a critical situation. The lead actor said that was correct, and the actress realized that they had decided to drop the bombshell. The food truck guy managed to capture all the kidnapped and rescue Minji safely, and they all knew this from watching the video. The comments now wondered if the stuntman was even human and how he had survived risking his life, and if our dude could be from some secret agent from an underground society straight out of a movie. More and more questions were raised about our dude. They agreed that an expert chef's skills were not far off from an action star. Not only was the stranger a great cook but a great action hero, and they wondered who he was, and there was a buzz about the food truck guy. It was revealed in the viral promo video and they wondered if it was real. The food truck guy had saved Minji Lee safely. There was more analysis being done by the fans, and they analyzed how the MC could run down a hill and they calculated the speed and distance and how he could run faster than the Olympic sprint record. And it was amazing. It was downhill. The Olympics were on flat ground. However, everyone agreed it was impressive for running downhill anyway. In that kidnapping video, they also measured how he had thrown that rock and if they had seen how he had thrown it and that it looked like a pitcher throwing a pick off. More and more analysis is done and the audience comments on how our dude is amazing with his distance throwing as well as his accuracy. He also has an amazing running speed, and he swung the pipe in the movie like a monster hitter. Their team needed a hero like him to get out of last place and get signed as a major actor. The info on Kangen was growing quickly and the inner AI informed him of it. Our guy was unbothered and said that it was alright since his name and face were not revealed. However, he asked if he could indeed go to the Olympics. However, the AI informed him that he would not pass a doping test. The agent grumbled about that being too bad. Then, the MC asked about baseball, and the inner machine said that pro baseball also conducts regular doping tests. Kangen sighed heavily and said that the inner machine should forget it, and he would not do it anymore. Besides, he would need to move from this temporary base to a more stable one. Anywhere would be better than the PC's room rest area cot, and the place was a bit rough. Our guy needed to rest to maintain combat efficiency, but they could get a new base with the budget. The inner machine informed him that the payment for the recent movie role had just come through and the MC asked how much money they had gotten. 5 million had been deposited into our guy's account and he acted a little ungrateful about it, saying that it was just 5 million. Ariam suddenly announced that she had something to say. From the moment that she saw the video, she had thought that it was their Kang and Appa, and that's what she meant. She guessed that she just had a good eye for people. Meanwhile, Glasses was impressed as he had not known that there was another person this skilled, and they kept watching the kidnapping video on repeat. Blue Hair grinned and said that she was amazing, but the hacker insisted that their senior was the amazing one. Then the fake celebrity asked if the hacker had ever seen anyone like their Kang and Appa before, and Glasses admitted that there was one person he saw who was incredibly skilled too, from his memories of our dude kicking that one thug through the roof. Whoever the stunt actor was, they were sure that they could not beat their Appa. Then, our guy groaned that his ears were burning because he could sense them talking about him. Later, a sexy leg stepped out of a car and cameras started flashing. The beautiful supporting actress was welcomed and she stepped out of the car with shades and a cute outfit. She then asked if this was the PC room where Mr. Nakang is working. The hacker was nervous and shocked because he immediately recognized the actress and he started to ask if she was the super famous actress. But fortunately, Barbie showed up and covered his mouth as she happily greeted her on Nye. She hurried to the actress, asking what had brought her all the way to their cafe when she was likely super busy these days. The actress explained that she had come to see Kang and Appa, and also because she had heard that the food served there was great. Barbie understood and explained that their senior was in his room right then, and the beautiful actress was surprised. Then, the blonde explained that he lived in the cafe and the actress was horrified and stupefied. She could not believe it and she asked why he lived there and if he did not have a home. The blonde was hesitant as she thought about it. Then she admitted that she did not know but our guy was indeed sleeping and eating there temporarily. Blondie had even thought of letting the talented genius stay at her house and the actress was horrified. The blushing blonde was oblivious and cooed to herself that it would be awkward for a man and a woman to live under the same roof, and her senior was of course immediately against such an idea. The blonde girl giggled and danced, saying that her aunt was worried about her so she was touched and that it was okay since their Appa was not that kind of person. Of course, Appa would not do anything like that. Then the blonde asked what the actress meant and the actress deflated saying never mind. Anyway, the happy blonde eagerly pointed out the MC's room and said that he was in there. Our dude sat up when he heard a knock on the door, and he was stunned when the actress opened the door with a happy smile. He asked why she was showing up here of all places, and the beautiful actress explained that she had come to apologize. Our guy Kangen was confused and asked what she was apologizing for, and she explained that she was apologizing since Kim Yuchin had talked too much. Kangen pointed out that was what Kim Yuchin had said on the radio, and that it was not even the actress who had said it. Still, she had appeared on the same show. Anyway, that guy really needed to learn to hold his tongue. The actor did not seem to do it on purpose, and the actress admitted that was true since the actor was probably getting scolded by Rose Young Sunbi right about then. They were sure that the male lead actor was likely having a really hard time. So, Kangen then asked if the actress had come all the way there just to say that, and she looked surprised by the question. Then, she said that was only part of her coming and that she had also heard that the PC room was famous for its food. So, she had come to try it. However, our guy stood and said that he would not be serving food that day because he had somewhere to be, and the actress asked where he was going in confusion. The MC explained that his important business involved looking for a place to stay. As the actress could see, this place was not ideal, and she had to admit that it was the pits that he was living in. She then asked why someone as talented as him was even living there, and he muttered that he had his reasons. The actress was alarmed as she imagined our guy as such a man with stories. The actress was in awe and hopped to offer that she would come house searching with him since it would be nice for him to have someone to help him choose a place to stay. However, Kangen said that he could go alone. In the end, she ended up accompanying him as he walked through different living spaces. He marked the refrigerator, the sink, and the old air conditioner in the apartment, noting that it had everything. The beautiful Yoonha was confused that our dude picked a studio apartment, and she gaped and asked if he had not gotten paid. The MC said that he had indeed gotten paid, but it would not make sense to blow all of his money on living expenses. The actress was baffled and did not understand why he would go for a studio apartment of all things. She could not understand why such a talented guy had stayed in a PC room in the first place, and now she could not understand why he was going for a studio. He had gotten paid a lot for the movie, and then Yoonha yelled and asked our guy how much he had gotten. She would help him find the best place with the money that he had received. So, he explained that he had received 5 million won. The actress was exceptionally speechless and for a moment, she could not compute his answer. Then, she grabbed her phone and got to dialing immediately. It turned out that the quick-witted actress had quickly placed a call to someone immediately. The person that she called was of course the president's beautiful and dominating wife. The young actress happily greeted her sonbee, telling her senior that it was her on the phone. Her sonbee smiled and asked the beautiful actress what was up, and asked if the pretty lady was calling to ask for leniency for Kim Yuchin who was already being severely punished, and he was crying for Yoonha to save him. The lead actor was undergoing torture under the president's strict wife. However, the actress had no such priority and she said that she would leave the decision of punishing him with her sonbee. Even our guy was left speechless by how much she just did not care. Then, the president agreed that she would let the lead actor live and asked why her sweet junior had called. The actress explained she had an important reason to call, and it seemed that Mr. Nakhangan had only received 5 million won for his appearance fee from the CEO Lee Teo. On hearing this news, the president's wife darkened with rage. It looked like she had even more people to deal with, and the actress laughed, saying that she just thought that their talented Appa would not say anything, so she was reporting to the president's wife. The president's wife completely understood since the genius had saved the movie and he was a lifesaver for her daughter, so she would check with Lee Teo. The actress was overjoyed. Ignoring the torture that the lead actor was going through, she thanked her sonbee. Then she beamed and said that he would leave it all to the president's wife. Then the actress turned to beam at our dude, saying that until they responded, they had to check out better places. Then, Mr. Nakhangan was later called by Lee Teo. The president had looked into it and he realized that our guy had only been paid 5 million won for his appearance fee. The president had also been surprised to hear this as well, and that director's son was too busy with the movie release to check and make sure that the stunt guy had been paid properly. Meanwhile, the happy bubbly actress kept taking the MC through the streets, dragging him here and there to check out more houses in better neighborhoods. Some of the tour guides smiled when they saw them together and asked if they were newlyweds, which the actress quickly denied with an intense blush on her face. It turned out that the payment department had just processed it as usual, and that was how this had happened. However, considering our dude's work, such a thing was unacceptable. So, the president had recalculated our dude's payment as the official stunt coordinator, not as a stunt double. Right now, the two walked into a nice spacious apartment, marveling at all the walking room and the soft decor. Getting into the main room, the actress beamed as she looked around and even our dude was impressed. 100 million would be transferred immediately to our guy's account and the actress gasped as they looked around the nice and large apartment. The deposit for the apartment that they picked out was 5 million, and the rent was pretty good for the price. Kangin was impressed by how much Yoonha knew about this kind of stuff, and she flipped her hair, saying that she was the kind of woman who was really helpful when she was around. She wondered if he was falling for her, but our guy just noted that the view outside the window was also pretty nice. The inner machine had made sure to secure a clear line of sight for potential enemy approaches, and now they could observe the enemy from a distance. The extra tip was that if the MC installed blackout curtains on the windows, then he could block the enemy's observation. Our guy noted that the inner AI was suddenly being so sweet because they just got 100 million. Then, the actress asked our dude what he would do with the remaining 5 million, and the inner AI said that they needed to secure mobility by buying a car. So, the MC stated that he would buy a car. The actress was overjoyed and said that she knew a good place to introduce him to. With 50 million though, getting something as good as a luxury car might be difficult. However, Kangin then interrupted her by calling her by name, and he asked why she kept trying to help him. The lady was confused and our dude asked if she perhaps liked him, while leaning in real close to her surprised face. The black-haired main character leaned in really close to the beautiful actress and asked if she liked him by any chance. The beautiful young actress was stunned to have Kangin all in her face. She quickly became speechless, stuttering like she was spooked as she asked what he was saying and why he would even believe that she liked him. Since she was acting all indifferent, the main character got bored of that very quickly and strolled away, saying that he had just been curious since she was doing the most to help him. The blushing actress huffed with a blush on her cheeks, saying that he had a huge ego, and that his assumptions were ridiculous. She was an actor, which she proudly declared, and her schedule just happened to be free, so she had dropped by coincidentally. Besides, she would help no matter what since they are close friends, and it had nothing to do with her huge crush, nor the fact that she was this jobless, and she expected the talented stuntman to know that. However, he is already bored with the conversation and says that she could just leave it at no and tells her not to yell at him. His eardrums were going to burst at that rate. Blue Eyes smirks and says that he was joking too, and he thanks the gorgeous actress for helping him out. She is surprised and a flush comes to her cheeks at his sincere smile. Then she mumbles that she did not help him to hear something like that. The inner AI also informed our dude that his thanks should be directed to him and not just to Shin Yoon-ha. The main character ignores his inner machine, telling it to shut up, which briefly confuses the actress. The actress has a few things to say and she says that about that day, if she had been crushed on set by the falling steel beam, she could have been seriously injured or worse. The stuntman had saved her and she had survived, so she was eternally grateful since that accident could have very easily ended her life. The beautiful young lady blushes, twirling her hair in her hand, saying that, to be honest, she had thought that she was fine. She had really thought that everything was okay. However, being alone at home, she started to realize things after the incident. The actress' eyes had widened when she realized that she had come home to a dark house, and she kept thinking about that moment, which made her heart race. This did not happen before, but ever since that day, a house without any form of light fills her with anxiety now. The incident kept appearing in her dreams and she found it hard to sleep. So, being around the main character made the traumatized actress feel safer, and she asked if it was fine for her to come around often, even though therapy would be a more advisable solution. Of course, our guy was barely paying attention while she had been airing out her feelings, and he just stretched while admiring the great view, which really served to annoy her since he was ignoring her very touching tale. Later, at a used car lot, the actress was shocked that the main character would buy such a thing with the money he had left. The beautiful lady insisted that there were tons of good used cars out there, and she could not fathom why he would settle for a beat-up junk car. However, he thought that her saying all that out loud was rude to the seller who was standing right there. The seller, however, agreed, and that he had brought the car over to sell, but no one wanted the junk anyway. Even if the seller fixed it, the repair costs would exceed the selling price. The young lady then insisted that they could find much better cars if they looked around. However, the stubborn stuntman just asked if he could check under the hood and he received permission. He opened the hood and inspected the controls within, then he asked his inner machine if he could fix this. Of course, the inner AI had repair manuals for vehicles from the battlefield, and the main character was a little impressed that it included manuals for a car like this one. The inner machine was from the year 2082, so this would be an 80-year-old model for him. However, the inner AI boasted that he had manuals for cars from even 100 years ago. Once the machine fixes the electrical and power systems, it should run just fine. The actress was surprised to see our dude studying the car. Then, the main character pointed at the white piece of junk and said that he liked it, much to the shock of both his girl and the seller. The young actress insisted that he could get a much better car for the same price, and asked if the guy was going with the car since he was broke. She even offered to lend him some. However, the inner machine insisted that the cost-effectiveness of fixing the car was better if he repaired it himself. The seller went on about the product, saying that the engine sounded terrible and it might stall while driving and he would not take responsibility for that. The talented stuntman already knew all that and just asked the car guy to sell it to him cheaply. The car guy groaned but said it was fine by him and that he would not accept the blame if the car broke down. So, our guy grinned and said they should make the deal, much to the horror of his newest fangirl. Later on, the main character spoke to his inner AI asking if it would not be better to repair the car in the new apartment's parking lot. However, the inner machine said that would make the neighbors suspicious, so they needed to rent a suitable place to fix the car. Fortunately, the inner machine was far ahead of him and had already scouted out a suitable location to use as a base. It was a recently closed ironworks, a nice quiet place in the mountains where they could do what they needed without disturbance. The main character was impressed and asked his inner AI when he found out about that. The inner machine just responded that he had gathered the necessary info while accompanying him. The savvy machine had already figured all of that out while Kangen was zoning out, and the main character was impressed. So, all the main character needed to do was to get the parts he needed and then repair the car at the chosen location. So, the black-haired genius was ready to get busy. The car was delivered exactly where he wanted it to be, and the actress tagged along for some reason, asking where they were. He had dragged the junk car to a rundown place, and he asked her to stop calling his new car junk. It would hurt its feelings. The actress cried and asked if the stuntman had secretly signed on for a horror movie directed by a director's son without telling her, and asked if that was why they had been brought there. However, he said that it was nothing like that. Our guy pushed in a few necessary numbers and the door swung right open. The pair peeked inside and stared at the empty workshop. The blue-eyed boy walked inside and immediately got to work while the actress was still confused about what he was doing. She was surprised that he really did plan to fix the car here, and the young lady asked if he even knew how to fix a car, and that he should need a mechanic's license or something. However, the inner machine had a repair manual far superior to any license. So, the blue-eyed genius replied that Neotube taught everything. The inner machine still boasted that the manual that he had was far better than the video platform. The beautiful actress could not believe that such a person was going to fix up a junk of metal disguising as a car by only using a few internet videos. The talented genius was unbothered, telling his new tag-along girlfriend that disassembly was just the reverse of the assembly. However, the beautiful actress was still plenty doubtful and was not convinced. She asked what exactly he planned to do if the car exploded in both their faces. The main character would end up taking back the life he saved because she'd end up dying with him. However, he remained unbothered about the whole thing and asked why she was assuming that he would go on a car ride with her in the first place. The actress was immediately irritated by that response, feeling both hurt and humiliated, so she switched tactics by changing the topics and wondered out loud what this place was anyway. The main character explained that it was a metalworking shop, but this place was closed now because the owner retired. So, the main character decided to return it to about a year. The lady was shocked and wondered when he had the time to arrange all that and why he was keeping it for an entire year. Our guy focused on the engine of the car as he worked. He slipped on some gloves because safety first, and then he turned to the actress who stared in surprise. Blue Eyes asked why the young lady was not leaving and why she was following him around like she had nothing else to do. She was supposed to be a working adult. The embarrassed flushing virgin claimed that she was not following him at all and that he had been the one to bring her here. However, he had no intention of having her follow him and he was aghast at this accusation. The young miss was infuriated and humiliated. Fine, she was going to leave then and that he should not stop her. Even if he got bored later, it was not her problem. And he was losing out on the perfect chance to hang out with a super pretty girl. They were in the middle of nowhere and there was no transportation out though, so she was kind of stuck with him. The flustered actress then said that he would just call her manager to come pick her up. However, the signal was spotty since they were so deep in the mountains, so she would not be able to do that either. Zero safety instincts finally realized that she was trapped there, and to make it worse, the black-haired genius mumbled that ghosts could pop out at night as well. This of course terrified the poor young lady who squealed in fear. The main character was really enjoying himself though because he spoke darkly, saying that he had honestly planned this all along, and said that this was why he had brought her here. The actress was terrified, her face going pale in horror. Then she squealed and cried for him to stop, crying that she was not ready. However, the blue-eyed genius just asked her to hold something. Her eyes were closed and this little rat had the audacity to blush. However, the main character had nothing nefarious planned and he told her to stop her squealing and to get to work by helping him fix the car. She cried about not wanting to get dirty, but it was too late for that. The inner machine was beyond excited to show our dude how to repair the faulty engine. Firstly, the main character was instructed to disassemble it in the order indicated. Meanwhile, the actress was sulking while lounging because she had quickly figured out that he could do everything himself and his intention had just been to tease her. The main character had no regrets since her reaction was so hilarious. She scoffed in annoyance and then asked if he should not write down the order as he disassembled it. There was a scene in a movie that she watched where someone ruined everything while disassembling precision equipment. However, the talented stuntman told her not to worry since he remembered all the steps. Though it was Jinnah, the inner machine, that was remembering everything. Still, the young lady was impressed by the display of amazing memory, while the inner machine got annoyed that his glory was being stolen. Our guy was also quite tired of the inner AI responding to everything the gushing actress had to say. The gushing actress went on watching in awe, saying that his hands moved so quickly and precisely like a machine. Blue Eyes barely noticed as he had already handed control to the inner machine. Finally, he was done and he shut the hood of the car with great satisfaction. The young lady was surprised that he was already done since it had only been less than an hour. Okay, it was time for some test subjects and the shameless noodle cooker asked the actress to get in the driver's seat. Of course, she had no intention of joining him on his suicide mission and she asked if this was why he had brought her there. The main character then chuckled and told her to relax since he had repaired it perfectly after calculating everything. The girl nervously asked if it would explode on the way, but the genius just asked her to trust him. So, there they were, a guy and a girl inside of a car, starting a test run road trip. The young lady was amazed at how smoothly the piece of junk was moving and she expressed her awe over the fact that the engine sound was so quiet. She had thought that he was only good at cooking and martial arts, but apparently, he was also an underground mechanic. The actress gushed at his amazing repair skills and the main character happily hugged the glory, saying that he was pretty impressive. However, the inner machine was the one that was impressive. However, she did wonder why he had rented this place for a whole year, especially when he had fixed the car so quickly. If the sole apartment they found earlier was their living base, then the old workhouse facility that they had purchased would be their production base. The main character planned to make the equipment needed for missions there, so both were necessary. However, the lady did not need to know all that, so he just feigned indifference and she fumed. So, then she asked where they were going now. He would drop her off at home since she had not come with her car, and she was surprised by his generosity. Then, she also had a favor to ask and our guy was curious. The young actress asked how one would install a smart lighting system that could be controlled from the phone, and if he could set that up at his place. However, the man immediately said that she should ask her parents to do it. The young actress blushed and said that they lived a bit too far away and her younger brother was all thumbs. Her whole family was useless at this kind of thing. Then, Blue Eyes suggested that she call someone for that. She groaned and then begged him, saying that she was scared and that she needed help. Lately, she kept dreaming about that collapsing set and she could not sleep at all. The inner AI informed the blue-eyed genius that it was a common symptom among soldiers in war zones. It was like how discharged soldiers repeatedly dream about their time in the army. It could be a kind of post-traumatic stress disorder. Rescuing civilians was a basic mission of the Earth Union Army, and the beautiful damsel had no idea what he was yapping about. However, the good news for her, helping her was part of his community service, so he agreed to be of assistance. So, Kangen went with her to her apartment and he got busy while she watched like a pretty princess. It was all done in a matter of minutes and the glowing lady gasped in awe, amazed at how quickly he had gotten the work done. He told her to turn off the lights and to test it. The lights were all dark, so then the young lady picked up her phone and tested the lighting system as instructed. Lo and below, with a simple tap on her phone, all the lights came up. The young actress was amazed to see that it worked, and she blushed, twirling a finger in her hair as she gave her gratitude. However, the black-haired genius said that there was no need for her to mention it. Well, he was off then, and the lady was shocked at how fast the genius was exiting her life. She asked if he was hungry and that seemed to stall the main character for a hot minute. The actress offered to cook a really delicious meal, much to the surprise of the talented chef who did not think the dainty princess could cook any real food. However, the lady insisted on treating him to some food. He was a little confused and she explained that she had gone to his PC cafe because she had wanted to try his cooking. But since she owed him twice already, she could not ask him to cook for her as well. She knew a really good restaurant, and the head chef there was Oh Jae-chol who had been on TV. Kangen was interested in this, and his inner machine informed him that understanding local leisure culture makes integration easier. Also, high-end restaurants like that were currently beyond their budget, so a free meal was definitely something they should grab shamelessly. As an added benefit, it was a good chance to gather information. Our dude could see right through his inner AI and muttered because he knew the machine just wanted to eat. The inner machine could not work up the nerve to reply and the main character immediately called him out for it, teasing that the AI had gotten embarrassed by the truth. Then, the talented stuntman dropped his arm with a smirk on his face, saying that he sure hoped the food would indeed be better than what he made since he liked good food too, but from the look on his face, it was clear that he doubted it. Later, at a big and beautiful building, someone declared that they were there. The place she had chosen was quite famous and she eagerly asked if he had heard of it. However, he knew nothing about the restaurant. It was not easy to get a reservation, so not just anyone could come there. He asked if she made a reservation, and she happily explained that she had made one last night. Kangen pointed out that she had said reservations were hard to get. However, she needed reservations when she was the famous actress Shin Yoon-ha. She was the hot, trending, and ultra-beautiful actress. However, the main character was generally unimpressed, which was why he wore a hoodie to a fancy restaurant. The actress was also irritated by his indifference and threatened death at his nonchalance. She had filmed a variety show with the chef here before, and she had gotten his number back then. When he asked yesterday, he had said that he would make room for two. The spot was rare and only available because of her, and Kangin could not help but ask who she had been planning to bring when she made the reservation. The actress jolted at the question, finding it awkward to say that she had planned to eat at the PC cafe, and pretend that her dinner plans got cancelled. It would make her sound like a child. So, the actress dismissed the conversation, saying that it was not important. Kangin did not need to worry about that, and she insisted that they keep marching forward and leave behind humiliating topics. Meanwhile, at the Dajungin cafe, the blue-eyed genius was perplexed since he had thought that they were going to a restaurant, and he asked why they had instead come to a cafe. The actress sighed, asking if our guy had never been on a date. They could chat at the cafe until they got hungry, then head up to the 7th floor restaurant. Kangin the genius thought about it for a second, and then he looked down at the cute coffee art as he pondered what a date was like. The fact that his resident identity card existed in the government database might mean that the talented stuntman had a record of an ordinary life like everyone else. Deep down inside, the main character wondered why he was here in this era and place, instead of in the Earth Union Army of the year 2082. Then, Shin Yun-ha suggested that they ask if they could get a window seat there. Penelope answered when Shin Yun-ha called, and the happy actress said that she was calling to confirm her dinner reservation for that night. There was silence for a hot minute before the pretty girl exploded like a popped hot air balloon. She leapt to her feet in horror as she gasped, horrified to hear that their spot had not been reserved. Yuna insisted that she had made the reservation yesterday and that if it was cancelled, they should have let her know. The angry lady slammed her phone down in a rage, growling in anger. Our dude asked what was wrong, and with tears in her eyes, the actress explained that someone more important than she was had come, so her reservation had gotten bumped. She was upset that they said that they would make room for her when they had just cancelled it at the end. The main character hummed and he realized that she was the easiest reservation to cut, and she screamed, asking whose side he was on. Since that was a bust, the genius then suggested that they go get gukbap or something nice that they could eat. He would even sprinkle salt on it stylishly, but she was not having it. Suddenly, she whipped out shades and out on some dangerous red lipstick, asking him to stay put while she handled it woman to woman. The actress Yuna wanted to see just how important this almighty VIP was. So, she strolled away in an angry storm, unaware of her adoring fans that gushed just catching a glimpse of her. Our guy watched her go and did nothing to stop her. He lounged in the cafe and sipped his drink. The coffee there was pretty good and even the NRAI liked it. Meanwhile, on another side of the fancy restaurant, the shutters suddenly slammed shut menacingly. One of the members of security was surprised by this odd behavior. Then he gasped when a group of strangers walked in. It was a group of goofy-looking bandits with animal masks on their heads to hide their identity, and it was clear that they were up to no good. The security panicked at seeing such a large group of robbers, and one of the robbers launched at him. The poor security guy took a knee to the stomach and spat out his life force. The singular security crashed to the ground and the robbers looked down at him without a care in the world. The target was Penelope on the 7th floor, and the robbers planned to secure each floor one by one and control the people. No one was getting out until their evil work had been done. Heavy, impenetrable curtains that guarded the restaurant windows suddenly rolled shut. The security on duty was surprised to see such an occurrence, mouth agape when he suddenly got hit by an attacker. The man fell over with a groan of pain, completely passed out. The headmask guy informed his dudes that their target was named Penelope, and they would find her on the 7th floor. From that moment on, they were to control people floor by floor as they moved up. Meanwhile, the oblivious actress was busy fighting an inconsequential battle as she yelled, asking the chef how he could do this to her. The young lady had been promised a table the other day, and the poor restaurant worker had to bow his head in apology to the lady Yuna. A crucial reservation had suddenly come up, and there was nothing he could do. She groaned as she needed to protect her eyes from his shiny head by using sunglasses. Still, she could not believe that the man had cancelled her reservation, and she wanted to know how important that guest could possibly be, since she was doing pretty well these days too. The owner and head chef of Penelope was called Okuchial, and he explained that the young lady was the last one to make a reservation, so they had no choice but to cancel hers. Honestly, her last seat was a last-minute arrangement, and it was also not an official reservation. Then, the actress whined that she should have been told beforehand since she had come all the way to the restaurant. Once again, the head chef bowed his sincere apology, saying that he was truly sorry. He had thought that their staff had already informed her, but it seemed there was a mistake. Then, they promised her that if she came again the next day, they would be sure to promise to treat her properly. The actress was fidgety about this promise and she bit her fingernail as she considered it. The next day was a bit difficult as she did not have an excuse to meet her date during that time, and if she asked him to come again, he would likely refuse. The chef was bewildered by this information and he asked who this mystery man was. Yuna brushed off the question, however, as it was rather embarrassing to answer. Meanwhile, someone groaned to their senior. The man pointed out that the person had insisted that he book the restaurant and he barely managed to reserve the seat last night. Now suddenly his Hyung did not want to come. His senior explained that he was almost there but something urgent at work came up so he was heading back. The man could really not help it if it was work. The man at the restaurant sulked at having to eat alone and his Hyung told him to call his wife, but his wife was rather busy with her schedule. Anyway, they would talk to him later and a familiar face sighed heavily with great disappointment. The president of our guy's former job could not believe that he would have to eat alone. Suddenly, he noticed something. The president Lee Tae-ho stood when he noticed Shin Yuna and went over to greet her. He was surprised to see her and asked if she was alone, but she explained that she had actually come to treat Kang and Appa, but her reservation got cancelled. The chef cried that he was sorry to hear that. But however, the president thought that worked out well. The actress was offended to hear this, but the president explained that it just so happened that his appointment also fell through as well. He had been worried about eating alone, but now he could just join her and Kang in, having no idea that he would be crashing a date. The actress was frustrated as her happy boss pointed out that 3 was better than 2 and he laughed energetically. Yuna thought that 2 was way better than 3 but she did not voice it. Then, the actress asked the chef if that was really okay, and the chef laughed that it was fine since it was Yuna's table anyway. So, her table had been cancelled so that the president could eat. The actress was even angrier to hear this, though the chef immediately tried to change the subject. She could not believe that her table had been given to her boss. Meanwhile, our guy was busy sipping some coffee from a cup and he sighed, saying that the coffee there was amazing. Then, he wondered if he ought to chemically analyze what made it different from internet cafe coffee. The information input was only possible through the agent's body. Kangen explained that his tongue was not sensitive enough to tell, so he wondered if he ought to shut up and drink so that the inner AI could figure it out. However, that was not exactly what his inner machine meant. There seemed to be some emotion in his use of the word exactly, and the hero for justice pointed that out. Then, the MC checked his phone, noting he had yet to get a single reply. The inner machine spoke, asking the agent if he preferred beef soup over gourmet restaurant dishes, but Kangen responded in the negative. He was just being polite to the young lady. The inner machine was surprised to hear that he could be polite, and that of course pissed off the resident hero. The MC muttered that his machine must have a bug since it had suddenly started acting up. The inner machine said that it did not understand, and the hero growled that it should not pretend that it did not understand. Meanwhile, he also wondered why his date was so late as she had been gone for about 20 minutes. Suddenly, a dark feeling descended over the agent and he froze. The inner machine then took the opportunity to inform the agent that an anomaly had been detected. The others in the restaurant also suddenly became restless, mumbling about how there was suddenly no signal and the internet was down. All smartphones in the vicinity had suddenly lost their signal, so Kangen asked if there were any other anomalies. It turned out that the building's first floor shutter was closing. That could only mean an attack, and the inner machine analyzed the noise to predict the current state of the fire shutter. Beyond the entrance, the shutter was fully closed. The agent was ready to listen to what people on the first floor were saying. Reconstruction and interpreting 4 distinct voices. The agent listened hard and well, and he heard the people wondering why the shutter was closing and if there was a fire in the building. The people could not hear any sirens and they wondered if the shutter was broken. Finally, the agent leapt to his feet and whispered that he needed to go check out the situation. The inner machine warned that armed personnel had been detected on the second floor. This greatly alarmed our guy and then he sensed them and saw them. He asked about their armament and the machine explained that gun loading sounds were detected. The men were armed and dangerous. The agent could not believe that they were using guns in Korea as that was crossing the line. The inner AI expressed that the agent had to retreat. The enemy approach was in 10 seconds. There was only one exit and the agent asked exactly where he was supposed to go at a time like this. The inner AI informed him to break the cafe window and to jump out. The agent turned to the window, absolutely incredulous that the machine was telling him to jump to his own death. However, the machine reminded him that they were currently on the second floor so it would not be too high of a fall. Suddenly, the door was kicked open and the armed men made themselves known. They pulled out their dangerous-looking guns and they started firing at the expensive alcohol in the cafe. The people gathered, screamed, and jumped to their feet, crying that a weirdo had appeared. The people were shooting guns without remorse too. Meanwhile, the curtains fluttered and for a brief moment, it seemed like our guy was already gone. One of the attackers raised the gun to his lips and silenced all of his terrified victims. He told them anyone who screamed would be shot immediately. They were all told to shut their mouths and to quietly move to the corner. The people were terrified with their hands in the air, but they all did as they were instructed to do. The president had also been met by some of the armed men and he panicked, wondering if this was some kind of proposal event. Judging by the chef's face, it was not a planned occurrence. This situation was real and the president immediately began to panic. The actress Yuna shivered and asked President Lee what they were to do in this situation. The wise man told them to stay calm and for no, it would be best for them to do as they said since the attackers had a gun and they were but powerless unarmed humans. So, they would keep their hands up and move quietly. So, all the people moved as commanded, and the actress worried since her sweet and kind Appa was still on the second floor. The president was shocked to hear that the stunt actor was in the building. And the actress beamed, saying that everything would be fine since if they called him, he would come to the rescue. Unfortunately, her joyful expression had been noticed and a gun was immediately pointed at her happy head. The attacker growled, asking if the actress could not see the situation. Phones were obviously banned because they would not work anyway and no one would be calling for help. The actress was horrified, and when the attacker asked if she was going to try to report this, she shook and raised her hands, saying of course she would never do anything that's suicidal. She even laughed that she could not recall the police number. Then the attacker told them both to beat it, and they raced to the corner like eager children, going as far from the gunman as they safely could. They both stood there in concern, but the actress still held hope that their king and Appa would surely come to save them since he was so strong. The president whispered to Yuna, reminding the delusional girl that no matter how strong the stuntman was, everyone was equal before a gun. If he was her, and they were in the same situation, so that might as well be so, he would try to get out of this building first before relying on someone else to save them. Meanwhile, Kang and Appa considered the window option a few seconds before the attackers had come in. Breaking a window and escaping sounded absolutely ludicrous. At least it would, if the boy was not a hero of justice, and he knew that rescuing civilians was a fundamental mission of the United Earth Alliance. So, with fire and determination blazing in his eyes, the agent acknowledged that retreat was not an option. The armed men had appeared inside the cafe with the intention to do harm. They were large, in charge, armed, and very dangerous. They stretched out their guns at the gathered terrified people, telling them not to move and to put their hands up. Of course, the terrified people were very confused to see gunmen show up out of nowhere. They wondered if this was part of an act, some kind of internet streaming broadcaster, or a flash mob. They were not really moved to jump into action or fear. They also thought that someone was confessing today, and they thought it was really a pathetic confession attempt. Some of them laughed and hopped quickly to record the situation. But they were alarmed when they saw that the signal was lost, since this would get in the way of the fun they were going to have. In summary, the attackers got incredibly disrespected and they shot Kay with rage. Turns out a robbery was not as easy to pull off, and it was hard to scare a large group of people. So, to make a nice and big scene, they fired at the glass that held the food on display. The people screamed in horror, leaping to their feet with their arms raised when they realized that it was a real gun. A real gun was being pointed at them, and the armed men yelled at the people, telling them to keep their mouths shut. Meanwhile, our guy stood in the corner, his blue eyes blazing as he asked the inner AI to confirm the enemy's weapon. The gunman utilized a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, equipped with a high-performance suppressor. The ammunition of this weapon was subsonic and silenced, and the gun itself had a noise reduction module. With gear this advanced, they were not just simple robbers. The agent was then told that he currently had no equipment, and the enemy was heavily armed. It already looked like a losing battle, and due to the disparity in firepower, the inner machine advised that he must escape the area. However, to Kengan, retreating would never be an option. The inner AI informed him that standing his ground without weapons was a very poor tactical decision, and he asked if there was another reason that the agent insisted on staying. The agent then reminded his machine that the actress had gone up to the 7th floor and she had not come down. They needed to assume that the floor had been taken over first. Meanwhile, his little date was stuck on the 7th floor with her hands in the air, and she was very worried about him. She worried that he would come to where they were, because if he did, he would likely get shot. Concerned about this whole development, the actress asked what would happen to her and the president and the difficult predicament that they had found themselves in. The president was silent as he observed the situation, and the gunman seemed to be speaking with someone. It turned out that the attackers did not care about them at all and seemed to have only come to secure a beautiful beyond gorgeous young lady. That woman was their target, and the actress asked who she was. Yuna wondered if this important lady was a foreign minister or something like that to make men with guns chase after her. However, the president recognized her as Scarlett Kelly. That lady was the CEO and head of research at Omge Tech, a famous American tech company. The actress beamed and asked if it was like the half-bitten Apple company or the search engine goggles. However, the president sighed because it was nothing like that. He glanced worriedly as he recalled that Omge Tech actually developed military weapons. His father, Lee Jiangmin, was the CEO of Iron Man Tech, which manufactures military and police equipment, while his older brother, Lee T-sung, was the director. When his brother had learned that Scarlett Kelly would be dining there that day, he had asked the president T-min to book the reservation. His company, though entertainment inclined, was well known in the movie and performance industry, so he had reached out to the head chef, who often appeared on TV, to secure a spot. All this led to a situation where his brother was not here and he was the only one to get caught by these nasty gunmen. The president was in despair when the actress whispered, saying if that woman was the target, then this was likely a dispute between arms dealers. This would surely mean that they were both free to go. Suddenly, a gun pointed their way again, and the angry gunman yelled at them for not being quiet. If they made any other sound, the gunman would definitely kill them, and they both squeaked in fear at this awful threat. It looked like there really was no other way out of this awful situation. Meanwhile, the men turned to the beautiful Scarlett Kelly and they told her to tell them the access code. If she told them the code, then they would spare her. No matter how much she loved money, it was meaningful, as if she was dead after all. Still, the beautiful lady regarded them in silence, as she had nothing to say to brutes like them. The lady asked how much money the masked men were being paid to act like ragamuffins in the restaurant. They were surprised by the question, and the beautiful lady offered to double the pay that they had been promised. No one had been hurt yet, so they still had the chance to end things there before things got serious. However, the attackers laughed mockingly and he pointed his gun with wicked glee in his eyes as he refused her offer. This was not about earning a few extra bucks for him. So, the beautiful lady had to sigh and she said that she refused as well. Even if she was tortured, she would not give them the access codes that they sought. The men were amused by her words, and they were willing to test if the lady's bravado was true. They then turned their guns away and told her to move nicely and slowly. The people around screamed as more bullets were fired into the air, much to their dismay. The wicked men laughed that there were plenty of citizens gathered in this room that he could kill just to make her talk. The woman was anxious about this, but she also had no intention of selling company secrets. Meanwhile, the inner AI had detected 2 instances of unusual noise from above. Likely it was gunfire from a suppressed handgun, and he had also detected the sound of glass breaking. All of these sounds had come from above and the agent was anxious that this came from the 7th floor. The inner AI expressed that it could be the 3rd floor or higher. If the enemy fired twice, the first shot was likely a warning, Kangen deduced, so he wondered what the second shot was about. From the second sound, he detected multiple instances of glass shattering. The agent knew that breaking glass made a loud noise and looked dramatic. It was the perfect tactic to be used for intimidation. The 7th floor guys were probably threatening people leisurely behind a closer shutter. Suddenly, a little boy on his floor began to wail and the child clung to his mother's clothes. The child was scared and crying was a given in a situation like that, though the gunmen yelled for the child to shut up, which of course made him cry louder. They asked why the mom could not keep her child quiet. Of course, the woman was trying and she begged her little baby not to cry, trying to reassure him that she was here and she would protect him. The child's cry somehow got louder. The baby cried and cried and the attackers got angrier and angrier. The man raised his gun, yelling at the child to shut up and said that he would kill every noisy one of them. The enemy was now preparing to shoot the civilians and the agent could not stand back and let that slide. So, he confessed to being a police officer, taking the attacker off guard. The gunman turned in confusion to see our guy suddenly standing on a chair, and he genuinely wondered when the guy had even shown up. Of course, the agent was not going to give them time to do the math and he took a deep breath. With a slide of his hand, Kangen struck a very embarrassing pose. He apologized, saying that he was not used to getting this much attention and the armed men cursed at him in rage, wondering what he was doing. The agent said that children would cry when they were scared, but shooting someone for crying was not something a human did. Then again, the agent recalled that they were not human, and judging by the masks they wore, the gunmen were no different from wild beasts charging around in the jungle. The men yelled and pointed their guns, shouting that they would kill him. However, another gunman pointed out that the guy they were talking to was standing behind the glass. He was pretty observant and they yelled that he was a clever jerk. Then, they growled if he thought that he would not get shot just because he was in front of glass. Obviously, they were tempted to shoot him anyway, consequences be damned, and they had subsonic silenced rounds that could not pierce a human body, and at this range, they would not miss either. The men yelled and pulled the trigger with wicked glee shining in their eyes. The wicked creature yelled for the main character to die and then he pulled the trigger. Little did he know that the agent could move faster than he had expected, and the agent appeared behind the masked animalistic gunman. The man was shocked and turned just in time to get by Kangen's swinging kick. The gun got knocked out of the wicked man's grasp, and he shouted as the bones in his arm broke from the violent force of the kick that hit him. The man fell to his knees but his backup remained in the room and they rushed to his aid, firing rounds at Kangen who was making quick work of the guy. The men yelled for him to get that guy and many rounds were fired at the agent. However, the hero of justice was not swayed by their firepower, and he expertly dodged every single bullet shot by the second gunman. The inner machine then informed him that the cafe's glass had a protective film with bulletproof capabilities. This meant that the subsonic silenced rounds could not penetrate the glass. So, our guy leapt up in his violent storm of ass-kicking as he mercilessly beat up the thugs with guns. The agent grabbed a table and lifted it, using it to block off the bullets that were fired in a barrage at him. The armed men with guns cursed, hating that he was somehow dodging everything. Obviously, the hero had no intention of being hit, but the armed men were left speechless when giant tables came flying through the air right at them. The men screamed as they had been prepared to fight with bullets, but had not expected tables to rain down on them, so they got knocked about left and right. Our guy dashed through them in their confusion, using the moment of distraction to teach all of those wicked bad guys a very important lesson by beating their asses. He made quick work of them, smacking their heads together and beating them till they fell to the ground. The armed men genuinely could not understand what had hit them, and one of them cried out in garbled groans from his spot on the floor. One of the masked men cursed, calling the main character a very rude name as he raised his gun and aimed it. He would not let the young lad get away with making a fool of them. The agent turned just in time to see the man raise his fun, his blue eyes shining and alert. The wicked man yelled for the hero of justice to die and then he did an evil thing, firing his gun at Kangen. The world went dark and the bullets seemed to pierce home, going through the hero of justice and seemingly taking his life. The action is starting to pick up with this one, but we've once again caught up with all the latest chapters of the manhwa. If you've enjoyed the story so far, be sure to leave your comments down below. And as usual, stick around for more episodes when more chapters get released.